Was ist gut? Yeah, everybody having a good time? We're having good, yeah? By the way, I was wrong. I thought the State of the Union was tonight. It's tomorrow night. I was incorrect. What is this?
Oh!
Powerlifter slaps guy for disrespecting his wife.
No, don't do. Oh, whoa.
I know we're streaming and shit.
No, hey, bro, don't disrespect. Don't disrespect the king like that. You know why?
She a queen, though.
Oh man, is he drunk or is he retarded? Socially retarded? I can't tell.
Can I get a hug?
No, don't
Probably
do.
a
Oh,
little both, actually.
whoa.
I know we're streaming and shit.
No, hey, bro, don't disrespect. Don't disrespect the king like that.
Like he seems like he's like
don't disrespect.
a little drunk. I don't know.
Disrespect the king like that. You know why?
She a queen, though.
Hi.
Like why would you argue here? Like the guy's putting you on notice. What are you doing?
Listen. Whoa. I know we're streaming.
Oh my god. Oh yeah. Oof. I mean, you're kind of signing up for an ass whipping at this point, right?
You gotta chill. You gotta.
We got you. I know we streaming, nigga.
Yeah,
You drunk.
no.
Hey, handle your liquor, nigga. I know we streaming, but handle your shit.
Hit the
Come on.
wife up for great.
Hey, he's been.
Like
He's been mad disrespectful. Hey, did you get that?
This.
What are you doing with your hands? Listen.
You guys want to
what are you doing? Oh my god.
get it? Oh!
I mean,
D!
All night getting shit on.
Yeah,
I was
D!
waiting for that fucking moment.
That was a real ass slap.
All night getting shit
That was
on.
a
Yeah.
fucking
oh my
slap.
god. He's even got the augment to make him extra.
Hey,
I was
D!
waiting for that fucking moment.
That was a real ass slap, nigga. Get your ass in the van, nigga. That was a hard ass slap. Nigga. Come on. Come on.
Bitch ass nigga. Fuck this nigga.
Come on.
In the van. Come on, bro.
Come on.
In the van. In the van. Man, in the van. So.
Hey, nigga. You did good, nigga.
Come on.
Hey.
Come on. Fuck that. In the van. I know.
Who's this guy? His camera dude or?
Yeah. Come on, bro.
Come on.
In the van.
In the comments, there is extra video. It's nuts.
In the van. Man, in the van. So.
Hey, nigga.
Like, what are you
There's
doing
more?
here? You got to know like what fights you can take and what fights you can't. Like, what's like? Why is he acting like what? Like, nah, man, I'm gonna, I'm gonna go get the 300-pound dude who's a foot taller than me. I'm gonna go get him back.
You did good, nigga.
Come on.
Hey.
Come on. Fuck that. In the van. I know.
What did the guy do initially that was bad?
Don't disrespect.
Well,
Don't do. Oh, whoa.
he's trying to hug his girlfriend or wife or whatever here, and the guy's telling him no. So that's already like, okay, we'll chill.
Whoa.
I know we're streaming and shit.
I know. Hey, bro.
And he's being nice. He's putting him on. Listen, I know we're streaming and stuff, so maybe you're just doing this for content, right? He's giving him a way out, right? I know we're streaming, and I'm sure the only reason why you're doing this fuck shit right now is because we're streaming, okay? But I'm just letting you know.
Oh, don't disrespect. Don't take this.
Give
This
him
And then his friend
Warning.
over here, this guy's friend, and I'm assuming he's friendly with this guy, is also like, hey, don't disrespect him, you know, whatever.
like that. You know why?
She a queen, though.
But he's like, I can't tell if this guy's drunk or just really fucking retarded. Or has like never been the smallest guy in the room or something. I don't know. It's not like this guy looks intimidating or anything. I don't know. This guy has like all the cockiness of a dude who has 10 fully armed bodyguards behind him, but right now he has none. So
Listen. Whoa. I know we're streaming. You gotta chill. You gotta.
We got you.
like, I'm surprised he didn't hit him here. I think he could have, and I would have been like, what do you expect? But I mean, like, these guys might just be generally chillish dudes. I mean, hitting anybody is probably not good, but
You gotta chill. You gotta.
We got you. I know we
Jesus.
streaming, nigga.
Yeah.
You drunk.
No.
Hey, handle your liquor, nigga. I know we streaming, but handle your shit.
Hit the
Come on.
wife up for great.
Hey, he's
Handle
been.
your
That's
liquor,
a
he said.
crazy comment to make too. This just feels like somebody who's never had their ass beat before.
He's
Especially
about
with
to.
this dude right. I don't know, am I crazy?
He
This guy
about
looks like he
to.
could look at you like strongly enough and kill you. Why would you say that?
Hit the
Come on.
wife up for great.
Hey, he's been mad disrespectful. Hey, did you get that?
This.
What are you doing with your hands? Listen.
You guys want to get it?
He's a boxing influencer. He got popular for making boxing YouTube videos. Yeah, sure, but this guy still looks like he's like 100 pounds heavier and like a foot taller.
Yeah, there's just a
Like, what, is he
big-ass
gonna take him
size
out?
difference here.
And he's got this other guy here who's clearly like not on board with him being weird and stupid.
Handle your shit.
Hit the
Come on.
wife up for great.
Hey, he's been mad disrespectful. Hey, did you get that?
This
He's 150 on him. It's 130 versus 280.
What are you doing with your hands? Listen.
You ready for 250?
He even tried to get his gun after.
What
250.
the fuck?
Oh!
I gotta step in and ref this.
Okay, go ahead.
Dean lost that argument. Let's move on.
No.
Yeah, let's move on. That's good. Everybody gonna always be
See, Mike
split.
agree with me.
Let's go. Everybody always gonna be split.
Look what they talking about.
Everybody always gonna be split. We always gonna be split on that.
She agree with me.
We always gonna be
Rampage Jackson and the hat and sunglasses is a former. Is he the guy whose kid did some stupid shit in some pro wrestling match or whatever, or like a wrestling match?
split on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Can't tell me, nigga. You can't tell me.
Nigga, y'all, hey, nigga, how in the fuck, yo, black ass gonna steal a fucking glass from the restaurant?
Hey, but she agree with me. Can I get a hug?
Don't do. Oh, whoa.
I know we're streaming this shit.
She agree with me.
Oh, hey, we always gonna be split on that.
Can't tell me, nigga. You can't tell me.
Nigga, y'all, hey, nigga, how in the fuck, yo,
Like I feel like this guy, both these guys seem to be like pretty socially aware and they understand what's going on. Like this guy here is even trying to like distract
Yeah,
him. Like
he's
this
trying
guy's
to help
talking
him out.
shit, and he goes like, yo, hey,
And
why you
this
get a
guy
fucking glass
insists
from
on
inside,
being
man?
a
What's going on
fucking
here?
retard.
Oof, this is rough.
black ass gonna steal a fucking glass from the restaurant?
And this guy is just not picking up on it at all. Or I don't know if I just don't know how drunk he is or what's going on, or if he's just a fucking retard.
Hey, but she agree with me.
He might just be a retard.
Don't do. Oh, whoa.
I know we're streaming this shit.
No, hey, bro,
Yeah,
don't disrespect this motherfucker like that.
Nobody, bro.
Nigga, hey, I don't give a fuck, nigga. With
Ooh.
your fake ass.
I just want to hug.
He's trying to diffuse so hard.
Yeah.
I don't know if this guy's a piece of shit otherwise. I'm sorry, because I know there's all that Rampage Jackson drama. I don't know if that was just his kid or him. This guy over here is fucking going to the mat, broing out for this guy here to save his ass. He's trying, oh my God, he's doing everything he can to bail this guy out. Holy shit.
This guy's his
Oh,
best
no.
friend right now.
Oh,
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
between the two of you. I just want to hug. Oh,
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
And then-
I'm sorry.
between the two of you.
We agree.
I'm sorry. I just did that shit to come fuck with this nigga.
She the only one.
Hey, no, real talk.
She the only one that agree with me.
Hey, no, don't disrespect. Don't disrespect the king like that.
Nigga.
He a king, nigga. He a king. You know why?
She a queen though.
Listen. Whoa, listen. I know
Whoa,
we're streaming. You gotta chill. You gotta.
We got you. I know we streaming, nigga.
Yeah,
You drunk.
no.
Hey, honey your liquor, nigga. I know we streaming, but honey your shit.
I'm good. She a queen.
No. Chill out. She married, nigga. Listen, we got two beautiful girls on. Come on, let's go. This nigga, hey, he's fucking up.
Fuck this nigga. This nigga's spun around. I think I'm finna be respectful. Fuck her.
Fuck this
You
nigga.
Yeah,
know
wipe
how
up
it was
the break.
finally
Hey, he's been mad
you
disrespectful.
sent
Hey,
men's hockey
did
team.
you
It's
get
like
the
that.
Larry? Did you get the address?
Like Cash Patel? I mean, legally there's nothing wrong with it. It's probably a bit inappropriate. I mean, yeah, it just seems a bit inappropriate to me, for being totally honest here. I don't know if I really am cool with like presidents doing that in general, like partying. I don't know, maybe. Like, I expect a level of dignity from the office, you know, but I mean, beggars can't be choosers. Well, wait, what was he doing in there? Was he just saying hi to everybody? Because if he was just saying hi to everybody, then I don't really give a shit. Yeah, I don't think that's really appropriate. I'm not gonna add you on Discord, but if you want to get me 500 active viewers, go for it. How about you join my Discord? Thanks for the follow, I guess. Drinking beers with them? The FBI director? Bruh. That's fucking weird. The president should be definitely shouldn't be drinking beers with anybody like that either, I would say. Oh my god, that's so weird. That's so fucking weird, dude. Why is the director of the FBI doing that? Also, tell me, I know I've done this before, but like, please try to fucking tell me that Kash Patel isn't just brown Sean McVay. He's just brown Sean McVay. Have you ever seen them in the room at the same time? I haven't. No, Kash Patel is a brown Sean McVay. How dare you say McVay is a white Kash Patel? I'd feel pretty fucking weird if I was in there and the fucking director of the FBI just comes waltzing in like, let me drink a beer with you guys. I don't know, man. Probably give him the pass if he just went in, congratulated them, did a phone call with the president and left. That's fine. That I have 0% of a problem with. At all. This is weird. Oh, look at them saying, oh no. He's shaking their hands. Bro, the fact that you think this is the same thing shows how fucking stupid you guys are. And what lengths you'll go to fucking do. Dude, Kash Patel is in here throwing beers around, jumping up and down like a fucking frat, bro. Obama is shaking his hand. Inappropriate then, inappropriate now? What about this is inappropriate? That doesn't fit their narrative? How is it the same? Oh, everyone's so stupid. How is this remotely the same fucking thing? Does anybody? Does anybody? Finally. Okay, one fucking person. One fucking person. Oh my god. In Washington, D.C. as well. Pre-Olympic scrimmage match. How is this remotely the same thing, you fucking retard? He's like shaking his hand and being like presidential. How the hell is that the same thing? Oh, fuck off, dude. Why are conservative memes such bottom of the barrel retarded shit? Like, they actually believe this is the craziest part. They, like, make these comparisons. They look at this and they're like, fucking got him. Holy shit, dude.
Accurate representation.
Yeah, we're all so upset in the vagina. Good one could serve a man. $75,000. Who said 400K? It was just made up. That's stupid too. We're not the same. I hate this. You can do this. Oh, I am just fucking. I don't know, man. This ticked me off. I'm fucking pissed off now. Conservative memes are so fucking annoying. And you know what? Democrats, they do a lot of fucking dumb fucking memes too. This is so stupid, dude. You can find exactly the opposite for any one of these things. You could do the opposite thing. Also, this is not a good look, dog. That's the FBI director getting drunk on fucking camera.
Vacation. I'm not saying take all their funding. I'm not the defund everything guy. I'm just saying Chris Wray doesn't need a government-funded G5 jet to go to vacation. Maybe we ground that plane. $15,000 every time it takes off.
Ironic. Do I have that on my soundboard? Tell me I have it. No. I need the Emperor saying ironic. Okay. Where is it? Where is it? Ironic. Nope. Nowhere. Where is it? Where the fuck is it? Jesus. I can't find a fucking soundboard for that. Meanwhile, Nancy Guthrie is still missing. Where are they getting this 400K from? Because somebody else said it was 75K. I don't know who to believe. I don't know who to believe. I don't know which one's the fake news media.
I got the address.
Like,
True.
maybe it's just because they're on stream. How chill is this dude, though,
probably right,
to not
Barcode.
just fucking lay this guy the fuck out? Like, even at that comment, bro, how are you saying that right next to a guy? I feel like this is some shit that you say when you're ready to die. Like, you're ready to fight. Like, if I was standing next to a guy like this, your wife is up for grabs, bro. That's like some, we're about to death match. That's just crazy to say.
Hey, don't be mad.
After he's told you over and over again to chill the fuck out and to lay off.
Bro,
Oh
come
my
on, man.
God.
Listen, I know we streaming,
Your
nigga.
hands, bro.
This
What are you doing with your hands?
Hey,
this
you ready,
nigga-
hey, you ready for them 100 gifted? 200
this
gifted?
nigga.
Listen.
You ready for them 200 gifted? Whoa! Whoa, 200 gifted.
I felt good.
Hey, Dean.
All night getting shit on.
Smack.
Yeah, yeah.
I was
Dean.
waiting for that fucking moment.
Dean.
I bet he
Hey,
was.
gift him 100 for me, nigga. Gift him 100 for me, nigga.
Nigga,
That was a real ass slap, nigga. Get your ass in the van, nigga.
Oh,
Hey, get
man.
the 100. Dean, give him 100. I don't even know how to do it.
Well, maybe make it clear though, but if it happens again,
Man, this nigga ain't just fucking slapped me, bro.
Yeah, man. Hey,
With a 30.
He'll probably do
No,
it
no, no.
again, bro.
hey, that was a hard ass.
Fucking slap me, nigga.
That was a hard ass slap. Come on.
Yeah, he's like, that's a hard ass slap, dude. You better not. You better fucking chill, or another one's coming.
Come on.
Bitch ass nigga, fuck this nigga.
Come on.
Man,
Hey, nigga, you did good, nigga. Hey, fuck that.
Wait, where did I? I'm sorry. Am I missing him? People say he's asking for a gun at the end. Am I missing this? Hold on.
Come on.
There's more. Dude, Dean tried to get his.
Bro,
gun right
bots are out
Wait,
in fucking
is there like another video?
force
Somebody said this
today,
happened
bro.
earlier. I got a damn. Hold on.
Yellow. Larry Wheels versus Rampage. Rampage could kind of do whatever he wanted to Larry Wheels versus a smaller man. Size definitely makes a difference. And that's what we saw here. He threw the man like a potato sack, like an empty potato sack. He just tossed him away like it wasn't even a big deal. Size
What are they? What is this right now?
definitely makes a difference.
Because you said this guy's a boxer, this guy's a bodybuilder. This looks like some. Every time I see like super gay shit, I just assume it's grappling. So they look like a grappling here, but like, can he really
Thanks for the
with
follow,
this
I
guy?
guess.
Makes a difference. And I like Larry Wheels a lot. He's a very humble guy. He's very grounded.
They're just doing content. Are they just like messing around? I don't know if they were supposed to, or if they're doing like a.
He doesn't
I don't
have an ego based upon his mass. He just does it because
Oh man. Damn. Well, find me the gun clip.
Alright, I actually kind of want to see this. Watch, Jubilee's gonna fucking shit their pants for me watching this, though. Maybe if I speed it up.
Because you're right. Is there not already a path to sedition? No, and that's the problem. We've got millions of people who are living here in the shadows, and there is no path for them to actually come into compliance. My name is James Talarico. I'm a Texas state representative, former middle school teacher, and Presbyterian seminarian, running for the U.S. Senate to take power back for working people. And I'm surrounded by 25 undecided voters here in the great state of Texas. My next claim is that immigrants make America stronger and richer. Hi, Jade.
Yes,
Hi, nice to meet you. Let me just lay out what I mean by this, because I know it sounds a little controversial. I'm
I don't know if he's a pastor. Pursuing a Master of Divinity at Austin Presbyterian Theological Seminary to inform his progressive politics and Christian faith. So no, he's not a pastor. He's in the seminary.
8th generation Texan. My family's been here since it was Mexico. My mom actually grew up in Laredo, right on the Texas-Mexico border. I feel like we Texans understand immigration more than people outside of Texas because we live with it every day, the benefits and the challenges.
What about California? And the other border states? They are also outside of Texas, James. Okay. Listen, I actually like him, but I really do hate, like, the whole people from Texas think nobody understands anything about being from Texas, or any, like, the entire experience of being from Texas is completely foreign and different from anything else in the entire universe.
The more I travel the state, the more I've realized that most Texans are in the same spot on this issue. The metaphor I've used is that our southern border should be like our front porch. There should be a giant welcome mat out front and a lock on the door. We can both welcome the stranger, welcome immigrants who want to contribute to this economy, who want to live the American dream, who want to make us stronger and richer, and we can keep people out who mean to do us harm. I will say what I think not enough Democrats have been willing to say. Joe Biden failed us on our southern border. I remember talking to my colleagues in the Texas legislature who represent border.
I don't like that. That's not fair. You're just sucking up to him right now. Bipartisan bill was torpedoed by who? Not Sleepy Joe.
Communities, they told me about the utter chaos on the border. And that failure by Joe Biden paved the way for Donald Trump to come in with masked men in unmarked vehicles, secret police, tearing parents from their children, kidnapping people off the street. I think both parties have failed us on this issue. I think we all should come together and finally pass comprehensive immigration reform, more immigration judges, more border patrol, modernize our ports of entry where most of the fentanyl gets in, reform our asylum system, relieve the visa backlog. We should finally fix this problem instead of grandstanding on it.
I completely agree with you on that. But what I disagree with is the claim that immigrants as a whole are making America stronger. I think there is a lot of nuance that is not added to that claim. I think that there are a lot of immigrants, and immigrants are needed in this country. A lot of these immigrants are the ones that are driving America forward. I also think that there are a lot of immigrants who, America's supposed to be a melting pot. America's supposed to have people from everywhere come together, and there's this concept of assimilation where there should be partial assimilation. You don't, no one should be forced to.
This isn't the usual, like, collection of fucking freaks.
Completely assimilate and change who they are and change their beliefs.
But we've only just started, Barcode. Give them a chance, okay?
To fit in. But at the same time, whenever we have people coming to this country and then going out on the streets yelling that they hate the country, it's counterintuitive.
There they go.
And it really does hurt
They're
America
starting
as
to
a
go
whole.
up now.
Do you know any undocumented immigrants?
No, I do not.
When I was a teacher on the west side of San Antonio, I taught a lot of students who were undocumented. And I don't want to stereotype, but those students tended to be the most patriotic, the hardest working students that I had in the classroom. They understood something about this country that even I, as a native-born American, often take for granted. They believed that this was a land of opportunity, and they were ready to do whatever it took to make it in this country. And that's what generations of Italian and Irish immigrants did in this country. And I think if we welcome folks who want to contribute, who want to be Americans, it's going to make us stronger and richer because it already has.
All right, pause. You've been voted out by the majority.
Great job. Yeah,
In America, where at least I know I'm free.
Nice to meet you.
I love the implication of that song where it's like, everywhere else is just not free. Everywhere else you don't know at least that you're free.
Hi, how you doing? So I would argue that as someone who has my dad's side, they come from immigrants and things like that. I'm originally from Florida, so
Yeah.
I'm African and black, however you want to put it.
Hello.
Side, they come from immigrants and things like that. I'm originally from Florida, so
Yeah.
I'm African and black, however you want to put it.
Yeah.
But I would say I'm in favor of stricter borders, mainly because when we have so many immigrants now that are just coming like as a flock and from everywhere, from India, from Japan, however you want to put it. I think what's happening now is that like just how the guy who won for New York, what's his name?
Mamdani.
Mamdani.
Yes.
I think that the people when there's too many immigrants coming, they think that they know America better than the originators or people that are born here generationally, and it causes a conflict on government. Like Ramazani, I don't know how to say his name, the Indian guy,
Okay.
who was born here, right? And now he's a part of the government, and I think that kind of plays a part in religion, government, what we
Ramaswamy?
believe in, because a lot of them may not be Christian, maybe Buddhist, and they may just have a different ideology, and may not like what you see for us. They may not see for us, and they may try to change it. Same way how Indians come over and get H1B visas or whatever.
Yeah.
Wait. Is he talking is he talking like a form of great replacement? Am I tripping, or is he talking like a modified great replacement right now? Man, the far righties have done a number on people.
And they bond together, make money together, and don't want any other race, culture working with them as a whole. So that's why I believe overall stricter borders should be put in place and a stricter citizenship process, because it's not the same as what it used to be. It used to be a lot easier, but now it's getting a lot harder, which is a good thing because
I agree that we need more secure borders. We're not disagreeing on that. What I am saying is that America as a melting pot is what makes us so special as a country, but it's also what makes us richer and stronger as a country.
Right.
Have you ever heard the claim that Social Security is going to go bankrupt?
maybe once or twice.
Yeah. Do you know why Social Security isn't bankrupt today?
Because of immigrants.
Because of immigrants. Undocumented people.
I'm actually kind of interested in this. Do we just want to watch this portion, Barcode, or are we down to watch like the full Jubilee video? I don't know. What does everyone think? Because I am interested in hearing a lot more about James Tallarico's positions and stuff. Well, this is just a small portion. Yeah? Okay, fuck it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Honestly, James,
Let's fucking do it.
I don't think you're going to do anything. We've heard it before, drain the swamp, eat.
Jubilee's gonna shit itself. If it stops my YouTube stream, I'm just gonna end the YouTube stream because that's the whole point of Surrounded, though, is like they always leave you hanging. It pisses me off because like there are things that are still like yet to be said, and then they
The
don't
rich
get to say
until
them.
they get voted, and then they're just rich people swimming in the swamp.
Here's where I agree with you. We need way more investment in our communities here in America. That's why I fight. It's why I fight for.
How do we need to invest in those communities?
Yeah, Barbara Jordan, a great Texan, she said, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And so the argument I'm making with this claim is if young people in particular aren't at the table in this election, we will continue to be on the menu in 2027. My name is James Tallarico. I'm a Texas state representative, former middle school teacher, and Presbyterian seminarian, running 5 undecided voters here in the great state of Texas. My first claim is that cuts to healthcare and food assistance hurt all of us.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, James.
Daniel.
Yes.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
My faith teaches me to love my neighbor.
Leads to having to pay people more, raising prices? I don't know.
As myself. In fact, all the major world religions teach something similar, that we should treat others as we want to be treated. The golden rule. I think all of these ancient wisdom traditions are hitting on the same truth, which is that we're interconnected, that what impacts any of us directly impacts all of us indirectly. We are a social species. We rise and fall together. And I think that's particularly true in healthcare and food assistance, because the Republicans in D.C. are trying to raise premiums on some Americans. That will end up raising premiums on all of us. Right now, they're cutting food assistance for hungry kids and working parents. That's going to end up raising grocery prices for all of us. And so they may think that they're just attacking some Americans, but in fact, they're attacking all Americans.
I want to focus on the religious aspect, because I agree.
Yeah.
I have a very Christian background.
Yeah.
But if you look at major religions, including Christianity, it is not a focus on a political system. It's a focus on individual responsibility. And when the political system takes away the individual responsibility and says, don't worry, the government's going to take care of you, you are absolutely going to catch people who...
I feel like that's not a correct interpretation. My understanding from all the Christians I've talked to is that you're supposed to, like, want to help people. Not be like, you weren't very individually responsible. Am I wrong about that?
need that, and it's a hand up, and it helps them. But you're also going to take away from the individual responsibility, which is needed to get out of those situations. So when you talk about food stamps and healthcare and helping, how do you balance that? Because I haven't heard a good Democrat.
Huh. I mean, didn't, like, Jesus help poor people?
I mean, yeah. I still don't know what's wrong with the followers, you know?
Did he ever go, I'm not going to help you, you need to have individual responsibility?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
That's what I'm saying all the time. I just don't get how it doesn't check out.
Did he only die for individually responsible sins?
Oh, I know what they're gonna quote. They'll be like, "Give to Caesar what's Caesar's," you know, his little quote or whatever. I forget, but you're like, yeah, pay your taxes and be responsible, and that's important to Jesus and all that. I don't know. Like, nice stretch.
No.
Nice reach.
Interesting.
Argument of great.
Yeah, love your neighbors.
There are nasty people. There are welfare queens. There are nasty people who take advantage of the
Well,
system.
love your neighbors unless they haven't been individually responsible.
Unfortunately, yeah, right. Like, you didn't give that clause, so.
Take away from those who earned it. Take away from those who need it. So how are you going to take that into account? How are you going to make sure we cover that risk as well?
The biggest welfare queens in this country are the giant corporations that don't pay a penny in federal taxes.
Oh, yeah.
The biggest welfare queens,
let's close those loopholes,
are the CEOs who get a tax deduction for flying on a private jet. It's not hungry kids. It's not working parents who work multiple jobs to provide for their families. I agree with you that we need individual responsibility. And I don't want to create a culture of dependency. I want a hand up and not a handout. You know, I believe that you don't give a man a fish, you teach a man to fish. But if you're going to take your friend out on a boat for the day to teach him how to fish, you want to make sure he had breakfast that morning. You want to make sure he's not sick, because that allows him to learn how to fish. Again, I was a public school teacher, so I saw how when kids showed up hungry, they couldn't learn that day. Even my brightest students, even my hardest working students, couldn't succeed, couldn't pull themselves up by their bootstraps when they didn't have boots. That's what I'm trying to fix in this country. We don't want dependency. We want to reward hard work. And I think that should apply to those billionaires, not just working people.
I'm going to push back.
Yeah,
I agree with a lot of what you said.
Yeah.
But the issue is, how do you prevent people from taking advantage of the system? And I'm not going to say that, like, we would agree that in any kind of welfare system.
My understanding is that the percentage of people taking advantage of the system versus people who, like, are actually in need of the help who use the system is, like, really fucking small. And so small that it's not even really worth it to root them out, right? Like, they were doing this whole waste, fraud, and abuse thing, and there's, like, nothing there. So, like, why is it so important that we root out that tiny percentage of people who are taking advantage of the system, and by doing so we screw over so many more people who are actually genuinely in need? It just seems needlessly punitive. It's almost bordering on collective punishment.
American kind of age, you have a population of people who need it, who use it to better themselves and better those around you. You also have a population of those who abuse it, and because it's there, it's harmful to them because they're uninspired to live up to their potential, and it's harmful to everyone else because they're a leech on society. And we could, I think generally we would disagree on the percentage of how much is this group and how much is that group. That's okay, but how do we prevent this group from taking advantage, not only of those of us who are hardworking and make a good amount of money, but those that really need the aid who get a bad reputation because of these shitheads over here.
So this has actually been studied, and the fraud rates for SNAP, the food assistance program, and for Medicaid are shockingly low. And what happens here is the corporate media, they try to pick out some rare case and they blow it up, they sensationalize it because they want to discredit these programs, because they don't want tax dollars going to help feed hungry kids. They want tax dollars going to billionaires that own the media so that they can get even more wealth. I wanted to go back to something you said, because we're both people of faith, both Christians, it sounds like. I completely agree with you that everyone has a personal moral responsibility to do right, to do good, to better themselves. But I'll also just say we also have a responsibility to our neighbors, to our community. And in fact, so much of our tradition comes out of the Jewish tradition, which is all about a covenant, a community of people, not singular individuals, but us as a community, us as a covenant. Jesus didn't tell us to love our immediate family members. Jesus didn't tell us to love our close friends. Those probably would have been easier commandments to follow. He told us to love our neighbors. And then he specifically went further and defined neighbor as someone who's very different from us. And that is an inherently a public thing. Loving your neighbors is something you do out in public. It's why my faith motivates me to do public service, first as a public school teacher, now as a public official. And so I just want to hold both of those two things together, because there's absolutely a role for individual responsibility and individual choices, but there's also responsibility to others and to the community. Both those things can be true at the same time.
All right, Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please.
You did a great job. Yeah, it's nice to meet you. Hey, Stefan. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. On its face, what you're saying, cuts to healthcare, cuts to food assistance for Solvis, sounds good. But if you look at it at the inverse, increases to healthcare and increases to food assistance doesn't help all of us. And the reason why is we have a bloated healthcare system where a lot of the money that goes into it gets accrued to the intermediaries, the companies delivering these services, the consultant class. A lot of fraud happens. I mean, we have a current member.
Sounds like you're making a great argument for a public option and getting rid of those intermediaries. Thank you. You're a very progressive guy, aren't you?
Of the Senate, not in Texas, but in the U.S., who defrauded millions of people out of Medicare benefits and the like. So one of the things that I worry about is when we're talking about restoring the money that's been cut, is how is it going to be used effectively? So I'm not against having more healthcare to more people. What I'm against is that money being used inappropriately. And you talk about the wealthy, the top versus bottom. This is a system that actually makes more people poor and the fewer that are really rich, richer, because it gives more opportunities for money to be sucked out of the system and accrued into fewer hands. So you're not necessarily serving more people. So that's why I hesitate to agree that necessarily cutting healthcare, cutting food assistance is necessarily hurting all of us. Maybe it's probably hurting the rich more than it is hurting most of us.
You were preaching to the choir. I think we've got to transform this healthcare system from the bottom up. Most of the countries around the world have figured out how to provide quality healthcare at lower costs for more people. We're the only rich country that hasn't figured this out because we have giant health insurance companies leeching the life out of our healthcare system. And so I absolutely agree with you. If we're cutting some of those profit margins for these giant healthcare companies, I'm all for it. But that's not what's being proposed in Washington right now. That big ugly bill is going to kick millions of Texans off their healthcare. Right now, this government shutdown is all about the Republicans trying to raise premiums on working people. Those folks who can no longer afford to pay those higher premiums, they're going to drop their health insurance. Those folks are no longer going to get their screenings. They're no longer going to get their checkups. They're going to wait. Things are going to get worse. They're going to get sicker. And then where will they go? To the emergency room. And who pays for that? Me and you. It's going to raise our property taxes here in Texas. For indigent care at the county level, we all pay for that. And it is so much more expensive on the back end than it is on the front end. We end up saving money if we invest in preventative care on the front end. And so that's my point with this claim, is that we're all interconnected. What hurts some of us ends up hurting all of us. And when we're all better off, we're all better off. Same with the food assistance cuts. Cutting SNAP benefits for hungry kids and working parents, it disrupts the entire supply chain in our economy, from ranchers and farmers here in Texas to distributors and truck drivers to grocery stores like H-E-B. And when supply goes down, prices go up. So because the Republicans in D.C. are cutting food assistance for poor folks, it's now going to make grocery store prices even more expensive for everybody. So if we make the decision to invest in our neighbors, to love our neighbors through good public policy, even when we're open to reform and fixing these broken systems, it's actually going to make us all healthier. It's going to make us all safer. It's going to make us all richer.
I mean, that sounds really good. The only thing that I'm sort of hearing coming from your answer is it's an acceptable cost or benefit to, give more money to the intermediaries if it's giving more people healthcare. And that.
Why are we not talking about getting rid of the intermediaries? We don't need them. The whole thing that Democrats have been trying to do for ages is to let the government negotiate directly with like drug companies and so on.
That's where I continue to sort of hesitate.
Let me give you a solution that could address this. I'm for a public option. I'm for allowing anyone in the state of Texas, anyone in America, to sign up for Medicare, to be able to access high quality, low cost healthcare. I think when we do that, you're going to see folks who are in terrible healthcare plans flee and join this public option. It creates competition in the market. It creates choice. It creates opportunities for people to decide what's best for themselves and their families. So I'm not satisfied with this healthcare system. Please do not misunderstand me. We need transformational change when it comes to healthcare in this country, because I believe healthcare is a human right, and it shouldn't depend on how much money you make or how much money your parents make. We all are entitled to high quality, low cost, affordable healthcare.
Why instead of reform, not just completely dismantle and start from scratch? Because to me, cutting or reforming has not worked in the last 20, 30, 40 years. There's been incremental changes around the corners, and none of that has worked. To me, the solution is a complete reworking of the entire system. So any sort of reform to me does not do the job, does not go far enough.
I'm completely for holistic reform and reworking of the system. As a legislator over 4 terms in the state capitol, I've realized how difficult it is to make change. I've got big dreams for this state and for this country, but I'm also very realistic on what I can promise as a candidate for office. And I don't want to sit here and tell you that I can transform the system overnight. I can't. What I can do is adopt some actual reforms that'll help provide more healthcare to more people. And you've said that we haven't seen the system get better. I want to push back on that, because when the Affordable Care Act was passed, we suddenly saw health insurance companies no longer able to deny Americans coverage for pre-existing conditions. We saw that young people could stay on their parents' plan until they're 26. We have seen progress. It's too slow. It's unacceptably slow. The only way that's going to change is if you and the people around this circle take more ownership of this democratic process, not just voting, but running for office yourselves, supporting candidates, organizing, protest. That's how we can speed up the pace of change, which I desperately hope we can do because people are counting on it.
All right, Todd, you've been voted out by the majority.
Great job. Yeah. Hi, Brandon. So nice to meet you. Yeah.
Pleasure. So I agree with your sentiment.
Yeah.
However, what I've seen over the last 2 weeks or so, I live in East Texas.
Yeah.
So when the SNAP benefits were being cut, I made a post on a Facebook group out in our area, and it received more love and support than I've seen through communities. So I think that I agree that the benefits being cut is a very, very bad thing. That we should definitely be doing everything we can to help the people who are in need. But it's also shown me that the indomitable spirit of the American will come together and rescue the people that really need the help, at that time. So,
I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. And in fact, I'm running for U.S. Senate. We have 8,000 people who have signed up to volunteer for the campaign, which is great. As a politician, you always want to have people volunteering. But when these food assistance programs were cut, we decided to channel all of that volunteer energy away from our campaign and into food banks all over the state of Texas. We had a bunch of Team Talarico volunteers at the San Antonio and Houston Food Bank helping to make sure that we were taking care of our neighbors.
Sure.
I'm trying to go a little further with this claim and say not only is it the right thing to do, it's also the smart thing to do.
Sure.
Because when we cut these programs that provide a lifeline to our neighbors who are struggling, it ends up allowing them to be more productive. It allows them to give their gift. I believe every person is made in the image of God.
Sure.
Every person has something unique to give this world. And when we make sure that everyone has enough to eat, we make sure everybody is healthy, people are able to give that gift. And that ends up benefiting all of us. I really do believe that the next great business idea is trapped in the mind of a kid in poverty on the west side of San Antonio.
I think the scary part for me is that what we're witnessing right now is that these programs that are designed to help people and designed to help further our communities can be used as weapons, as threats that if this bill doesn't get passed, we're going to cut, we're going to cut healthcare, we're going to cut, funding for food for children. I mean, my problem is that there's so much partisanship in politics now, where it feels like the politicians that we have in office right now don't necessarily care what the issue is. They just care about the outcome, which is my party wins, the other team loses. So what would be your plan to work with the other side?
I've had to work across the aisle to get stuff done, and I have. So I want to tell you a story. When I was running for this seat in the state house, I was 28 years old, healthy guy, and I decided to walk the entire length of my district from Round Rock, Texas to Taylor, Texas, 25 miles. It was a long walk. It was all in the Texas heat. Halfway through the walk, I started to feel fatigued and nauseous. I actually threw up a couple times in the last half of the walk. Somehow I finished it. My family got concerned. They took me to the ER. The nurses tested my blood sugar. I don't think I'd ever had my blood sugar tested before. They told me that a normal blood sugar is 100 or lower. Mine was 900. I was in a state of diabetic ketoacidosis. They told me that I had type 1 diabetes. I didn't even know what type 1 diabetes was, to be honest with you. I went to Walgreens to pick up my first 30-day supply of insulin, this new medicine that I now needed to live, and it cost me $684.
Yeah, it's crazy.
For a 30-day supply. And I learned.
If you want to buy that same bottle of insulin for your dog, it's $25.
Well, and so here in Texas, after I got elected, I worked with people with diabetes all over the state. I found out that people were...
The ivermectin supporters are cheering. They'll say, just get the dog insulin. You'll be fine.
Rationing, skipping their doses. Some of them were dying because they couldn't afford it.
Right.
And I was able to work across the aisle with my Republican colleagues to pass the first ever cap on insulin copays in Texas history. Sure. So from $684, even with insurance, we capped it at $25. Yeah. So now, through public policy, we're going to make sure that people with diabetes can live a long and healthy life. This system is broken. Yep. This healthcare system is broken. Progress is way too slow. But when we come together, when we actually believe progress is possible, we can make people's lives better. And that's the whole purpose of politics.
Sure.
All right, Todd, you've been voted out by the majority.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Maria.
Yes,
so nice to meet you.
Okay, so I want to go back to kind of what you guys were saying.
Yeah.
You were saying that through your faith, charity, and giving is part of what makes us all run. And I think that the issue here is that the charity and the love is important, but it's not something that is in government. I think it's something that's moral and civic education, and that's very much needed in order for us to live in a just and free society. But government isn't where you put the charity. Because the thing is, I was a former social worker before I became a stay-at-home mom. And I worked with a lot of people, adults and kids. And one of the things that I've seen is like when people are on food assistance for too long, and I think something like 30% of SNAP beneficiaries stay on it long term, it kind of perpetuates and keeps them in poverty rather than.
How are you seeing that as that's what the outcome is, rather than the fact that people who are on benefits stay on benefits because they're not able to make a decent enough wage to get off the benefits?
Helping them out of it.
That's
And
also
if we're missing a big middle class, we're talking about like the poor kids that obviously should have food, but there's a big class outside of that that is struggling and doesn't have the food assistance. So I don't think it's the government.
I hear you. So I was just talking about a scripture that guides me, and that's Matthew 25, about how we're judged and how we're saved. I forgot to add that judgment is not just on individuals, it's also on the nations. So it is both us as people, it's also us as communities, and whether or not our communities, our nations, our governments are caring for the poor and the hungry and the widow and the orphan. So if you look through the entire Bible, particularly the Hebrew scriptures, there's so much criticism of kingdoms and empires and governments for not doing right by their people. So many of the Hebrew prophets called out the powerful, the people who are in charge. The difference is today we live in a democracy. We don't live in an empire. And so we are making these decisions together. And when we decide as a country, through the consent of the governed, that we want to pitch in to make sure that the most vulnerable people have what they need to succeed and fulfill their potential, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a very Christian thing to do. There's so many politicians who talk about making this a Christian nation until it comes to feeding the hungry, until it comes to caring for the sick, until it comes to serving the poor. You talked about people being long-term on food assistance. I would say the reason for that is because we haven't raised the minimum wage in this country in 15 years. Here in Texas, it's still a little over $7 an hour. We allow these giant multinational corporations making record profits to pay people poverty-level wages. That is what's keeping people in a cycle of dependency. That's what's keeping people in poverty, not because we want to provide some basic healthcare and basic food assistance.
I think it's both. I mean, on paper it's $7, but if you go to McDonald's, you're making $12, which is not good.
Right, sure.
It's still not
In the
good.
richest country in the
but
world,
it's more.
She's like, McDonald's, you're making $12, okay? Which, not here. You think, does Texas allow anyone to vote in primaries? I don't think so. Oh, it is an open primary. Yep. It is an open primary.
Than $7, but I think when you're trying to put government charity into policy.
Yeah, did you see the primary numbers out of Texas? Way more Democrats voted. Very interesting.
Taking away community.
Also could mean nothing, but also could be interesting.
You're taking away the power in community.
We don't wanna do that.
And a lot of people, if they don't have the education and the statistics, they kind of just go, like you said, they vote based on what the billionaires kind of like drift down. But what's needed there is the education piece and keeping policies or putting more money into systems that are keeping people longer into poverty or keeping them there isn't going to be
We want to lift
helpful.
people out of poverty.
Right.
We want to end poverty. We want to make sure that everyone can contribute what they have to give to this economy, to this country. That's the goal. And I think the way we do that is by unrigging the system, because working hard no longer pays. It really doesn't. You can work multiple jobs and still not get into the middle class. That's what we have to fix. And you're right. It's not just government. It's also churches and nonprofits and community groups. It's all the above. All of us have to be working to make sure that every single Texan, every single American can fulfill their God-given potential.
All right. Pause. All right.
Great job.
Thank you.
Hey, good job, everybody.
Hey, before we go any further, we want to take a moment to say thanks so much to Straight Arrow News for powering the fact checks in this video. Straight Arrow News helps you deep into the top, helping you understand. That's why we're so designed to make the SA. You're not just supporting the trustworthy journalism.
Is that immigrants make America stronger and richer. Hi, Jade.
Yes, nice
Hi,
to meet you.
It's nice to meet you. Let me just lay out what I mean by this, because I know it's my Don Block, American colleague, all come to Hi.
Hi, how you doing? So I would argue that as someone who has my dad's side, they come from immigrants and things like that. I'm originally from Florida, so I'm people know how to say his name, the Indian guy, who was born here, right? And now he's a part of the government, and I think that kind of plays a part in religion, government, what we believe in, because a lot of them may not be Christian, maybe Buddhist, and they may just have a different ideology. And may not like what you see for us, they may not see for us, and they may try to change it. Same way how Indians come over and get H1B visas or whatever, and they bond together, make money together, and don't want any other race, culture working with them as a whole. So that's why I believe overall stricter borders should be put in place and a stricter citizenship process, because it's not the same as what it used to be. It used to be a lot easier, but now it's getting a lot harder, which is a good thing, because
I agree that we need more secure borders. We're not disagreeing on that. What I am saying is that America as a melting pot is what makes us so special as a country, but it's also what makes us richer and stronger as a country. Have you ever heard the claim that Social Security is going to go bankrupt?
Maybe once.
Yeah. Do you know why Social Security isn't bankrupt today?
Because of immigrants.
Because of immigrants. Undocumented people.
Pause. So sorry. You've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
So nice to see you. Yeah, great job. Hey, Malik. So we just got cut off.
Yeah.
Have you heard the claim that Social Security is going to go bankrupt?
Yes.
And do you know why Social Security is not bankrupt today?
Nope.
So it's immigrants that are keeping Social Security solvent. Undocumented people pay into Social Security through their I-10 numbers, and they don't take any benefits in return.
Right.
So they single-handedly, as a community in the shadows, are keeping this system of ours solvent. 5% of
So you want to grant amnesty and then make Social Security solvent?
the entire armed forces are immigrants. These are people who can't even vote, but they're willing to lay down their lives for this country. And we have 7 million. We have 7 million jobs that still need to be filled.
Right.
We have more jobs than there are workers in this country. And so my argument here, this claim that I'm making, is that by welcoming immigrants who want to contribute, who want to build their own American dream, they actually help benefit all of us and the entire economy.
I would agree with that, but I think this conversation is going in a extremely dangerous direction.
Okay.
100%. And I'll tell you what. So it's really easy to identify a problem.
Yeah.
So what's the solution? Let's talk about immigration. And I agree.
Yeah.
They do make this country better. And I agree that huge welcome doormat and then locking the door.
Yep.
But okay, what's the process of people actually getting to the door in the first place? What's going to be deemed fair? What's going to be deemed unfair?
Yep.
That's where that's what's going to. Any politician can say, yes, immigrants, good. Or people should have money. It's like that. Okay, cool. But like,
we need stronger vetting processes, and we need way more immigration judges and people to handle it. The problem isn't. I mean, yeah, some of it is the vetting process, but like, the big issue here. The big issue here is that we can't take care of people quickly enough, okay?
what does that process look like?
Well, and I want to talk about the specific solutions, but I do just want to acknowledge that both parties are not actually talking about welcoming immigrants and securing the border.
Right.
So I think the problem here is we don't have candidates or elected officials who are speaking to the giant middle ground where most Texans and most Americans are. Most people are pro-immigrant and pro-security. And so am I. To answer your question about what would comprehensive reform look like?
Yes.
A lot of people say immigrants should come here the right way. I agree. The problem is there's not really a right way anymore. There's not even a line that moves at any real pace. There are people who have applied to be here who have waited 20, 30 years. Some people have died before they got a response back. That's not a line. If we want a real line, it has to be a fast-moving line. Okay. We've got to prioritize people who are going to fill the jobs that need to be filled. Okay. And we want to prioritize people who are actually claiming asylum and who need safety. Okay. Those are the groups in my mind that need to be prioritized. But we're never going to be able to process those folks unless we have enough immigration judges, unless we have enough border patrol, unless we modernize the ports of entry. 93% of the fentanyl that comes into this country comes through the ports of entry. It doesn't come over the Rio Grande. Right. It comes through the ports. And we don't have the technology or the manpower to detect that fentanyl. So those are things we have to do.
Yeah, please. Because like I said, this is where it gets really dangerous because that's what we can blow over. Okay, we've identified the problem. The problem is there's not a quote-unquote right process. But at that same time, there needs to be some process.
Yeah.
So with the line, what does that process look like? Knowing that there's not a right and a quote-unquote right, like what? Okay, so what's the line going to be?
And a lot of the problem is manpower, right? We don't have enough folks in the system who are doing this work. The current administration has grown the size of ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, except it's not people doing immigration and customs enforcement. It is a secret police force that is terrorizing communities. In North Texas, there was a mom and dad, the Vargases. They own a dry cleaners here in Dallas. They're beloved by their customers, by their neighbors. They were dropping their daughter off at Texas Tech University, one of the best universities in the state of Texas. They were on their way back from dropping her off at school. I stopped them, detained them. They are still in a detention center. I do not want my law enforcement or my immigration enforcement officials focused on the Vargases. I want them focused on murderers and rapists and gang members, people who mean to do us harm. When we devote law enforcement resources to going after the Vargases, it makes us all less safe. So I'm just asking for sanity in the system.
You've been voted out by the majority. Please.
Great job. Yeah. Hi, Tyler. Good to see you. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, you told a really horrible story. That's a very sad story. But also, they're undocumented. So,
dude came in and was like, "Oh, boo fucking who, bro?"
this isn't just legal people who
Dude
are
was
here
like,
that
"Let me
came from
play
another
the world's
thing." It's a definitely
smallest
emotional story. It makes me feel
violin.
horrible for those people. I think there needs to be some better processes here. But they're still illegal, right? They're not supposed to be here. It's wrong by government standards, right?
It's
I think borders are very
wrong.
biblical. We see Nehemiah. The first thing he did for his country when he returned
There
to
we
Israel,
go.
he built a wall, right? He built a wall to keep those that wanted to harm them out. I'm not saying that
I get it.
everyone
it's
coming here wants
Texas.
to harm people, but I'm just saying that like biblically this reinforces it. And so I feel like there's
I believe in borders, and I don't believe in amnesty. Let's take the Vargases. We were talking about how they are sympathetic, hardworking small business owners in our community. They've been here for decades. There needs to be a path to citizenship. That is not the same thing as amnesty, because you're right.
Is there not already a path to citizenship?
No, and that's the problem. We've got millions of people who are living here in the shadows, and there is no path for them to actually come into compliance, which I want them to do. I'm a law and order Democrat. I believe that laws matter, and there should be consequences for breaking the law.
Okay,
Here's
so-
what I will say, Tyler. We do recognize in our legal system that there are different punishments for different kinds of offenses. There are civil offenses, like being here without documentation. There are criminal offenses, like murdering, raping someone, and those things are treated differently. And so, in my mind, and again, I'm open to negotiating how the details work, but there needs to be, in broad strokes, a pathway to citizenship where they pay a fine for being here without documentation or crossing the border illegally. There should be some penalty for that. I'm not disagreeing. They should also have to pay back taxes. Again, immigrants, undocumented immigrants in particular, pay a lot of taxes and don't get benefits in return, but they may be missing some of those taxes because they weren't citizens. They need to pay those back taxes. And they need to go through the citizenship process. They got to take the test.
100%
They
agree.
got to learn about our government. They got to learn about our culture. All that is so important. If they do all those things and they've been here a long time and they've been contributing, I think they should be brought
You
in.
just said they need to go through the immigration process, but then you just told me a minute ago that there is no immigration process, that they can't become
I'm talking
citizens.
about creating one. I'm talking about, that's what I mean when I say comprehensive immigration reform. It is building a process to where we can bring these millions of people living in the shadows into compliance, because there's not a process right now. And what you're asking is the process on the front end, how they got in here. And I hear so many people say they should come in the right way. We should create a process where there is a right way, where there's a line and it's a fast-moving line. I mean, I think you would agree, Tyler, that
That's
someone
the
shouldn't
problem.
wait
The
20 years
fast-moving
to hear
line.
back from their
We
application.
don't
That's not a
have
process.
enough people to process. The asylum process, the immigration process, it takes so fucking long. That's what drives so many people to do asylum, because the immigration process takes too long. That's what drives people to come here illegal, because the immigration process takes way too fucking long.
At all. And
No,
that encourages people to come here the wrong way. So I'm saying this is a systemic growth.
You've been voted out. Please return.
Great job, Tyler. Yeah. Hi. Denise. So nice to meet you.
So I hear everything you're saying. I take disagreement with you saying like the Democrats nor the Republicans actually did a good job on border policy, because as an immigration
here we
attorney,
go.
it started under the Obama administration and continued under the Biden administration, where they were deporting people for having crimes of moral turpitude. You would get these notice of deportation.
My aunt, who's an immigration attorney, would disagree with you that it's the Democrats' fault, just so you know.
Notices in the mail. So this idea or this notion that there was just this open border plan and nothing was being done is like not true. And in terms of them not hiring people, even the Trump administration spent a lot of time creating different courts in El Paso and trying to force people to stay out of the border and make Mexico create different courts. And even the Trump administration today is still hiring judges, immigration judges, and fast tracking people out of the country. So I don't understand what exactly you're saying, especially when you say public safety, because if we look at what's happening, we have mass shootings that happen because of U.S. citizens. And so this conflating of illegal immigration and public safety, I just think is like a misinformation. And as a politician, for me, I expect you to.
These people pretend to be okay with legal immigration but refuse to do anything to support or improve it. Exactly. I mean, like, really. Oh, for fuck's sake, if he's going to go for the Nehemiah shtick, didn't build a big, huge, beautiful wall around all of Judea and Samaria. Made the Persians pay for it. It was a city, not some isolationist policy. I mean, haven't we learned by now that people like this will use their religion opportunistically to basically guide it in whatever way they want? Are we surprised?
To come up with an argument that makes sense. Like you said, okay, we want to create pathways to citizenship. Well, how do you do that for people who are illegal? We had DAPA, we had DACA that created work
DAPA.
visas, but that wasn't a pathway to
DAPA.
citizenship. And that's not fair to the people who have H-1B
We
visas.
had
That's not fair to people
DAPA.
who have K visas for their fiancés. So I'm just a little confused as to why we would fast track people who are here undocumented and ignore people who have been waiting in the visa process line for a long time.
Well, first, thank you for your work on this topic. I want to just clarify a few things. I never said that we had an open border policy. I also don't think we should fast track anybody. What I'm trying to do is create a system that works. And when I speak about the failures of both political parties, including my own, it is the failure to pass comprehensive immigration reform. And that's a failure from George W. Bush to Barack Obama to Donald Trump the first time, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump the second time. What I'm saying is we should be going after the cartels, not our communities. We should be hunting down human traffickers, not moms and babies. We should be deporting gang members, not small business owners.
But we did that. So
And I think that was great to have a prioritization in terms of deportation, much better than what we have now.
But when you deported crime or people that were part of cartels, and we were doing that in like the 90s or early 2000s, you happen to destabilize Central America, which caused an influx of immigration that we've never seen before. So this idea of like, let's knock down doors and do come after the cartel, I agree with, but I'm confused. You also said we had to do something about people who have been here undocumented.
That's right.
My question is, what does your actual comprehensive policy look like for those people who have been waiting in line?
Yes.
Because we do have a pathway to citizenship through visas.
Yeah, like I said, I want for those that are living in the shadows, I want them to have a pathway. I'm not saying they should jump in front of anybody else.
Did you hear about Pisco getting pissy the other night and banning Tiny from Piss Court after he confronted him about his lack of moderation in his community against Hutch and Loaderbox? No, I did not. Where's the tea? Link me to the tea, please. I would like a tea link. Thank you. We deporting cartel members. When we did that, it led to illegal immigration. It was a big blow up. What is there something I can watch? What do we got? Are these people serious? No, they're not serious. It's team sports. They don't think about this critically.
What I'm saying is we have to bring them out of the shadows because it makes us all safer and it makes us more prosperous. But I would I mean, you tell me, this is a conversation. You're much more of an expert in immigration law than I am. So tell me what you think that policy should look like.
I think if you do what was attempted to do for DACA and DAPA, if you've been here for 10 years or you were brought as a child and you were enrolled in school, you should have a pathway to citizenship. I do understand the fundamental policy of not breaking up families, but I don't understand how we allow their children to stay illegally. Like, do you let them stay, get pathways to citizenships, and then turn around and allow their family to do the family visas and make people return back to their original country? Because we have to remember, if we do that part of it, people go to jail when they go back. We have like laws in place with different countries, especially in the Caribbean, where if you were in America illegally, you go to jail to come back. So when you go back, so there's no, to me, I don't think we should fast track undocumented workers, or I think we should probably give people work visas, but I don't agree with you necessarily getting citizenship, because why would other people take the better route, which is not to be undocumented and actually apply for a visa?
So tell me, here's where I get hung up. Tell me what we do with kids. Because I was telling you how I, as a public school teacher, taught a lot of students who were undocumented. Many of them were saved by DACA. What do we do for those kids who were brought here through no fault of their own, without their consent? They now live here in America. This is the country they know. They know no other country.
What are we doing about their parents?
And you mentioned DAPA being an opportunity for parents. So
if we kept work visas for their parents, and allowed them to stay, and they find a pathway to citizenship, if you crossed the border before you were like 6 and we can prove you were here, then I agree. But I think after that age, it gets too murky. Trying to, because people will falsify documents, they'll falsify pictures, and so it gets harder and harder to do.
I mean, this is the beauty of public policy, right? When we step out of the algorithms and the news networks, people can sit down, even if they may be coming at it from a different point of view, and be able to hammer out a solution that actually works. And I always try to listen to the experts, because as a politician, there's no way. And so I think you and I, some of the solutions we just talked about, that's exactly what we need to be focused on if we're going to fix the system. I think secret police is not the answer, and we have got to find a better path forward on immigration.
All right, cause you've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Let me see, Daniel.
Hi, Terrence.
Let me
nice to meet
see.
you.
I'm kind of tough. I'm not soft.
Okay. Yeah.
So the border, I think it needs to be like closed for a while. You said that.
Wait, what did
so
you
the
say?
border, I think.
Nice to meet you.
I'm kind of tough. I'm not soft.
Okay. Yeah.
So the.
Oh, you hear that, guys? He's tough. He's not soft. Okay.
Border, I think it needs to be like closed for a while. You said that, immigrants are some of the most patriotic in
My students.
Your students. I think that it is black people and foundational black Americans that are the most patriotic in America. Why are we not closing the border and using the drugs that are coming in, the money that's coming in from these drugs? Why are we spending money on private schools and letting these private companies fund these private schools, and not putting money into the black neighborhoods and brown neighborhoods that were here for so long in America and actually built what a lot of immigrants enjoy today?
Yeah.
And what are you going to do to kind of lend a hand in that way?
Yeah, I don't think we're disagreeing that we need way more investment in our communities, particularly black neighborhoods all over Texas. But I would say that this discussion.
Well, they're undecided voters, Barcode.
Discussion of immigration also applies to black people, because we have black immigrants. Not all immigrants that come to this country are from.
Well, let me start. Let's cut out the black immigrants.
Sure,
right now,
sure.
I'm talking about foundational black Americans
Yeah.
and foundational white Americans. So I'm a native of Texas and a descendant of slavery, right? So why are we?
Where did you? Oh, I see. I see the link now. Okay. Where in it? Where does he do it in the stream, Daniel? Do you know?
Not focusing on that instead of like closing the border. I mean, these people, we're not. It's not America's job, right, to take care of someone's child and mother from another country. That's that country's job, okay? If they want to put America as a dumping ground and then we have to now spend money to put these immigrants somewhere else, that's unfair to me and
Yeah,
other
but it's not the whole 2 hours, right?
foundational white Americans.
So here's where I agree with you. We need way more investment in our communities here in America. That's why I fight.
How?
It's why
Daniel,
I fight
go to
for
Politics
We need
General.
to invest in those communities.
Yeah, it's
I
why
don't want to
fight
do it
for
by
public
myself.
education
I'm
in the
trying to
Texas
stream
legislature.
at the same
It's
time.
why I have fought to lower housing costs and provide more funding for
I can only do so many things at once. I'm gonna say he's banning him directly in the stream. It happened toward the end. Okay.
affordable housing. Let's take education, just to drill down. As you know, I was a public school teacher, so I know the system from the inside out. By the time kids show up to kindergarten, the first grade, kids who grew up in poverty are already behind their peers. Their affluent peers who have enrichment opportunities, have summer camps, who hear a lot more words because they have a stay-at-home parent or a parent who can stay at home, versus kids who grew up in poverty. I think the way to fix that, and this is what I've worked on in the legislature, is high-quality, universal early childhood education.
Just help me out, so I'm not doing it by myself while I'm streaming. It's like 3.5 against 1 right now. Jesus, I'm holding them off, but I'm trying to stream at the same time.
For every child, no matter their zip code, no matter their race, no matter how much money their parents make, because those first 1,000 days of a child's life, those first 3 years are the most important in terms of brain development. And if they aren't catching up in kindergarten, you know that's just going to get worse the longer they're in the public education system. And so we're setting up these students for failure. And I agree with you, these students they're children of promise. Again, they're made in the image of God. They have something to contribute. Our job is to create a system that allows them to do that.
Are you
I think
willing-
early child education is a key part of it.
Are you willing to take away the?
No, I mean, honestly, I was saying Victoria's the half, but not really. It was just because she made a comment on something I said earlier where she didn't really need to, and then I had to explain myself again. But more like 3. Thanos, Josh, and Leo.
Money that we're putting toward bringing other immigrants in, because most immigrants take away from the jobs. A lot of people can't find jobs after they graduate.
Here's where I
college.
disagree with you.
It takes a long time for them to do that because most of even the idea has to be sped up in order to get that job, because an immigrant can get that job and can get that job for way less.
So we've talked about where we agree, which is investment in all kinds of neighborhoods, but investment for...
Let's see. Oh. Cosmic. That's Cosmic. That's Cosmic right here. Where are we
Got like
talking?
50 rules to chats.
Okay.
If you saw Hutch's chat, especially in a community that you know. What do you mean when you say
went after Hutch?
Number 1. Number 2.
Like this far back?
Like that was he was reminded of that, but they're in there. I don't get it perfect all the time, but I'm always trying to mod.
It seemed that it was tough for us to get common ground.
Example. Okay. The best example. You have a person, one of your most frequent chatters.
I didn't feel it was up in the ante. The reason.
All right. We don't need to watch the whole thing, right? Like, where do you think I should pick it up from about? Politics general, not just general politics general, but where should I start for this tiny Pisco rant around? Like, where do you think I should go with that? Horizontal.
That he was reminded of that, but they're in there. All of them are in there.
What I'm trying to say is that rule wasn't
streamers chat that I'm aware of. Certainly nobody in your sphere.
I mean, I don't know, dude. We've had this like moderation conversation internally, and we've had stuff with you and with other people messaging me that we should like immediately ban certain individuals or certain.
Keep jumping to that. Why do you keep saying that? Immediately ban.
The reason I go there is because I'm trying to solve an issue.
Is that the only thing you know for how to moderate a community? Is to ban people? That's all you know.
I'm requesting more guidance from people who know better, who claim to know better, like you.
I think that the way that you interact with people, and I think that what you allow in your community sends a huge message to your community.
Cool. I'll go from here, Daniel. Now, definitely jump into politics general.
About the types of behavior that's allowed. The fact that you found it so important.
No one does that. I'm asking for a recommendation.
About Ethan or Destiny stuff, that you banned it from your Discord, but the fact that that same rule for some reason didn't seem to carry over to your Twitch chat.
Right now they're defending the, well, you know, if the Democrats had just appealed to the pro-Gaza people, maybe Kamala would have won. They're doing that old fucking chestnut.
YouTube chat or Kick chat is kind of strange. Why was it so bothersome in one area but not in the other area?
I'll tell you why. Because we didn't have a Destiny Snark problem in the Discord. That wasn't a problem. That's something you invented. And so the rule is not.
Something I invented.
It's not true. We didn't have a Destiny Snark problem. Most of my people in my Discord are fans of yours.
If I go to your Discord right now,
Barco,
am I going to see
free to jump
just people
in there
saying
too,
things
by
like,
the way.
I don't think that, or it's almost like Destiny just wants to come in and show a bunch of bad logs from Peace Coast chat to try to emotionally signal that he's not in here with a whole bunch of his other friends, Carmel and everything else from his Discord.
If he's doing that in the Discord, if he's done that in the Discord, he'll be banned because there's a rule against that now. That's Rule 16.
To do what? To argue with the tankies in my politics general, saying that, oh boy, here we go. This is such an unserious answer.
That was, he was reminded of that, but they're in there. All of them are in there.
What I'm trying to say is that rule wasn't to resolve a problem. It was to resolve the perception of a problem.
Yes, there are. It's frustrating.
Okay,
we don't have a Destiny Snark problem.
All of those same people. You say you don't have a Destiny Snark problem. One of your most frequent Twitch chatters is called Rose was 17.
Yeah, so the problem, I think, is when it's in Discord and it's like behind, there's this feeling that we're all like cultivating Snark,
wait, I'm just trying to get it. What is Rose was 17? What do you think that means?
Yeah, it's a reference to you for sure.
Okay, being a pedophile, right?
Yes.
Okay, but you don't have a Snark problem.
Well, I think the existence of a snarker in my chat doesn't constitute.
You think there's just one?
Like
what about all the Kathy accounts? Do you think those are just to go related? What about the Doobie donations? Do you
Doobie's
think
banned from the Discord. Doobie donates to Connor, unless you think that Connor has a Snark problem.
That's fine. No,
these people go to.
Connor actually takes a real stand.
Dude, come on. Connor gets these people, has these people in their chat, and they go to his chat.
Connor fights with these people. You let them run roughshod over everybody. Nobody has to guess what Connor is on any of it.
With respect to what? With respect to what? JD Dance and politics and socialism, or with respect to
opinions about other streamers and other. Everybody knows Connor's positions on it, and he knows what he allows and doesn't allow in his chat. But these people don't even try in Connor's chat because they know it's not going to.
But you don't really have. Do you have a problem with Doobie being in Connor's chat?
No, because Connor makes his position and stance on all these things clear, and he doesn't hide behind this veneer of the behavior runs the gamut, and, well, I like lots of discourse. That discourse just so happens to be calling people Zionist genocide supporters and pedophiles.
Okay, so you think that the Destiny Rule 16 should be applied in the chat, but not for other
I'm gonna
people,
go.
right? Well, I'm asking you. You said it's weird. It's not.
No, I'm not playing this game because I'm not so easily fooled. That's not the question.
fooled,
It's not the
trick.
game. It is a trick.
You just want to keep
No,
repeating.
exactly.
Why are they there? Why are they there? Why are they there? Why are they there? That's a loop. That's a loop.
It's a loop because you're not answering the question honestly. You keep saying, well, because I think that I allow a lot of discourse. This isn't
Because I'm okay. So
You said yourself that
here's why I
it's
think
destructive. That's not discourse. You're just shitting on people.
here's why I
Snarking.
think
Destructive criticism is snarking.
here's what I think. Why I think a lot of Destiny haters show up to my chat is because A, I'm not afraid to disagree with you. B, I'm not afraid to call out people that they think are enemies. And C, a lot of them, I think that there is overlap between a lot of them and leftist communities, and they've liked what I've had to say about, proximate allies, and they've liked what I've had to say about Ethan Klein's lawsuit. That's why I think they're there.
You don't think that any of it is an intentional brigade behavior for?
But I'm not covering. But the thing is,
It's not
how does that make sense?
lefties.
Because
Yeah.
I'm not. Do you think that I go out to shit on you constantly? I don't do that.
No, but you don't have to. You don't have to do it. The chat does it for you.
I don't
Same thing
engage with
like-
that.
Same thing with.
I might as well. I might as well ban.
So engage with it. Yeah. Oh, now we're gonna do the. Should I ban it? Should I ban every message about this?
What do you want me to do? Align more with you and.
Yes, you have to agree with me on everything.
No,
Yes.
I'm asking what is it that you're saying? I don't want to give any prescription whatsoever, right?
I have an incredibly negative opinion of you, and I have had for a while. If you go into my chat, are people saying things like I don't even know what personal accusations people would make about you because we don't even engage in that here. People might call you like the worst, like people say like, oh, he's a piece of shit, or he's an asshole. Maybe they'll call him like a grifter or is trying to appeal to lefties or whatever. But we still would ban the fake lawyer comments. We'd speak out about that. If somebody says something super egregious or unhinged, even about Lycan or Aaron, right? People in chat will say something like, well, hold on, I don't know if that's cool or whatever. Even though I have an incredibly negative opinion of you, I'm not trying to align with you. I just don't like those types of comments because I know the types of things that they breed or foster. Now, you don't have to have that same opinion. That's fine. But I don't like the playing ignorant or stupid about it. Well,
I don't think I'm doing
because okay.
Because if they're not here because I'm like snarking on you, you grant that.
No, but they're there because they know they can snark. And it's one of the things that keeps at least some of that crowd around because they know that they're able to go in there and they're able to pump those comments through about Lonerbox, about Hutch, about me, about any liberal that goes on your show. And they enjoy doing that in your chat, uniquely in your chat, not in any of the other people on that show.
Well, listen, you're giving me a lot to think about in terms of snarking generally. I think that the concern on snarking, though, as you've expressed it, and certainly as Usurp priorly expressed it, is for snarking at particular people. I don't think you have a problem with snarking Hassan, snarking Ethan Klein really that much on certain issues.
We don't typically do. I mean, like, I don't even know how much we can snark Hassan for. I mean, we'll do the I guess the broad.
You don't believe this? Come on, man. Speak plainly. You don't believe that.
First of all, shut the fuck up, okay? Number one. Number two, like, if we do, it's just because this guy
Daniel,
has engaged in such an.
I see you're having fun, but definitely, jump in with some substance too. You can do that.
Unfathomable level of snark against me, including doxing me, including every single time he references me, he calls me sex pestiny, epstiny, pedostiny, or whatever, and is like reading down my QB Farms thread on stream. So we might do a little bit of snark against Hassan. But even for these people, like we tend to limit it because it turns the community into a certain type of thing, right? Like most of the complaints that we have against Hassan, like you can watch my chat during the Hassan and Adam Mockler thing. Almost all of the complaints were political.
With respect to Mockler or with Hassan?
With respect to Hassan.
Yeah, I mean, I have no doubt about that. In the moment.
So it's not like so it's not even most of our comments about Hassan are usually ones of like political hatred. Like that's how we engage with him substantively almost all the time.
I think that's an overstatement. I mean, in the context of the debate, I understand that you're saying that, but you're saying that conceptually, sort of.
Well, guess what, Barcode? It's my server, so you're good to go.
As a philosophical or principled matter, encouraging snarking is bad.
Generally speaking.
Yep.
Generally speaking, but also keep in mind again, you're going to comparisons between like my mortal fucking enemies who have doxed me, have done infinite amounts of personal attacks against me, against my family, right? And I'm talking about how your co-hosts that you were supposed to be friendly with are treated, right? That's the comparison you keep running to.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to run to any place or to try to say that you moderate communities perfectly or that they're.
That's not what I'm saying.
What's
It's
the improvement?
weird that I'm not perfect.
No,
I'm saying about it being perfect.
No,
You're
what I'm-
indifferent to it. You said you're indifferent to it.
No, I didn't say that I'm indifferent to it. That's a lie.
You did. You said you don't moderate it. You're asking, well, what do I ban? Right? You know,
No,
like,
it's a lie to say that I'm. It's a lie to say that I'm indifferent towards negative comments from my co-host. That's not true.
Really? Because it seems like every time they point them out and they read them, you got to go running through your chat to attempt to find it or whatever, and 90% of the time you even ban the person. I think the last 2 times I watched you try to chase a comment, I didn't even ban the person. People in your own chat even remark, wow, why are so many people here so fucking mean towards Hutch or whatever? Because they can't seem to understand it sometimes. They're not making like political, critical comments. You yourself said earlier, the majority of them are destructive.
So I think that a lot of the people who engage with Hutch's commentary in my comments are kind of doing like low effort critiques of Hutch. Not all though. I mean, there's a lot of I think critiques of Hutch that I agree with. But on certain given days, I'll see a lot of like Hutch's stupid, Hutch's this and that. I will see that of me on other chats as well. But I'm just gonna be honest with you, Stephen. It feels like, on that view, at least as pertains to me, and maybe your state's different because these are my co-hosts and I'm not your co-host or anything. It feels like DGG sometimes is a Pisco Snark subreddit. And when you cover every single Live and Learn episode,
yeah, we do
and
talk
just
a lot of
shit
shit about
constantly-
Pisco. That is
and
true.
constantly talk shit about my motives. I'm doing this for money. That's what the chat says.
When do I say?
Oh, he just said for money. He forgot pussy. He's doing it for pussy too sometimes.
For audiences.
You can't talk with lines that substance or whoever has given you. I don't think I've ever said you do this for money.
I'm not
pretty sure when I'm talking about your motivations, that's one of the things that I'm the most confused about. I don't think you ever are optimizing for money or audience or whatever else. I don't think.
Then what do you think? Like, I don't understand. Like you have this incredibly negative view of how I moderate the community. That I'm doing it for some nefarious purpose. What purpose? I mean, what makes sense of that for me?
I don't know. I truly have no idea. For somebody who is so upset about Ethan claiming you were a fake lawyer, for you to stand by and watch the most insanely unhinged chat comments fly by about your co-hosts. I don't understand it. I think there's some degree of audience capture. I think the biggest part is probably
audience capture is like grifting stuff. Audience capture is like I'm telling them things I don't believe.
It could be that you know that if you do a certain. I think that if you want to call it bad faith, then fine. But I think that if you had to reset your brain and you had an episode of Live and Learn and you glanced over at your chat and you glimpsed half of them giving destructive criticism towards Hutch, I think you go, wait, hold on, guys, what the fuck? I don't think this about Hutch. I don't hate.
I have said such thing.
What the fuck are you guys?
In fact, in the very podcast. Wait a second. Wait. No. In the very podcast. Come on, hey, let me finish this. In the very podcast episode that you saw, I remember it clearly. There were people going after Hutch and Jose saying, "Oh my God, these fucking guys talking about Kamala Harris. They just want to lose the election." I stopped everything to say, "You guys going after Hutch and Jose? They're just reading polls. You guys are acting like babies, and that's fucked up." I do this, and I don't. Maybe I should do it more, but it seems like people, the more you do it, will think it's condescending and not real.
Or maybe it just gets a signal from you about what you want to see in your chat. But also, those aren't even remotely close to the types of comments that I was talking about earlier. I think if those were the types of destructive comments, I think anybody else around you would probably be much happier for it.
I mean, I don't know, dude. Like those comments that I'm referencing right now were pretty bad faith interpretations of what Hutch was saying. Pretty like fucking stupid and inane.
Okay, here
I don't know if I
can. I'm linking something in the general chat in the Discord. That image problem. Okay, it's just a few comments for somebody clicked this in like fucking like 2 minutes.
It's within our. Is this images of
general
like
chat of Discord?
No. Is this images of the Discord or images of the chat? Okay.
Of the chat messages during Live and Learn.
Hey, look, genocide defender Loner Box, Israel's bravest soldier has arrived. Loner Zionist Box. This guy's an Israel defender. Fuck this guy. Oh, nice Loner Box. He'll tell us how cool Israel and the BB solely not doing war crimes, and we should still support them despite 8% of Democrats supporting that policy. Yeah, Loner Box loves genocide. He's a fucking ghoul, man. That's why Loner Box loves ethnic cleansing. He doesn't believe in international law. Loner Box laughed at snipe Palestinian children and justified it. He's not a good person. Not denying the sniper laughing allegations, though. Loner Box is a genocide defending piece of shit, and they're accusing him of defending genocide. And you're not going to like the question. I mean, what's the point? You're refusing to give any kind of prescription, aren't you?
I guess the question is, when you look at these, the two questions are: one, how much of these do you agree with? And then two, how much of these represent a thought process that you think is valuable to discourse in your community?
I don't agree with these comments. I don't have a basis to believe that Loner Box is a Zionist. I don't, frankly, spend a lot of time looking at Loner Box's Israel.
What? Loner Box believes in a two-state solution. That makes him a Zionist.
Positions. Maybe he's a Zionist. Whether he defends genocide, I think his view is that it's not a genocide.
He believes in a two-state solution. He's a Zionist. Do you not know what that means, Pisco?
That's his view, right? I think that we've DM'd about that. That he might schedule a genocide.
Maybe he is. What do you mean when you say?
Wait, you're asking me.
What are you interpreting that to mean?
Wait a second. You're asking me to evaluate. You're asking me to evaluate the truth of these claims. I'm telling you, I'm going through
them.
Said
how much of these? How much
do you agree with?
Do you
agree with?
Yeah.
Right.
When somebody says so, for instance, when somebody says, because I want to hear your thought process.
Wait. You just act like that was different. You're asking me to evaluate my sense of whether these are true.
Correct. Yeah. Well. True. I mean, if you agree with them,
you can't give ground fucking at all, even with the fucking shit about.
No.
It's so crazy.
No. It's not crazy at all. It is true, or you would agree with them.
There you
interpret it in different ways. I'm just clarifying what you said. Okay. When somebody says loner Zionist box, when you think like, well, maybe Loner Box is a Zionist, what do you think Zionist means there? How do you think they mean that?
Oh, are you gonna do what I just did?
In this normal usage, Zionism, pro-Zionism. What?
Does he not know what it means? Does he not know what it fucking means?
How else am I? Maybe I'm ignorant. I don't know.
The state of Israel.
No. Wait. No, an ideological Zionist is one who's committed to the project of the Jewish homeland in Palestine, or mandatory.
I mean, I don't like the way he phrased it, but essentially that's correct, I guess. So then what? You know that he's a two-stater, so why wouldn't you know that he's a Zionist?
Palestine, or in the Levant, or whatever you want to say, or Greater Israel. Committed ideologically.
Expand.
Well, people's ideologies are like their worldviews, and if someone, as part of their worldview, is dedicated to the existence of a Jewish homeland in
okay, in today's political climate, I don't know how many of these conversations you've had at this point. When somebody calls you a Zionist, especially in a derogatory manner, especially in a political conversation like this, the claim is that you think that Jews have a right to genocide or ethnically cleanse Palestinians with no recourse, and that the rest of the world should either support them or stand by and watch.
I think that's not what people mean.
When they, in this context, you don't think so?
I think those are other views this person probably has, if I'm going to guess, but that's not what the term Zionist means.
It's use, not prescription, description, right? We go by how people use the words, right?
Yeah, I think people use the term Zionist. Sometimes it's a dog whistle for Jew.
If you were listening to people talking, somebody said, "Oh, he's a Zionist,"
Bro.
would you assume that they're simply describing a
He is weaseling around hardcore
political position with normative indifference?
Unless I have other facts about the person, I know them to be anti-Semitic or something, I would assume that they're referring to Zionism in a derogatory sense.
Okay, and probably some of the logical extensions of that, namely the supporting of the genocide. Like, for instance, it would be really weird for somebody to say, "Oh, that guy, he's a Zionist, but I think he thinks that the Palestinian treatment is a genocide." That would be a really weird sentence. Generally speaking, you wouldn't hear that combination. "Oh, he's a Zionist, but he's really against the genocide of the Palestinians," right?
What are you suggesting here? That the Zionist term here is meant to say that he's a genocide defender?
Yes. Okay. It's not a good faith assessment of. It's not even trying to be a good faith assessment of Lernerbox's views. They're just all just calling him like a genocidal maniac, a genocidal freak.
So when leftists call people Zionists, you think they're uniformly stating that those people are genocide apologists?
Yes, of course, obviously.
Okay. I mean, there are other comments that just explicitly say that, so I don't know. That's not my interpretation of how the term Zionist is.
Because people say, well, of course, there's a variety of ways that people say the same thing, of course. Do you think that the guy was merely describing that he's committed ideologically to the existence of the state of Israel when he calls him loner Zionist box? He's just saying that into a vacuum?
I think he's saying he's an Israel defender. I think that's what he suggested.
Defender of what? What is Israel defending for right now? Against charges of genocide?
Among other things. War crimes, among... also
yeah, genocide, so he supports all those things, right? That's what that comment means.
Well, again, that person can have other views, but by itself, I don't take that... Maybe it's a signal
of
all those other views.
It's in a chat with a whole bunch of other people spamming the same type of stuff.
So, let's get to the prescription. Is that okay?
No, I think I'm just more interested in your feelings about it. The prescription is easy. It naturally follows. But if you don't think any of it's a problem, then there is no prescription, because why would you want one?
Because you're chicken shit. Because you're chicken shit.
I'm not chicken shit.
Yeah,
you're chicken shit. Because you're trying to pretend that you have either no ability to influence your community or that all of these comments just run a wide gamut of
Because you don't want to say, I want special rules. I want special rules for Destiny, and I want special rules for Zionism.
You already have special rules for me. I don't need special rules for Destiny. I just decided to watch you treat your co-host on your show like shit in a way that none of the other chat.
Like you give a fuck. Like you give a fuck. Do you actually care?
Yeah, I think it's really sad. And it's supposed to be one of the only lib spaces on fucking Twitch or whatever. So watching your entire chat be absolute fucking demons towards these people, towards some of the only fucking good faith libs left on the fucking internet who are nice to you.
And I'm nice to them.
It's kind of crazy. It doesn't. No, you as an individual might be, but you as a streamer are not. You're a terrorist.
I'm a terrorist because I debate.
You bring. Is that what I just said?
Do you think that I'm a fucking terrorist? How am I a terrorist? Terrorists should be fucking...
Think about it.
How am I a terrorist?
When I say that, what do you think I mean? Do you think that I mean because...
That's what I'm asking. I have no idea.
You have no clue whatsoever? Then that's...
What do you mean I'm a terrorist?
If you have no clue whatsoever...
What do you mean I'm a terrorist?
Now it's
you should find somebody else to do the moderation, or just say you don't care about anything.
What do you mean I'm a terrorist?
Spicy.
What kind of wild accusation?
Making fun of his dead sister or something else, just say, oh, I don't moderate my community. It's like, don't worry about it, bro. Just be honest about it.
So you know you fucked up, because that's an example where immediately...
No, I don't think I fucked up. I know that every single person...
That wasn't in my chat. That wasn't in my chat. That wasn't in my chat. That wasn't in my chat.
Exactly.
It wasn't in my chat.
They know exactly what you're talking about. It was one of your chatters.
It wasn't in my chat. I don't know, like...
One of your chatters. It was part of the people you draw. That's part of being a streamer, is you draw people to the streams around you.
And the people you draw, of course, are all fucking angels, right? All the people you draw.
Not all of them, but I do a lot of off-platform moderation. I do a lot of enforcement against brigading and stuff like that, of course.
Okay.
Right? That's why when I asked you earlier for an example of me not doing it, you couldn't think of a single example except for a couple of common ones that you've been fed by people from Justicle's Discord server, like Lab, and you didn't want to say Mr. Girl, but that was what you were referring to.
No, I mean, no, I don't have any specific concrete. No, it wasn't. I mean, you're ascribing that in your mind. I don't know. It's very conspiratorial. You think that like I'm sitting in these chats to try to fuck you over or something. Everyone.
I don't think you're trying to. I don't know if you're trying to fuck me over or not. It's just if somebody would ask me like, do I think Pisco is a pedophile? I don't think I would have like an indifferent answer. Like, well, I'm not really sure. I don't know. I'm pleading the fifth on that one. That's kind of a weird position to take, especially in a community that you know is hardcore anti-fanning against me or any of your co-hosts.
You are trying. What you're trying to do right now is specifically to exert control and to pressure so that I comment on your case. I don't know why you do that.
Do you think that you venturing an opinion, when somebody asks you, do you think this is a pedophile, that's pressuring you to comment on my case?
See, I think you know what you're doing.
Why? Now who's being chicken shit?
Okay. I'm not commenting on your case specifically. Is it my intuition that you are into prepubescent children? The answer is no to that question. But the answer is no to that question. The answer is no to that question. But Stephen, I'm not trying to get close. I would rather this never come up. I don't know why it's important for you for everyone who you interact with, or I guess you formally interact with, to get like statements on the record for that. I mean, does that really make you feel better?
I'm not trying to get statements on the record. It's the people in your community are the ones that run around and try to get statements on the record from every single person about stuff related to me or other people. Or
I am not trying. You can rest assured that I'm not trying to comment on your case.
I know that you are not. That's not what the conversation is about.
All right.
Your behavior, just the behavior that you let run in your chat.
Okay, well, to be honest, I think
I don't care about it. I think you should have just said that. You should say, I don't care if my chat is saying crazy onion shit about somebody else or my host or whatever else. You should just say that instead of doing this.
What I think is bullshit. No, stop. What I think is bullshit is your unwillingness to ascribe what you think ought to happen in these moderation channels. Because I think it's something approaching Protect Destiny rule. It's okay to talk shit about Hassan rule. It's okay to talk shit about people I'm menaced with. I don't think you really give a fuck.
Hold on. Do you think that I would care if your chat talked shit about me?
Yes.
In what way?
In any way that's critical of your positions, any way that
yes. You don't think I see a difference at all between?
No, I think you see a difference. Yeah, no, I think you see a difference. But
Has there ever been in the entire history of you knowing me going to anybody in my orbit, anybody of another streamer saying, hey, these people are being mean to me in your chat. Can you moderate that? Have you ever heard of me doing that before?
I'm not sure that you've ever done it, but you're refusing to do it now, which
isn't it strange that you have that strong impression of me? You ever wonder where that comes from? Maybe the chat influences you a little bit more than you think it does?
No,
Maybe.
my impression is that the entailment of your view, that is, everything you're suggesting is it's a problem when communities talk shit about your drama. That's a problem.
Is that what I'm saying? Is that a good
I'm not saying that that's, I specifically said it's not what you're stating. I'm saying it's an entailment of your view. And I think one of the reasons you're uncomfortable with providing...
Thank you,
Daniel.
Daniel.
I want you to...
I was using it neutrally. I wasn't trying to use it as, like, a pejorative. I appreciate that.
Ban people who are talking shit about me? Or,
yeah,
people, or...
Yes, you want me to ban people who are negatively mentioning your drama in my chat. Just admit it.
Oh, okay. Hold on, wait. That was a little bit closer, for sure, right? Now, you don't have to have that position, which is fine. You can have that position, but that's a more honest position to say you want me to moderate people that are commenting about your personal life or bringing up your personal drama, right?
Correct.
That's a more accurate statement than me saying, than you saying you want me to ban all criticism of you, right? One of those is way more specific than the other. Right?
Well, no. I think what I was saying with respect to would you be upset if people are criticizing Destiny in your chat? The answer to that is fucking yes. I think that you would be.
No, I don't think I ever have that. If you ever watch me complaining about anything ever, I'm sure in your mind you can think a lot of. Destiny's probably complaining that people are constantly bringing up personal stuff, baseless accusations, lawsuit-related accusations, my son, whatever else. How many times I'm like, oh god, this guy in fucking Peace Coast chat says that I'm I don't even know. Says that my opinion on whatever fucking thing. I can't even think of an example because nobody in your community even criticizes my takes. Ever.
Wait, if they called you a genocide supporter, you wouldn't be upset. If my chat was constantly calling you genocide supporter, you support Israeli war crimes, that you said that Israeli...
I mean, Destiny's been called so many fucking things over the years. At this point, everything's just got bounced right off.
Soldiers should do shit. Like, you wouldn't have a problem with that?
I think I'd be annoyed, but it'd be way different than like.
That's all I'm referencing. No, I agree it would be different. I agree.
But one is, it's okay. I can be annoyed at your chat. It's okay to be annoyed at people's chats. Hutch's chat says stuff that annoys me sometimes. It could be, but there's like it's a different level, right? If I went into Hutch's stream and all of Hutch's chat is like, oh, that Destiny's a fucking idiot. Fuck this guy, he's a retard. That would be a lot different than me going to Hutch's chat and all of them saying like, oh, this guy wants to rape children, right? One of these would be like annoying. I was like, okay, Jesus Christ.
I agree. I agree they're different, and we would understand them differently. 100%. I totally agree with that. But just to be clear, the reason why I'm trying to push for like different prescriptions is so that we can address what you feel the issue is. And I don't think that you feel the issue is bare accusations or mere accusations.
I hate that I have to write.
I don't think that you think that is generally a problem. I think it's a problem specifically perhaps with my co-host and with you.
Well, no, I'm saying my issue, first of all, this wasn't about your chat streaming towards me. My issue is that it seems like you conduct yourself in such a manner that you become a lightning rod for a whole bunch of anti-lib people that make a bunch of deranged and bordering on personal comments or past that personal comments towards people that are libs that come on your show, and that's just a very strange thing for me to see. I don't think if I walked into Hutch's chat and everybody's saying like, oh, I bet Pisco just believes this because of some girl, or I think that Pisco is he's I don't even know because it's hard for me to even imagine these types of attacks against you because people make them. They were anywhere near the types of attacks that that your community is making towards these other people.
They accuse me of bad faith constantly, and you do too.
Come on, that's a totally different type of thing. Bad faith. I would drink children's blood. Okay, I would join Hillary Clinton and do the adrenochrome injections if I knew that the worst attacks would be Destiny's bad faith.
Wait, for that one. Wait, when they were making accusations of Hutch and like a family member, we acted quickly to resolve it. We figured out where it was. I think it was maybe even during the conversation with Lonerbox. We stopped the on-screen chat and we went to address it.
You're not understanding the question.
Then tell me, why are they there?
Does it seem? Yeah, and I know you don't want to answer that one because it requires actual introspection and some.
I answered that question.
They love discourse. They like discourse.
No, I didn't say that. I don't know if you're listening to me half the time when I'm talking.
I am. I think you gave 3 reasons. You said one is because I don't ban people who I disagree with in my chat. The second one is that I give takes sometimes that I think are contrary to your takes. Yep. And then you give the H3 lawsuit as an example. And then the third one was that lefties might be drawn to your chat for.
Nice. Yeah, no, you did. I'm sorry. Yeah, you did. You did listen.
Yep. But the issue is not. The issue is just I don't understand. Maybe you just don't care. I guess I just don't understand how you.
What? About all the people in the chat who are being mean and negative?
Yeah, I guess that's just a crazy thing to see, I guess. Because I know that I think it would bother you if you saw Hutch's chat making that level of comments, that level of commentary about you in conjunction
Genocide Defender and stuff? Genocide Defender, Israel Shill, that kind of stuff?
Maybe, but it's hard because I don't even know what the equivalent attacks are because there's not much of a snark right or whatever. I don't even know what that would even look like because it's kind of the left and that type of community that does that uniquely. But
I've never asked. I know. I'm gonna be honest. There are some critiques that you have made of me that have bothered me. There are critiques that people in your community that have made that have bothered me. I've never once asked you, like, hey, moderate.
What do you mean bothered me? What do you mean by bothered me?
Like comments that annoyed me. That's what I mean by bothered. That rubbed me the wrong way. That feel bad.
Like calling you like bad faith?
Like saying that I'm only having this opinion for the purpose of ingratiating myself with an audience to try to suck up to Hassan. That these aren't my real opinions. I don't actually have those opinions. That I'm lying. These are all tuning my character.
I feel like these are not common. I don't know if these are common comments. I think most of us are just really fucking confused. And then some people are like, I'm a Pisco hater from day one or something. I think most people are really confused. I don't go back and look at the thread. And then I think
Do you think I've changed? Do you think I've changed my beliefs or like changed who I am? This is who I am. I've always been combative and
incredibly obvious what somebody on your show or like what Hutch will talk about. It'll seem really obvious like what's going on, and you are like debate raping him, sometimes even in front of a guest, to where a guest gets out 5 words of a question. The Jose guy, I don't remember what the question was. You're like, no,
I'm
right?
gonna
That
guess
was
that was
well
into the
conversation. 3 minutes of that show, you grinded the fuck out of him, and it's like, holy shit, what is the purpose of this?
And what you're saying is that's not what I'm known for doing.
No, I guess if you have one gear all the time.
Do you think I have one gear all the time?
No, he's spamming people.
No, I don't think so. I think you're capable of not rolling in that gear. I think that is super possible. I think 100% I think that's super possible to do.
Remember how Fina Pisco got when Ethan said he was
you also just say that. You said, no, everyone
no, maybe the answer is sometimes I get sort of prompted to be more combative in a debate, and sometimes I don't. And it's not like me deciding Machiavellianly to go after.
I don't think I've ever said Machiavellian. You're ascribing. This is how people talk about me, and I'm sure they talk about me to you that way, and I'm sure they're telling you that I talk about you. It's very rare that I ascribe Machiavellianism, regardless of what you heard.
I saw your. So I'm just gonna all cards on the chest, right? I saw your review of my discussion with Hutch, and I'm like, you can't imagine how bizarre it is for me to like. I get the message from Hutch. Hey, let's talk in the morning. He even says let's battle. I think or something approaching that. And I'm like, I'm gonna just let him ask me anything he wants. I'm going to do my best to like just really assure him that I'm coming at this from the right perspective. And your take was, he's mind fucking Hutch. He's trying to fuck with him. This isn't even a real conversation. It's not a real debate. Like, bro, you're ascribing.
Can you explain to me why at the end of that conversation you asked Hutch, you know that you're my boy, right? And Hutch couldn't even give you an absolute yes or no. Why do you think he started on that?
I think I hurt his feelings.
So then, if that's your boy, and you guys talk way more than me and you probably have ever talked, and I'm confused, why would it be crazy that I'm confused on the outside of that? If Hutch is confused himself.
I think that I think sometimes I undercount and underappreciate how much being like pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed can have like an effect on people. And
but it's also
not everyone is able to.
Pushing, and all of your chat is the most vitriolic, by your own words, destructively criticizing.
Hutch says he doesn't really care about that. Hutch has said he doesn't care about that. Hutch has never communicated to me once that like he wants me to. I asked him before, do you want me to ban Ogre Boy? He said no. And so yeah, like
I don't think anybody would ever say yes to that though. It doesn't work that way. But I don't know how to make you understand that, I guess.
He has signaled that he's not bothered by the shit. I think that he's his feelings were hurt about.
I could be totally wrong, and I might just be in a total imaginary fucking world. Okay, I'm not actually. I won't hedge on that. I think that if Hutch was watching a stream and you guys were having a debate, and some guy in your chat typed in some shit, another unhinged personal attack about how Hutch is simping for Diddy GG or some other weird fucking comment about Hutch and pro-genocide or something, whatever the fuck else, and you said like, hey, not cool, or you like timed out that person, or if he saw it, I think there'd be a little part of him who'd be like, oh, that's cool. Pisco cares about the image of me that's on his stream and the way that his stream is perceiving me.
Right, you're categorizing the nature of the comments. The nature of the comments that you're categorizing as like beyond the pale, or ones that relate, I guess, to Israel or the genocide, and those that relate to like you. What other clutch of criticisms, or what kinds of criticisms? That's what I'm trying to like get a rule. Like, what's the rule that you think is a good rule by which to, sort of sort out the harsh and biting and vicious and even unreasonable critique from beyond the pale, inappropriate, not even worth.
It's not going to be like a hard, like you can't. I don't know if you can make a rule like that.
Like personal attacks rule.
I mean, maybe. But like if I had to bootstrap like 50 rules to chat saying like no racial slurs, no race realism, no race essentialism, no if every day you're gonna show there's a new rule like that, I think people would be like, what the fuck? Why do we have 62 different rules related to how we can talk about racial essential ideas or racial essential? I think they'd be like, okay, this seems like a chat that is drawing these types of people for whatever reason. They really want to have this conversation in here. And so the idea that like you need to make a new rule or ban the people doing it, like if there's like
I don't like to be ad hoc. Maybe that's like I like to have things be clear and upfront about what the conduct is, and so anything less than.
It's not about being. If you're asking if it's like here, so one thing I've noticed when I talk about conservatives is when whenever they want to talk about anything, they always bring up trans people. Okay, and I started joking about the girl cock. These guys are obsessed with girl cock, and at some point,
wait, sorry, I'm missing this. Sorry, my bad.
Sure. Anytime conservatives would bring up trans people, they'd always say, anytime any political issue comes up, conservatives would talk about trans women. Always, every single time. Okay. So I started saying, okay, it's time for girl cock. We're talking about girl cock. And then eventually got abbreviated in my chat as gawk, gawk, gawk. And it was funny, it's a good meme, but I noticed that maybe a month into this, every single time anything related to trans people came up on stream, anytime it came up, people started to spam gawk. I'm like, okay, well, hold on. This is kind of weird now. I don't think that it's an ad hoc rule to say, okay, guys, we're not doing this. I think that if I see my community portraying an image that I don't feel like accurately reflects what I feel, what I think, I probably want to curb down on that behavior depending on how extreme the behavior is about things that I believe strongly in. So if all my chat said they really like the movie Titanic, it was their favorite movie ever, that's not a thing I would care that much about. But if they're putting values or things out in the world that I severely disagree with, like making extreme personal attacks against friends or having extremely divergent, offensive political views, I would probably do something to guide the community. But it wouldn't be a matter of like I'm just banning the word or I'm
you just mentioned something things there that I think could be made into rules. Like, for one, on the trans issue, like anything related to intrinsic characteristics, those kinds of attacks are unacceptable. Extreme personal attacks are not acceptable. Extreme attacks as against people's characters who are friendly with the show.
Really,
Those are.
I don't even know. I don't think I have those rules in my chat. They might be. I don't think so. But I think if somebody were to come to my stream and somebody's like, "Oh, this guy's a fucking wetback," whatever. I don't think I would need a rule against it. I think everybody in chat would look at that person and types in "feels weird, man," and then you probably get banned or something, or you probably just leave.
Yeah, when I say rule, I don't mean like necessarily. Though I prefer it to be written down somewhere, so there's people know how to conduct themselves. Because in my opinion, everyone should get a shot. Like, I think everyone should get a chance to be in compliance. And so the rule is more just like a set of guiding criteria that I can tell my mods, because oftentimes I am just like listening to the conversation, but also that I hold myself to following. And so it may be, I don't think it's unreasonable for me to be like, give me the rule, or what do you think a good rule would be? Maybe it's something like that, extreme personal attacks, or attacks, repeated attacks against stream guests or something like that. But I don't think it's too much to ask that.
I would never ban somebody calling somebody like bad faith. I don't think I'd ever ban that. But if I had a friend that was coming to my stream and every single time he came in, every single person was like, "Oh, bad faith, bad faith, bad faith," I'd be like, "Well, fuck, what's happening right now that my whole community is interpreting things like this?" I don't think I would ban the behavior. I think I would either have a discussion about it, or I would do something to try to guide them in a different direction. But remember earlier, you said that after your 4-hour conversation, you felt like your community had an even worse opinion of Hutch afterwards. You had a 4-hour talk about one hypothetical that you said you're not any closer to the answer.
Well, no, that's
all that we do is what?
It's not accurate. That the entire conversation was about that. The conversation was about like what I view my political theory as. It ventured into like personal, like.
Well, sure. Sorry, it seems like it was inspired by that question. And
oh, 100%. Well, no, but I don't think it's my fault. I don't think it's my fault. I don't have clarity on that. Hutch is like.
But do you think that Lonerbox is at fault? When you guys were on that show, Lonerbox had to call out like anti-Lebanese racism in your chat related to supporting.
Is he at fault? No, that's unacceptable.
How does that?
People should be banned for anti-Lebanese.
How does that make you feel when somebody makes that call out? Do you feel anything?
Lonerbox? It makes me feel sad and upset.
Just sad. That's it.
I don't know what
you feel like
it feels bad. It feels bad. Wait, dude, come on. This is so silly. You're getting triggered over me saying sad and bad. What fucking magic words
if I
to use?
Bring on somebody on my stream with black, and my chat started spamming racial slurs, that would be humiliating for me. I would feel disgusted. Be like, well, hold on, this is not my community at its best. This doesn't reflect what I believe in. I don't think it reflects what I hope not. What my community is supposed to believe in. I understand the huge gender disparity for the 90-10 male-female stuff, but that's one of the reasons why we talk about the fucking women so much. I think that a lot of the ways that they treat women on or off stream, whatever, I think is not the best. And it makes me feel bad. I don't like it. I don't enjoy when my community talks about things. And the fact that, I don't know, if I was on a show and somebody's like calling out or like insanely disgusting comments in my chat, I think I would be like, oh shit, like, let me get that. Like, that's.
You're just taking like your woke victory lap because I said bad and sad, and you're like, wow, you should have elaborated more and like gone on a fucking monologue.
That's how you. If that's how you feel, I mean, it was your discussion, but I mean, it seems like you just said you don't care much about it. So I mean.
Okay.
Okay. Let me jump in real quick. Okay. So Pisco, I was like, I feel. Listen, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt because I'm argumentative too, and I'm just generally like optimistic about people. But I have definitely told you a number of times that your chat is pretty unhinged. So when I hear you say like no one said anything, I get confused by that because it's kind of like a running meme on the podcast, right?
Well, I didn't know that you wanted me to get like rid of those people.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I said ban people, but we've definitely like it's been.
Your chat is super unhinged. I didn't know you wanted me to get rid of those people or do anything about it.
Said multiple times on the podcast.
No, what I'm talking about is like that it upsets you such that you think that like action should be taken. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, like some kind of moderation. Like if you think like it's ban worthy, then that's up to you. But like some kind of moderation. So like people in my chat sometimes will, if we're debating, they'll accuse you of bad faith or whatever. But if you talk to my chat or if you ask them, they will all tell you that I almost always, like when I see it like really picking up, I basically every single time will tell chat like, okay, chill. You can have disagreements with his debate, but like don't do like the crazy ad homs, which is a little bit different than like I'm not actively like banning people. You have to go pretty far in my chat to get a ban, but I do make an effort to like if it's a friend of the stream, don't like start accusing this person of wanting to like murder babies or whatever. I did have to take the chat off of my screen when we do the podcast a lot of times because I would get so distracted because like the things that people were saying about me in your chat was like literally like sweeping for genocide and the wildest straw man arguments I've ever seen in my life. And so that does get to be a little bit like, I think I just kind of got to a place where I dismissed it. I'm like, okay, I guess he's just idiosyncratic like that. Maybe he's like a maximalist free speech kind of person, but
I really am.
The idea that
people from my community know that now. If it bothers you, we can definitely get rid of it in the context of our podcast. 100%. Yeah. I didn't know that it bothered you.
Well, I mean, listen, we have said stuff before, Pisco.
No, that's crazy. I didn't know that it bothered you, so you think I should take action.
No, but why would we bring it up if it didn't bother me?
Well, it could be that you're commenting on it because you think it's crazy. I didn't know that you specifically wanted action. I mean, that's just if you wanted me to clean up the chat.
Oh my
in
god!
The context of our podcast, I'm happy to do that.
But why would I bring
gaslighting? It up? Like if your partner points
I have
out
no
that,
idea.
like
you're bringing up to express your dissatisfaction with it. I don't take that to be a view that you like want me to take particular action.
You want me to have
no audience?
You want me to ban people? So you want me to ban people who do what? Who are?
He wants you to ban people. Want to do something.
You want me to want to ban people who do what?
Not ban people, but just like
take action against who?
It's not about that.
Who do you want me to take action against?
I don't know how to say this without sounding like super like virtue signaling, but when I see people making like extreme personal attacks, and I don't always get everything. Like I don't always see. So there could be things that go through the cracks, but my moderators know to like crack down if it reaches a certain kind of threshold. That's just so that's my instinct. It's because like we're pod pals or whatever, and so my instinct is to be like chill. You guys just chill. And so like when I look at the live and learn chat, and you know like half of the chat,
I stopped it.
Is, like accusing me of like something genocide. Then it did get to a point where I was like, I'm just not even gonna look at the chat because it was distracting. Like it was like really intense kind of accusations.
Well, listen, I didn't know that you wanted me to take that more serious.
Come on, why are you saying that?
You think I'm lying? You think I'm lying to you? I'm telling you the truth.
You know, I don't know what to make of this, Pisco, because if I tell you like, yo, your chat is wild. Like that's not just me saying like, hey, how's the weather? It's not the same kind of like conversation. It's like me. That's obviously me. Like bringing
like the boyfriend girlfriend situation where it's like, why don't you just say what you mean? Why don't you like, this is what I feel like. I just like I maybe have a more I don't know what to say, idiosyncratic view of like the chat and what I allow for and what I don't. But truly, I didn't get the inclination that you wanted me to take any particular action. And even as I sit here, like it sounds like what you want me to do is tell people to calm down about you, which I do at times. And so that I'm just like, well, you want me to do it more frequently? Or is it me even asking like insulting to you? Like the fact that I'm asking it is like an anathema to you.
I mean, I'm a bit incredulous right now because like
about what?
It's I don't know. I can forgive like being idiosyncratic in certain ways, but if I know that it came up like multiple times. It wasn't just like once or twice. It became like a running gag, like a meme on the chat where it was like that, and then the joke was like, we all know who's chat that person came from. Or
oftentimes those people weren't in my chat, but like even putting that aside, like I took that as a joke and as you guys like expressing shit. I didn't take that as you saying, fucking do something, bitch. And if that was what you were trying to communicate, I did not have that communicated to me, and I'm not lying about that. I think you're accusing me of lying. Are you?
No, I don't know. Truthfully, I don't know how to make sense of it because it's difficult for me to put myself in your shoes and have like it's fine if people are saying like, oh, he's fucking bald or he's like fucking 40-year-old or like that stuff, the superficial stuff that I could give a fuck less. That doesn't bother me. But if I look at the chat and it says this guy, like it's with the particular crowd that I'm thinking of, they relentlessly lie. And I think it's because a lot of them watch Hassan and he relentlessly lies. Like he has accused me as recently as just like a week and a half ago of being paid by Progressive Victory to do Israeli propaganda. Like if I ask your chat right now, like how many people in your chat think that I was paid by TV to do Israeli propaganda?
It's not. It's definitely like, it's definitely not a representative sample because the views have been upped for.
Oh, they're all juiced up because of the.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. But if it was like a regular audience, I feel like it would be like a decent chunk of them that believe that.
I'm not sure.
I mean, to me, that's like, that stuff I find like pretty unsettling. It is an unsettling experience on the internet to look at a chat and see like dozens of people saying that this guy was paid to do Israeli propaganda.
Listen, I had no thought about that. Like I see your chat sometimes pretty negative towards me. Maybe you're saying it's different in kind or something. And maybe I didn't perceive that difference in kind with respect to the chats. I understand that my chat is like very specifically antagonistic at times towards things you're saying, but I truly didn't know that you wanted me to take additional action. And if
no, but you don't think that my chat goes as hard as your chat, do you? That's not what you're saying, right?
I'm not saying that. I'm not making an assessment there. I'm just saying they're both highly negative.
No, but you would acknowledge that your chat, but like you would acknowledge that your chat goes way beyond like what you see in my chat, right?
In what sense? In what like qualitative sense?
It's like the difference again. It's like the difference between like Pisco's arguing in bad faith, which is like that's like kind of a nasty accusation. But like compare that to oh well Hutch got paid to do genocide apologia. Like these are very different scales.
I mean,
right?
I don't recall seeing that chat in my stream, but I agree that those are like different things. It's like implying that you're getting paid by the state of Israel or some shit. That's different in kind of like bad faith accusations. Maybe it's different also to like the grifting accusations, in that a grifting or audience captured accusation, which you agree you can find plenty of it in the Hutch comment section, correct? That is like
your audience captured?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people say that, yeah, but do you know what I do every time, bro? Every single time I see that, I'm like, hang on, guys. I've said this probably 24 times in my chat, some variation of this. Like, guys, I understand that there's a lot of commentary about Pisco. I have not seen any evidence that he's like in the tank for tankies or actively trying to like court Hassan's audience. Like I push back very directly every time I see that.
Okay, I know people take it like as a joke, this Hutch my boy thing. I think that a lot of throat clearers like that, unless they're supported by actual action, like lose a lot of their effect. Maybe I should be more sort of targeted when I do throat clearers, but the intent is to suggest that I think you're operating in good faith, and that it's like not a personal thing, and that I largely don't want them to get a wrong impression from whatever I'm about to say. But that has sort of turned into a throat clear, which is meant to like signal abuse or something, or bullying of you or some shit. So maybe, and here I'm genuinely looking to see like what I didn't expect you to come on, to be honest, because I truly didn't think that you wanted me to do anything else. But I'm happy to workshop ideas with you about how you think I should approach it going forward. Maybe
but I was No, but I was hearing you say that nobody brought it up to you in the past, but that's not true. No, people have brought it up to you in the past. People on the podcast have brought it up to you in the past.
Do you think that when I said that, I was meaning no one has brought up my chat before? What do you think I meant by that?
Yeah.
Oh, but I can just tell you that's not. I can just tell you that's not what I meant. What I meant by that is
you said, well, no one has told me that it bothered them. So, I mean, I guess maybe literally that's true. I don't know if I ever literally said like, hey, that bothers me, but
you haven't.
Okay, but I mean, if I'm bringing it up in the way that I've done in the past, and it wasn't even just me, but like, if I'm bringing it up in that way, like, bro, your chat is wild. Some of the stuff they're saying about me is wild. You know, like, what do you think I'm saying by that? You think I'm just marveling at it like a waterfall or something?
I will give him this.
I think that you're signaling disagreement with it. I think that you're I don't think that you're suggesting a particular course of conduct. Maybe that's stupid of me to interpret it that way, but like, I took the running gag of it to be like, this is also something we accept. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, Hutch.
It could be
in organizations, I think, or in like sort of setups with different people. I think that communication. Maybe we should have like meetings and shit or something, or like a monthly meeting, because I think that this is an opportunity for us to potentially like be on the same page more. Because I'm telling you, I just had no impression that you wanted me to act differently with respect to my chat. You can say that like, you're incredulous about that. It's just like I didn't think that even in the last thing that you just said with Steven here, you were like, it doesn't bother me. Like, so I don't know. I really didn't.
Our debates, like whatever back and forth.
You said the reply people don't bother you. That's what that's what you said previously. And so I meant. And when you said that, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
To be clear, I meant like the personal insults, like that stuff. After 17 years of being on the internet, it's like whatever. I don't really care. Like
what does bother you?
The really kind of superficial kind. But like, for example, when we got into the segregationist discourse, it was like, it's basically been every week since that conversation that if I open chat and look at it, and there's going to be like people in the chat that are saying like, oh, this is the guy that wants segregationists to come back into the Democratic Party. Like that is, that's beyond like a superficial, that's beyond like a superficial, you know, old bald whatever thing. And now that's just like blatantly misinterpreting. Like even I'm looking at your chat right now.
I don't have
like,
oh, I mean, like YouTube one. I didn't activate the because we undid it. I can't see the YouTube one. I can only see the kick. I probably should.
No, but like some of the chat that I look at right now in that's active right now is like the same stuff that shows up on the podcast where it's like, this is the same guy that actively wants to court segregation.
What up, Cinderella?
And it's like, I don't know.
I'm trying to ascertain what things bother you, Hutch. I really am just trying to know what bothers you that I know.
To you, though.
Oh, okay.
But I'm trying to explain it to you though, right? Like if you call me bald, I don't give a fuck. If you say, you know, I'm older, weird looking, I don't give a fuck. If you say that I actively want to court segregationists into the Democratic Party, like that is so beyond any kind of superficial insult that I'm talking about.
That bothers you.
And I don't know if it's because
he goes, that bothers you. Fucking duh.
These people are just fully deranged. There's some internet communities that are kind of centered around like a cult of personality, or like there's anti-fandoms. And so they just jump to these like wild conclusions. I don't know if they actually believe these things, or if they're just trying to like discredit me by repeating these insane accusations. But it's like that stuff that I think that takes it to like a new kind of level, that goes beyond.
I'm bothered when people in your chat say that I'm grifting for tankies, and I would like you to delete all those comments.
Wait, but Pisco,
I'll delete all the comments about that you're referencing.
No, but Pisco, every time I see those kinds of comments, every single time, I say to my chat, guys, I do not think he's courting tankies. Like, ask any regular in my chat.
Okay, when I see those comments, I have said before that I think it's a mischaracterization of your view that you want to invite Epstein people or segregationists into the party. But when I see it, I will go out and say that that's not true, because I don't believe it, and I agree with that. I will make that commitment to you.
Well, there you go.
Okay, that would be great. That would be great.
Well, this is what I think is great about reaching out, because I truly, I'm gonna be honest, like I did not know that those kinds of comments bothered you, and it seems like they more relate to misinterpreting your arguments and sort of bad faith interpretations that seem malicious. That's the kind of stuff that bothers you, right?
It's the wild like straw man, basically.
Wild.
I mean, on one hand, yeah, Sleepy, but at the same time, like, I can see how you could get, like, annoyed by someone who's supposed to be, like, your political ally, allowing a lot of shit-talking of you in their chat. I can see that, too. I don't know. Everybody wants to take themselves a little seriously.
Accusations. Hutch literally thinks that Epstein would be, like, a good president, or Hutch literally wants to, like, actively court segregationists into the party. That stuff is a part of, like, a larger coordinated effort by the people that I spar with. Like, you're aware that these communities and these creators just actively lie, right? Like, you're aware of that, right?
Which communities? The Hassan communities? They lie, yeah.
All that. I mean, like Hassan, but like it's so much bigger than Hassan. It's like Mike, like all of that, like extended universe. Like, you're aware that they knowingly, blatantly lie like regularly, right?
I'm aware of many lies.
No, that's not what I asked you though. But like that, those communities.
The regularity of it isn't something that I have a strong view on. I know Hassan has lied multiple times. I don't watch enough of these people's content to say it in those terms. I know that they lie a lot.
Okay. It is a lot. It is a lot. And it's a deliberate strategy. If they feel vulnerable in any kind of way, they don't really like to engage in the substance of whatever critique is going on at the time. And one of the ways that they avoid engaging in the substance is to just try to discredit people by just blatantly lying about them. So accusing chorus people of being paid to do genocide apologia, the way that that whole crowd does with like Brian and Chorus and all them, and or accusing people that did work with PV of being paid to do Israeli propaganda, which in the case of PV is particularly insane because one of the last canvassing events that they did when I was still working with them was for fucking Jamal Bowman. So it's not even just that they lie, it's that they like blatantly lie about the dumbest things, and they know they're doing it, and the whole reason they do it is because they want to just they want to discredit you so they don't have to actually engage in what you're saying. This is like an endemic to that whole fucking scene, that whole like toxic sludge. Yeah. And so when I see like some of the stuff that I see in your chat sometimes, it's like I feel like there's probably a lot of overlap with those communities. This is because they're saying the same things that show up in my mentions when people like Mike and Hassan bring up like a tweet of mine and like blatantly brigade and accuse me of doing things that I obviously never did.
Sorry, I'm moderating my community. My bad. No, I listen. I don't like those communities. I don't like. I agree. I don't like those communities. What do you want me to say?
Okay, yeah. I'm just explaining. It's the same. It's the same rhetoric. Like the rhetoric that looks like that. You know, like if one of those creators pulls up a tweet of mine, it's like this is the same guy that said he, like segregationists should come back to the Democratic Party, and then they pulled a tweet up on their screen, and the whole point is like they're obviously using
on their screens. Yeah, I don't do that, and I don't like that they do that. Yeah. I don't know what you want me to say.
I know you don't. No, I know you don't do that. I'm saying it's the ones that mirror those tactics and that rhetoric. Those are
the ones that mirror the tactics and rhetoric of these communities that hate you.
Yeah. Like the blatant bad faith interpretations of things that I say, or like blatant straw man. Yeah, that stuff is crazy to me.
Okay. Well, listen, I have to go. I have heard what you said, Hutch, and frankly, I hear you, and I'm open to trying to address it for the sake of making it more palatable.
Well, listen, I would have probably preferred to do this privately. The only reason
can I ask why you didn't?
Well, because in the first instance, it was because you guys were having this really long conversation about why I said the things that I said, and it was getting frustrating. Like somebody messaged me to tell me that you guys were talking, and then the second time was because I kept hearing you say that no one had told you that the chat stuff like had bothered them, or no one had like brought it up to you before. I don't know exactly what you said.
I mean, I didn't get the impression that you guys wanted me to take particular action, or that you guys were being bothered by chatters, except to the extent that we've had a couple incidents where it's been like horrible and then we've addressed them. But yeah, I guess I don't know why. Did you feel that it would be best to have this conversation in public?
Well, I mean, you were having the conversation in public, right?
Well, I was having a conversation in public about whether or not I was good faith in interpreting, your statements, whether or not I felt that my moderation was good based on my view of what y'all were sort of feeling about the chats. And I didn't know that you wanted me to take particular action. I'm not saying that it's like totally improper to be public, but I am just wondering the thought process there.
Yeah, it's mostly done here. Okay, let's get back to this.
Americans. Where we disagree, I think, is this idea that immigrants as a whole are a drain on this country. That's where I strongly disagree, because these immigrants are doing jobs that native-born Americans won't do. And I'll give you an example. Just give you an example.
I disagree. How do you know that?
I'll give you an example. I talked to an avocado farmer in California who's been running this farm for 20 years. He said he has never had a native-born American apply work for one of his jobs.
And let me ask you a question. Real quick, okay? How many black people are in California?
In Los Angeles or
in California in total?
I don't know. I don't know much about California.
It's under 7% now. He doesn't have enough people that need jobs in California.
It's not even about
that statement toward Texas.
It's not even that.
Texas is more black.
Wait, I'm sorry. It's the percentage. Hang on. Let me look up the actual raw numbers. Okay. All right. See, I think the numbers would be more appropriate. Texas does have a larger black population, but just throwing out a percentage there isn't... I think in this case, if you're talking about black people getting jobs, you'd want to give the raw number there. What up, neighbor Rooney? Pisco says he hates the crowd, but he has the whole anti-fan crowd, from Lav to J-Stock to Esports Batman to Vadim to Ogre Titties to Doobie dropping OnlyFans level monthly tributes to Pisco in a stream, who you keep company with says a lot about you. I mean, that's not untrue. That's not untrue.
People stay in Texas. More foundational white Americans stay in Texas.
Let's just talk holistically. There are 7
But
million jobs.
holistically doesn't work for everyone.
Well, no, but I'm talking globally about the economy. There are 7 million jobs that are unfilled in this country. We have more jobs than we do workers in America right now. And these are, as you know, some of the toughest jobs, right? Picking our fruit, taking care of our children and our elders, paving our highways. These are jobs that are difficult, and the research shows that undocumented immigrants are really just competing against other recent immigrants. They're not competing with native-born Americans who, in many cases, whether it's that avocado farm or whether it's other industries across the country, native-born Americans will not sign up to mow our lawns. And so if we go after these immigrants, we're not just hurting them and their families and their ability to live the American dream, we're hurting the entire economy. We're hurting ourselves. And then I'll go one step further. Those immigrants go on oftentimes to create jobs. Half of all Fortune 500 CEOs are immigrants. A quarter of all entrepreneurs are immigrants. The research shows that immigrants and their children have a higher economic mobility rate than native-born Americans. So these are strivers. They're dreamers. They're doers. Unlike what some politicians say, in the vast majority of cases, these countries are sending their best. And they do make us stronger and richer through their military service and through doing the jobs that need to be done in this economy.
You're right, Claude. That's time. Please return to your seat.
Great job, Prince. Nice to meet you. My next claim is that your vote matters in 2026. Hi, what's your name?
Michaela.
Michaela.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Since this is a new claim, let me just kind of tell you what I'm thinking, and then I would love to open
Yeah,
this up.
of course.
When I first ran for office, I was a 28-year-old public school teacher, and I was running in a Republican district as a Democrat. And so I had to knock on literally every door in order to get elected. And I was trying to talk to my fellow young people. I'm a millennial. I was also trying to talk to Gen Z. And I kept hearing this refrain, I'm not interested in politics. And at some point, I was just honest with them. I said, you may not be interested in politics, but politics is interested in you. You may not care about politics, but your boss at work cares about politics. Your landlord cares about politics. Your insurance company cares about politics. And until you care about politics, they're going to keep using the political system to screw you over. Barbara Jordan, a great Texan, had this quote where she said, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And so the argument I'm making with this claim is if young people in particular aren't at the table in this election, we will continue to be on the menu in 2027.
Okay, so I agree that the younger generations are essentially our future.
Yeah.
I'm completely undecided.
Yeah.
I have no idea
Yeah.
which route I want to go, specifically because
Fabulous, but fuck it,
I
it's
am a
also
younger generation
the
that wasn't
two
necessarily
women.
educated.
True. And, he's not that bad for a progressive either.
On it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't entirely feel like I strongly just don't feel that like my voice matters. I'm a content creator myself. They're on election
Neighbor, have you seen the newest
day.
Mom
I made a joke
Donnie
like, "Oh my god,
update?
I didn't even realize it was election day." And my whole fan base was like, "Your vote matters. Like you were supposed to use that vote." But for someone who's undecided, if I'm not confident in an answer, like why would my voice matter? You know what I mean?
I hear that. And your first point about how we don't teach young people about the system of government and how to vote and what it means, we're doing them a disservice. And we are actively disenfranchising them by not empowering them with that knowledge. In my first term in the legislature, I actually got a bipartisan bill through the State House. It ended up dying in the State Senate for comprehensive civics education. It's been a long time since we've had real civics education in this country that teach young people how to take ownership of the democratic process. And I think that's absolutely necessary if we're going to give people the tools and the resources to remake this
I did say he's not that bad for a populist.
broken political system in their own image. Because politics is corrupt. I will tell you that as someone who's in politics.
Yeah.
The system is corrupt from top to bottom. The only way that's going to change is if people like you, people around the circle, people all over the state decide to take that power back and transform this broken system. So I'm not disagreeing that it's rigged. I'm not disagreeing that it's stacked. That's all true. I think where we may be disagreeing is that we're powerless to change it. I don't believe that.
Uh-oh. Floating potentially hiking property taxes balance city budget. If New York State doesn't raise taxes on the wealthy, he'll raise property taxes in New York City. Yeah. I know very little about the property tax laws here even. Prop 13. Six property taxes by capping the base year value at 1%. Okay. Yeah. I know. But, like, I don't have a... So, first of all, to be clear, I don't really necessarily have a problem with him raising property taxes. I honestly don't even know enough about it to have a really well thought out opinion on it. What I am laughing at is the leftists getting mad at him for it. Where once again, their lack of understanding of things, and then, you know, not getting everything exactly the way they want it, leads them to ostracize groups. Tax rates on 1970s valuation. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
I have faith, maybe not evidence, but I have faith that when we come together across all of our divisions that are put in place by billionaires, when we do that, we can change this country for the better. It may not go fast, but it'll happen.
You've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey. All right, I'm going to come at you hard on this. Okay. 3 points. One is it's contradictory to what you said earlier. You said billionaires and billionaires control it. They're all bad guys. We hate them. We know how that happens, right? Advertisements. And so, one, that's contradictory. You're saying it matters. You're also saying it doesn't matter because of millionaires and billionaires. Two, politicians contribute. Politicians are half of the problem. Things like we put R&D on the voting card. Why? If you don't know who you're voting for, why would we put that there? If you're too uneducated and stupid, why are we giving you the worst shortcut ever? And that's a political system. And then we do things like get out and vote. I'll tell you this, at a bar, and I see this giant sign over the stage in a bar, get out and vote. That's idiotic, because the only person that's going to influence is the person who said, I'm not going to vote, but you know what? I was at a bar and drinking, I saw a sign. I'm going to be an informed, educated voter. No, we don't want those people voting. And then lastly, honestly, James, I don't think you're going to do anything. We've heard it before, you know, drain the swamp, eat the rich, until they get voted, and then they're just rich people swimming in the swamp. What are you going to actually do that changes that system that you're talking about?
Yeah, well, one, I agree you shouldn't drink and vote. You got to keep those two things separate.
We'd probably get better voters, honestly.
Two, you're not going to hear me defend this two-party system. I actually think it's corrosive in our politics. It's hard to break out of, but I would be very interested in supporting policies that allow for multiple parties, because a lot of other countries have way more than two parties, and I think it allows for more collaboration, more interests to be represented, more issues to be heard. So
this is
I'm very dissatisfied.
That's one of the biggest progressive pipe dreams, is that we're going to be able to move away from a two-party system. That just ain't happening. Not without a massive change to the Constitution.
With a two-party system. Big money is powerful, don't get me wrong, but it is nothing compared to people power. We may not have the money, but we have the majority.
What are you going to do? How are you going to
talk about that one? Let me be very honest with you.
Specific. I don't want a general. I want a specific.
Let me be honest with you. Let me be honest with you. I alone am not going to change this. I know there are some politicians who say I alone can fix it. I'm not one of them, because I don't want to promise you something I can't deliver. My goal with this campaign is to be a catalyst for people all over the state to come together and organize so that we can start, again, not finish, but start our way toward a more representative form of government. So specifically, we talked earlier about comprehensive immigration reform. I think we also need comprehensive political reform. I hope my first vote, if I'm elected as U.S. Senator, would be the For the People Act, which is something that's already been introduced. I'm sure it'll change the details of it. But a few things that it does is it gets big money out of politics. It ends Citizens United, which may be the most disastrous policy for our democracy in modern American history. And then it goes further and it bans things like gerrymandering. Because gerrymandering is when politicians redraw political lines to benefit themselves. Democrats do it and Republicans do it. Not always the same amount, but they both do it. Because it's not an issue of party, it's an issue of power. People in power want to stay in power. That's the most predictable thing in history. I've actually been a victim of this. I told you I first ran as a Democrat in a Republican seat. And I won that seat because I brought people together across partisan divides. And then my Republican colleagues in the legislature in 2020 decided to draw me out of that district. They basically broke my district in half so that they could guarantee the outcome they wanted. Thankfully, I survived because I was able to move a couple of miles down the road and run in the district I grew up in. But I saw firsthand how gerrymandering, how this corrupt redistricting process silences the voices of the people. Again,
I need specifics. Like I would
Yeah,
love for you, if you don't
before
have
the people act, yeah.
before you get my vote, I need a specific plan. Publish it on your website.
Yeah.
This is the law.
Yeah.
This is how we're covering unintended consequences. Because
Yeah.
I hope you're right.
Yeah.
I've heard it all before, and
Sure.
I feel like I've been hearing it for 20 years.
Well, and I would say I also feel tempted by hopelessness. I really do. There are some days when I'm on the floor of the Texas House and I'm fighting for a policy I believe in on healthcare, on education, on housing, on stopping fentanyl overdoses, and I lose that fight.
I'm not hopeless. I'm disengaged.
I'm just telling you how I feel sometimes, and it's hopeless. Because I'll walk off the floor after that long fight when I've lost. I'll walk out to my truck, I'll drive home, and I'll just feel totally and utterly defeated. And so I can't imagine how someone on the outside must feel when they look at this political system. The only thing I'm trying to convince you of, the only way out of it, is through you and through the people around the circle, not me. It's actually not through politicians. Politicians will not save us. It will be the people of the state and this country that save us, because it's the only thing that ever has.
All right, pause. He's been voted out. Please return to your seat.
Hello.
Hi. What's your name?
Oh.
Oh, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So I disagree in the fact that my vote matters, because not only things that I've historically seen, but let's just talk about the last, let's just say the 4 years.
Well, you're black. Your vote doesn't actually matter. Okay.
Yeah.
While I was in law school, I had an internship Capitol Hill.
Okay.
And I actually at the time, you know, Democrat, because I was going with my family, how I was raised, but there were a lot of things that I saw. It was actually something that you had touched on earlier about the corporations, their involvement, them paying money to different politicians, and it was on both sides.
Yeah.
And I realized that they all laid in the same bed. There is no different. I changed. I went, when I got back to Texas,
Yeah,
I
it's
took
all
that
the
off. I'm
same.
like, put me down as
It's
undecided.
that same brain rot. Democrats and Republicans, they're exactly the same. They do everything the same. Right, guys? That's our smart way of looking at politics. I'm so evolved and interesting because I think everybody's the same in politics.
Independent voter. Like, you are very charismatic. I like a lot of things that you said. However, I'm still the how and how it's going to be done.
Yeah.
So the gerrymandering, obviously, that's been an issue. So if you have politicians involved in that, pretty much you're already saying that my vote doesn't matter, that it's about what the politician wants or the particular party. Also, there's something else that I don't like that the Democrats do, or even really on both sides. You don't make sure that the communities are informed of what you've done or what you're going to do,
Wings of the
even
same
down to
bird.
us just
I'm the
voting for
enlightened
the
centrist.
propositions.
True.
The language was written in a way to where people didn't understand it. Also, again, both parties weren't out there trying to inform the people to make sure that they understood what each proposition was saying. And so to me, it just seems like it's pretty much all controlled, and it's not about what I want. It's not about the needs of the people,
Yeah.
and that it's already a fixed race and it's already decided. So my thing is, what are you going to
It's
do
already
to
a
not only
fixed
inform the
race
voters,
and it's
but what are
already
you going to do to
decided.
even, because we talked a lot about the system.
Yeah.
You know, but this is 100 years of a system
Ugh.
that's not looking like it's going to be shaken.
All right, pause. You've been voted out. Please return to your seat. Thank you.
That's so much I wanted to say. Hi. How's it going, James? Great name.
It's like,
Yeah,
but I
no,
didn't
right?
get to
Vote for
tell
parents,
you
have good
how
name, you
you're
can- that's right,
wrong
yeah.
yet.
Why do I feel like my vote doesn't matter? Because as somebody who is a working class, attached to the queer community, and a non-Christian, there is nobody in our legislature that speaks to the things that I care about.
Interesting guy.
Christian policy typically works kind of in the same vein of my belief system, but there are certain ways that it doesn't. As far as like the queer community, especially here in Texas, who's speaking out for them? Who's talking about them? Besides, you know, trans people are ruining sports, which I'm not getting into that. The final, and to me, what feels like the biggest crux of all of this is no matter how informed I am, no matter how much I research my stuff, all of us in this room research everything. That's 25 of us. Means 25 people out of, let's say, just this block. This is where we're at right now. There's 500 people in this block. 25 people are informed. 475 probably aren't, and they're more than likely going to vote with the gerrymandered people who are already in power. So when you say that my vote matters, all of my stuff, plus the fact of that I've been gerrymandered into hell, why?
So, based on my personal experience, when I was running for the legislature 8 years ago, I was running in a gerrymandered district that was built to vote for Republicans, and I was running as a Democrat. The deck was stacked against me. The deck was stacked against a lot of people in my community.
Yeah.
But we organized. We didn't just vote. Voting is the bare minimum in a democracy. We organized. We went block by block. We talked voter to voter, and we ended up winning that district with 51% of the vote. I say that number because that means it was just a handful of votes.
no.
It's writer's breath.
Oh no. I know. I already know what this is. I already knew. I already knew what it was.
Because not only things that I've historically seen, but let's just talk about the last, let's just say the 4 years.
Well, you're black. Your vote doesn't actually.
While I was in law school,
No, Clip Champ.
It's right. And not every election is going to be decided by a handful of votes. I want to be honest about that.
Yeah.
But some elections that are very consequential will be decided by a handful of votes. And by getting me elected to that position, I have fought for LGBTQ people in this state. I have fought for their dignity. I have fought for their equality, and I will always do so. And I may not always win every fight, but I am there as a voice because people believe their votes matter. So I hear that you're disheartened. Believe me, it's even more disheartening when you're in the system.
Straight to Twitter.
But I have seen glimmers of hope, and a little bit of hope is a dangerous thing because Raphael Warnock.
Straight to LSF. Fucking share shit like that, dude. If you guys want to, it's fucking funny. I want to see people come here and try to argue that I actually meant that. Some randos. Maybe that's how I'll go viral. So I'll get clip chimped, and everybody will come here, and I'll be like, "You're all retarded."
Senator from Georgia has this thing that he says. He says a vote is like a prayer for a better world. You may not always see those prayers realized in your lifetime, but having faith, and not necessarily religious faith, but faith in this American experiment, that faith means that your hope is that your sunset is someone else's dawn. For sure. Progress is a relay race, and we pass it on to the next
No
one.
politics in LSF, is that true?
Hey, how are you? Ashton, it's nice to meet you.
I won't try to get too long-winded so I can stay here a lot longer. But speaking from somebody to kind of walk through this thing, and I'll walk through it pretty quick. Speaking from somebody who
You'll
historically
never work
has
in this
voted
town
Democratic, I
again.
think the reason why I've transitioned to kind of that undecided
Sure,
space
Daniel.
is a lot of people have spoken on it today.
I'll
Being as
just
African American
fucking
living in this
do
world,
that
talking about the
then.
system and its entire thing. We can talk about billionaires and everything, but a lot of it is based on white supremacy. So as an African American man, if you think about the history of this country and how African Americans have been treated as a whole, dating back to slavery and Jim Crow and black codes and the crack epidemic, everything. You have to understand as to why you can kind of get to a point where you lose hope. Because in a sense, you have a country who continuously makes it effort to never look at us as far as people, if we're being honest. Because a lot of it is based on white supremacy. A lot of it is based in the aspect of we are a marginalized group that they do not even think about. So in terms of you being a white Christian male, and we're living in this white nationalist, Christian nationalist world currently right now, how can someone like you speak to me as African male and an African American just in general and say, hey, like your vote does matter when historically it never has?
Here's what I'll tell you. They wouldn't be trying so hard to stop you from voting and stopping young people across the board of all races from voting if your vote didn't matter. To me, voter suppression is proof that your vote has tremendous power, especially when it's joined with thousands and millions of other people's votes. But you're right. We are working in a system where it is increasingly harder to vote, especially here in Texas. This is one of the hardest places to vote in the entire country. All of that is by design. It's so that the people who are currently in power can stay in power and they never have to face accountability. I also want to just thank you for questioning your loyalty to any party. I'm a proud Democrat, but I've said before, I already have a religion and I already have a sports team. Like, I have no problem sharing hard truths in my party.
Oh, man. That is a really good line. I mean, yeah, it's a little corny and we laugh at it or whatever. But, like, as far as, like, the political game goes, that's a pretty good line.
And I don't think you should feel that you owe loyalty to any party.
No.
You have a loyalty to yourself and your community and your family. And if one party is not representing you or if one party is taking you for granted, then you have a right to push back against them.
For sure. And I think the biggest thing as far as with Democrats specifically is I spoke with someone earlier about this. I think Republicans kind of put it in your face straight up. Hey, I don't like you and it is what it is.
I guess.
And I think that with Democrats, as funny as it is, I think with Democrats, they kind of speak in a sense of, hey, if I come to you and say, hey, you know, we are a very marginalized group. We are dealing with over-policing. We're dealing with police brutality. It's like, hey, I empathize with you, but then they go on about their day.
Let me give you an example on that. I told you I was elected with 51% of the vote. So black voters were the reason that I was able to get elected to the state legislature. I had a constituent. His name was Javier Ambler. He was a father who was killed by the police for not dimming his brights. He was pulled over. He told them he had a heart condition. They tased him so many times that he died right in front of them. The whole thing was filmed for a reality TV show called Live PD. It's kind of like Cops. The research shows that those reality TV policing programs encourage more violent behavior from police officers toward constituents. Oftentimes, it's black and brown constituents that are getting the most hurt. I worked with Javier's family to pass Javier Ambler's law, which bans reality TV policing in the state of Texas. It's not enough. You have to do so much more. But to me, that's one example of when you elect someone who does have the community's interest at heart and you continue to work with them. Again, just voting and walking away, it's not going to do it. It's not. But if you vote for someone and you hold them accountable, which I hope you hold me accountable if I'm elected as your senator, progress is possible.
And I think, and to the story of the police brutality, because I had a little brother who passed away, who was killed by a police officer. So that is something I'm also very passionate about because it's something that hit very home for me. So when we speak about things such as defunding the police or over-policing in our communities, that adds to another piece of why it is very difficult to necessarily, if I'm being very frank, to believe any BS that Democrats are saying, because I'm living in a reality. Yeah, we can talk about things from a grand scheme, from a top level, but when you're speaking about as an African American walking everyday life, where you're dealing with things that are just based in a system that never was meant to work for me, it's kind of hard to live, to kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm a man of faith too, and I do believe that there is a belief that you have to, have hope for something, for sure. But I think that sometimes, there is hard to kind of still live in that hope when the everyday world that's around you does not care about you.
And Ashton, do not believe anything I say, believe what I've done.
For sure.
And I think that's going to be the best predictor. What was your brother's name?
His name is Isaiah.
Well, I think that if we do this right, if we have a mass movement of working people of all races in this state and across the country, I think we can win this next election and actually move the country forward for Isaiah and for all the people that we've lost because the system is so thoroughly broken. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. My final claim is that the biggest divide in our politics is not left versus right, it's top versus bottom.
Oh, there it is. It's your class
Hi,
warfare.
what's your
thing.
name? Krista. Spending 8 years in the middle of this broken political system, I've come to realize that the biggest divide is between the billionaires who run this political system, who run this economy, who increasingly run this whole country, versus the rest of us, whether we're Democrats or Republicans, progressives or conservatives. And I've seen how those billionaires pit us against each other with their algorithms, with their cable news networks. They're trying to divide us by party, by race, by gender, by religion, so we don't notice that they're picking our pockets. They're closing our schools and gutting our healthcare, raising taxes on all of us while they cut taxes for themselves. So what I'm trying to do is bring us all together across all these divisions so we can take power away from them and bring it back into our communities.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from on that. And I agree that lobbying does play a big role in like some of our representatives. You know, the more funding they get, the more they have to advertise for, you know, their position that they want. But where I disagree on that is I believe that how can I say this? I believe that economics, like the top versus the bottom, accounts for economic inequity. But I believe ideology is where the polarization comes in. So you're a man of faith, correct? So you are, definitely. So wouldn't you say that your faith drives who you are as a person and your beliefs?
Absolutely. And I agree that political polarization is a problem. What I'm trying to get us to realize is how these systems that we're in, a broken political system, a broken media system, a broken social media system, how that exacerbates ideological differences. Of course, we're all very different people. We're going to have different opinions. But these algorithms, these cable news networks, they fan the flames of those disagreements. And that's why we have such polarized politics, in my opinion.
So you think it's like an echo chamber, like
yeah, I think that these billionaires, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Rupert Murdoch, the people who increasingly own traditional media and new social media, they have a vested interest in all of us being divided. Because if we recognize that we are far more alike than we are different, if we realize that we have far more in common, we're going to take power back from them and we're going to bring it back into our communities.
So where I would disagree on that is there's so many economic elites. So let's just give an example. The owners of Ben & Jerry, they spend so much time on, climate change, trying to draw that back. They spend a lot of time on putting their time into charity. Let's just say putting it towards charity for those who are less fortunate. But we have the polar opposite, right? Let's just say the owner of Chick-fil-A, they spend a lot of their time donating to more conservative. So I would say that it's not just the elite. I believe it goes back to their ideology because we see people who are multimillionaires and they're still donating to the left. They're still donating to the right. Wouldn't you agree?
I totally agree. What I'm trying to propose is that we limit the influence of those very, very wealthy people, whether they're on the left or the right, in our political system. They can have their own opinions. There's nothing more American than having your own opinions. They shouldn't have an outsized influence on our political system. They shouldn't be able to buy politicians by the dozen. I'll just give you one example. Here in Texas, there are 2 billionaires in West Texas, Tim Dunn and Ferris Wilkes. They basically run our state government. I bet most Texans don't even know their names, but every member of the state Senate has taken their money. A majority of the members of the state House have taken their money. And for some of these legislators, a majority of their entire campaign contributions come from just these 2 billionaires. And they use that influence, they use their wealth to shift our state into a far right direction. The most extreme abortion ban in the country, the most insane gun laws in the country. All of that is because these 2 billionaires have remade our state government in their own image. I'm trying to stop them from doing that. They can have their own opinions. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to stop that. I'm trying to prevent the top 1%, these billionaire mega donors, from being able to dictate public policy in the state and in this country.
So when we have the issue of, let's just say, another multimillionaire in Texas is using it for policies that you agree with, are you going to do that on both sides or are you going to just do it on a certain side? How are you going to combat that?
I'm going to limit the influence of billionaires on both sides of the aisle, whether it's a Democratic billionaire or a Republican billionaire. I think we've got to ban things like super PACs. I think we've got to even further limit campaign contributions. I think we've got to prevent lawmakers from being able to engage in insider trading and buying and selling these stocks. I think we need just basic ethics reform, basic transparency, basic accountability, because when our political system works for the uber wealthy, it doesn't work for the rest of us. In fact, it hurts the rest of us. It's why we can't seem to get ahead no matter how hard we work. It's why we can't seem to afford anything, whether it's groceries or whether it's housing or healthcare or childcare. It's because the system is not built to work for us. It's built to work for those billionaires. And it's working very well for them. I think the way we fix that is by reforming our political system so that it can actually be a government of, by, and for the people again.
All right, pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Great, you're great. Thanks, Krista. Yes.
Biggest thing I just heard from this debate you were just talking about is basically billionaires are the problem. I'm curious why do you think that they are causing the problems?
So I actually think the system is the problem. The system allows for those billionaires to have an outsized influence in our political conversation, in our economy, and it crowds out the rest of us, those who are working class and middle class Texans. And I want to try to right that imbalance. I think what you've seen in this country for the last 50 years is an economy that used to work for most people transform into one that only works for the uber wealthy. The richest 1% in this country now owns more wealth than the entire middle class. 3 dudes, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and Jeff Bezos, now own more wealth than 165 million Americans combined. And they're using that wealth to corrupt our political system. These are not the rich people of old. They're not buying yachts and jets only. They're now buying power. I mean, think about all the debates in our politics. Our schools are being defunded so those billionaires can get another tax break. Our healthcare premiums are about to go up because those billionaires want another tax break. And then our Social Security, our Medicare benefits are constantly under threat because those billionaires want yet another tax break. So I'm advocating that we limit their power and we empower working Texans to be able to fulfill their own God-given potential.
Interesting. How do you propose that we go about doing that? Because I mean, this has been here for a long time, and I think the more important question is specifically what system? Is it the Texas system? Is it the federal system? Is it there's a lot of systems, the school system, the tax system. So what specifically are you talking about?
All the above. So you said that we've had it for a long time. it has been a long time. It's been about 50 years. But I just want to remind you and those watching that we did have an economic system in this country that worked for the middle class. In the 1950s, the 1960s, the richest Americans paid a top marginal tax rate of 90%. I don't know if we need a tax rate that high for rich folks, but it should certainly be higher than what it is now. It's about 37% now. And so I want billionaires to pay their fair share. I don't think that George Soros should pay less as a percentage of his income in taxes than his secretary. And that's what we have now. Again, billionaires on the left, billionaires on the right. They're getting away scot-free. They are leeching the lifeblood out of this country, out of all the systems that you just mentioned. I think the only way we're going to change that is if people like you, people around the circle, people around the state decide to come together across all of these divides, recognize that we have a lot more in common than billionaires want us to think, and take power back for our communities.
Interesting. So I did a little research about this, and the top 5% of earners in America make about $260,000 a year. They make up for about 60% of the total federal income tax. So that's not billionaires, right?
Yeah.
So that's people who are getting by. They're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
But my question is, how can you affect billionaires and also still help and not hurt those who are not billionaires, but maybe they have a couple million and they're also providing jobs, because we have a lot of smaller businesses that are within the 5 million.
Totally agree. We don't want to hurt small businesses. We don't want to even hurt people who are upper middle class. What we want to do is go after that top 1%, actually the top 1% of that 1%, those billionaires who run this economy and run this country. Let's just take an example. The big ugly bill that passed a few months ago in Washington, it gave $3 trillion in tax cuts to the wealthiest Americans. Just guess what the average billionaire is going to get in terms of tax cuts from that bill.
I'm not sure.
$110,000. Again, our money, our tax dollars are going to those billionaires who don't need it. Guess what we're going to get, regular people, what we're going to get from that bill?
Not sure.
A little over $1,000.
Okay, yeah.
To me, that feels wildly unfair. And it prevents all of us from being able to start that new business, from being able to grow the economy. It keeps us from being able to support our families and make sure that our kids are successful in school and in college and in the workforce. That is how this rigged system prevents us from achieving our potential as a country.
All right, pause. He's been voted out by majority. Please return to
Great
your
job,
seat.
Hi.
Hi.
Tess.
How are you, Tess?
So nice to
Good
meet you.
James. So I'm going to be straightforward honest with you.
Yeah, please.
I agree with a lot of your stance.
Sure.
I am also, my family are income household. We are in that top 3%, not one.
Yeah.
That being said, do I wish, I'm sure I'm not the only one out there. Me and my family, we're not opposed to being the people who say, you tax us more. We're okay with that, because everybody around me, everybody I know, they're going, paycheck to paycheck, single parent. There's not many people we know that are as blessed as us. That said, is it top to bottom that's the problem, or is it left to right? Because when you look at what's going on, I do think that there is a portion of greed that is effective in the billionaires' minds or the top 1%. But I think there's a lot of left and right when it comes into it, especially when you look at the industry that it plays into, whether it's oil or housing or whatnot. So I disagree that it's not entirely top bottom. I think it's a good portion of it plays into left and right.
So here's what I want to point out. This political discourse in our country, it is controlled by those billionaires, increasingly. These for-profit social media platforms, these predatory algorithms, they elevate the most extreme voices on all sides to provoke our outrage. Because that gets more clicks, and that makes them more money. It's a rage economy. Anger sells, fear sells, hate sells. These platforms designed by those billionaires, these platforms appeal to our worst demons instead of our better angels. These billionaires are engineering our emotions so they can profit off of our pain. They are selling us conflict and calling it community. These platforms don't incentivize us doing what we're doing here, which is listening to each other and finding common ground. These platforms want us at each other's throats because those billionaires benefit. Whether you're in the top 3% or whether you're in the bottom 3%, we have a lot more in common with each other than we do with those billionaires.
Absolutely.
And so they want us focused on how we're different. There's definitely a progressive conversation, a conservative conversation. That's been happening since the beginning of time. It's healthy, it's good. I'm worried about how these platforms, they divide us further apart so that we can't find that common ground anymore. And it's corrosive to our politics.
If you're elected senator,
Yeah.
what are you going to try and implement and pass in order to make sure that this divide is eliminated?
Yeah.
Because this divide is kind of tearing
It
all
is.
of us apart.
It is. One, I want to be very honest with you. One candidate, one senator is not going to fix this.
Oh, absolutely.
This is going to be fixed by you and the people around the circle. Hopefully, running and supporting candidates who align with this purpose. But to answer your question directly about what I would want to do if I got in there, I've served for 4 terms in the state house. I've been fighting these billionaires in the trenches of the Texas legislature, and I've been bringing together Democrats and Republicans to do that. I had a bill that I filed a few sessions ago. It was actually a Bernie Sanders idea to bring cheap prescription drugs from Canada to Texas, because Canadians pay half of what we pay because Big Pharma controls our healthcare system. And I didn't think it was going to pass. But a friend of mine in the Freedom Caucus, a far-right Republican from Wichita Falls, he called me up and he was like, I really like your bill because I believe in free markets and Big Pharma distorts the free market. So he and I got that bill passed through the Texas House, through the Texas Senate, and we got it signed by the governor. It is now law in the state of Texas. We're going to start importing those drugs and saving lives. So that's an example of bringing people together across a progressive and a conservative spectrum to take power away from Big Pharma and help all Texans, regardless of your political party, regardless of your race, regardless of your gender, regardless of your religion. That's what I'm going to try to do as a U.S. Senator. I want to focus on prescription drugs. I want to focus on housing. I want to focus on childcare, all things I've worked on here. I'll just tell you, we're not going to make progress on any of those issues until we get the corruption out of our politics.
Absolutely.
And so the first bill I want to file, the first bill I hopefully can vote on, is comprehensive political reform to limit big money, to end things like gerrymandering, so that we can have a government that's responsive to us and not billionaires.
You say comprehensive government reform specifically.
Yeah, banning super PACs. This is the biggest loophole in our campaign finance system. I also think we have to lower campaign finance contribution limits. We do have limits at the state, at the federal level. We don't have them here in Texas. I filed a bill to put them in place here in Texas. But even those limits at the federal level, they're way too high, and they are porous. There are so many loopholes, so many ways to get around them. We've got to tighten up the system so we can actually have a political system that responds to people and not billionaires. And then I want to go further on ethics and transparency. I don't think lawmakers in our nation's capital should be buying and selling stocks, especially engaging in the insider trading, which we've seen in both political parties.
Yes.
We got to end that. We got to put an outright ban on that. These are just some of my ideas, but I'm very open to others. Oh, man. Sorry.
I apologize.
Yes. You have to go back.
Please return to your seat.
Hey, Malik.
So I do agree with a lot of things that you said earlier. As a man of faith, I feel like your heart is in the right place as well with a lot of things. I would say my only issue is we kind of talked about how using the billionaires' money that they're using, basically how they're avoiding taxes, avoiding paying money for all these things, and how people could potentially use that exact same money to start a business. My only issue with that is how many people nowadays are getting educated on how to start a business.
Yep.
And that's a very huge issue. So, okay, we can also say money is a problem, but I don't think that's necessarily what it is. And also, and I would love to be very wrong about this because I am very passionate about teachers being very underpaid. And you are a teacher, so I have a lot of respect just there in itself. But I think you would agree as well that you even taking the step to leave that job and to now run for Senate, that's also taking a risk. And there's people that are business owners that are obviously making a lot of money, and either way, they're going to find a way how to avoid those taxes regardless. So, but wouldn't you agree that you leaving that safe, secure job to run for Senate, that's taking a risk? Therefore, if you were now successful, you kind of deserve extra compensation for that. Would you agree?
Oh, I'm all for success. Okay. I'm not trying to demonize success.
Right.
Guess what percentage of baby boomers made more money than their parents? Just take a wild guess.
A wild guess. Ooh, I don't have a wild guess.
It was 90%.
Okay.
90% of baby boomers made more money than their parents did. They lived the American dream. It was a reality for most people in that generation. Guess what that number is for millennials like me?
Make in Washington?
No idea.
50%. It's even lower for Gen Z. The American dream is out of reach increasingly for most people, particularly most young people in the state and across the country.
Right.
And that is not because millennials or Gen Z are more lazy or are not interested in succeeding or interested in growing and thriving.
Right.
It's because the system is rigged against us. That system over the last 50 years with trickle-down economics has just been so heavily weighted toward the people at the top, the billionaires, the mega donors.
What is the average?
And then they use that wealth to then rig more rules for themselves. I'll give you one example. In the 1980s, they deregulated the banking system.
Like teachers
and it allowed for these big banks to charge working people, the working poor, overdraft fees. So now you can charge a single mom who's just trying to get by working multiple jobs. You can charge her multiple overdraft fees a day, and they profit overwhelmingly from those fees.
Right.
So that's an example of a rule, or I guess a lack of a rule, that allows for the wealthy to profit off of working people and the working poor.
Right.
These are rules we can change. They're man-made. We had better rules before trickle-down economics. We can get back to that. But it's going to take you and me and all of us coming together across these divisions to take that power back. Because they're not going to give it up. They have more money. We have more people.
Yes.
We have the majority.
I think my only thing with that is because I agree with a lot of things that you're saying. My only thing is we're talking a lot about money, but money's not throwing, regardless of if people are getting paid more, that's not going to solve the issue.
Yeah.
The thing is kind of like we were saying earlier. People that are making a lot of money maybe not teaching other people how to basically have the exact same success.
Yes.
So maybe it's not a financial issue. It's like maybe you have a lack of education on how to start that business, how to stop being a teacher. Now you're running for Senate. How many people know how to do that that are teachers right now?
Yeah, I think it's both, right?
Exactly, for sure.
And I authored a bill in the state legislature to provide financial literacy education for students in Texas. Because, in addition to learning the quadratic equation or reading Shakespeare, you should also learn how the economy works and learn how to manage your money. These are skills that maybe will have more of an impact on your life than whether or not you read Shakespeare. And I think our education system has to take that into account. The problem is here in Texas and across the country, we have billionaires like Tim Dunn and Ferris Wilkes who are trying to close our public schools. We've seen public schools closing at an alarming rate all over Texas in all kinds of communities, including in my own district. Schools are closing because they're being actively defunded by those billionaires who don't believe in giving all of us an opportunity to succeed. So all I'm trying to say is that we've got to recognize that problem and we've got to take steps as a country, working people of all stripes, of all beliefs, to take power back from those billionaires and bring it into our communities, the things that you and I are talking about.
All right, guys, that's time. You may return to
Great job, Malik. Yeah. I think they said that I'm the first ever candidate to do the show.
Yep.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe we'll make it to where everybody's got to come here and do this.
Yeah, I hope we start a trend.
Yeah.
Or maybe like a better show that's not fucking Jubilee.
I'd like to invite Krista back up to introduce her claim. Hi, good to see you again.
My claim is no matter how much gun violence happens within the state of Texas, there will never be a gun ban or gun reform.
Well, that claim is pretty gut-wrenching, given that we've had 5 of the deadliest mass shootings in American history right here in Texas. One still haunts me to this day as a former public school teacher, and that's the massacre in Uvalde, Texas, in Robb Elementary when we lost 19 babies and 2 teachers. Here's where I'll disagree with you on this claim, though. I saw those parents from Uvalde. I saw them make the 160-mile drive from Uvalde to the state capitol multiple times during that legislative session, demanding, begging for basic common sense gun safety. They believe in the Second Amendment, just like I do. but they knew that there needed to be some kind of regulation to keep everyone safe and protect everybody's freedoms, including the freedom of those 19 babies to live and fulfill their potential. What I saw them do just over the course of one legislative session is move the needle on a common sense bill to raise the age to buy those kind of weapons from 18 to 21. The murderer in Uvalde turned 18 the day before committed that horrific massacre. Right. There was no Republican support for that bill. They had all the Democratic support. But they worked relentlessly. They met with Republican lawmakers, and they actually got 2 Republicans to switch their votes on the committee and get it passed out of committee. That's the first step in getting something to the floor. It didn't ultimately pass, hasn't passed yet, but there was progress toward a real solution that could save lives in the future. 2 of those Republicans decided to change their votes because of those conversations with the families in Uvalde. One of them sacrificed his seat in the next Republican primary to do the right thing by those kids and by those families. That kind of stuff, it makes me believe in humanity again, which can be really hard when you turn on the news or open up your social media timeline. But I do think that we can get common sense gun safety regulations in Texas, still honor the Second Amendment, and hopefully prevent those kind of massacres from happening in the future.
So my question is, what are you doing? I'm following your campaign, and I'm not really seeing anything on what you're doing to prevent gun violence in the future. I'm not saying ban guns or anything along those lines. Sure. Of course, I want reform. I want the legal age to be raised from 18 to 21. I myself have a 9. So I think I want to hear what you're doing. Tell me.
I appreciate that, because when I'm at these events all over the state, this is a question I get asked often, and I'm talking about gun safety a lot because it's on people's minds. And again, just like I've said many times in this debate, you shouldn't really take what I'm saying in this conversation. You should take a look at what I've done. I have a 100% pro-gun safety voting record in the state legislature. And if I'm elected as U.S. Senator, I'm going to fight for things like universal background checks. I'm going to fight for red flag laws. I'm going to fight to close the gun show loophole. The vast majority of Texans and Americans want these common sense gun safety rules put in place so they can save people's lives.
Why haven't you already started doing that? Why is
I have. I've introduced a lot of gun safety bills myself. I have voted for every gun safety piece of legislation that came before me. Unfortunately, there weren't enough gun safety advocates serving in the legislature.
I find it challenging to believe that there will be any change. It's only a matter of time before there's another Uvalde shooting within Texas, and it's a matter of, I don't want to ban guns at all. I don't want to take away people's rights, but it's a matter of when are we going to start putting these processes in place, again, background checks, again, raising the age limit, your mind isn't even fully developed at 18.
So I would say the biggest obstacle that's preventing us from making progress and saving lives is the influence of big money on this issue. The NRA has a stranglehold on too many politicians at the federal level, but also at the state and local level. And they use that big money to prevent all of us from passing things that most Texans want, that most Americans want. The reason we can't is because the NRA has bought too many politicians. It's why I am not taking a dime of corporate PAC money in this campaign. It's why I'm not taking money from the NRA. It's why I'm not taking money from AIPAC. I think the number of PACs that control politicians in this country is appalling. And it's why we can't seem to move forward on these issues where most of us agree.
That's interesting. I appreciate that perspective. Again, I think I'm not sure that, yes, of course, the NRA does play a big role with politicians and things like that, but I think it goes back to, again, ideology. I value my home. I value, my life. That's why I carry a gun with me. I live in South Dallas, and, I can't go on a walk like every day by myself, so of course I'm going to take my 9 with me just in case. And I don't think it ties back to the NRA. I think it ties back to ideology.
But here's where I'll disagree, though. It can't be about ideology when everybody in the state agrees on these common sense policies. And maybe there's, a handful of folks on the extremes who don't. But when you look at the data, the vast majority of Texans want these policies in place. So to me, then I ask the question, why can't we get it done? If most people are in agreement on the policy, then what's preventing us from making progress? The only answer I can come back to is the influence of big money like the NRA in our political system, the way they can buy politicians, and the way those politicians are then beholden to those groups, so they're less responsive to our needs and more responsive to their billionaire mega donors.
All right, guys, that's time. Please return to your seat.
Yeah, thank you.
When I sat down with James, didn't agree with everything, but it was a good, healthy reminder of this isn't a bad guy. This guy genuinely wants what's good, and he thinks this is the best way to go about it. And I love Surrounded, the episodes that accentuate that and remind us of that.
I mean, politicians are good at saying what you want to hear, but there were some things that I like that he's done.
Voter education needs to happen a lot more, and it needs to be less a form of, I don't know how to say this nicely, indoctrination through media and social media. I think it needs to be more a presenting of the facts.
I'd like to see more teachers paid
100%. And it's nothing against James. It's really not. It's just 2 things. 1, I don't see a vision that changes the system fundamentally. And 2, I don't see that much of a difference. I really don't. I'm more interested in what I do to control my own life than what the government does. And so I think if I'm going to be civilly engaged, I'm going to do it in other ways other than voting. I'm wasting my time. It's 1 hour to go vote against a bunch of sheep zombies who are controlled by advertisements. And not even good advertisements, really shitty, non-nuanced arguments.
Being honest, I definitely do see myself voting. And a lot of honesty, hearing James talk, there was a lot of things that he said that I thought was great. I think on a fundamental level, we agree on a lot of things, but I think there was a lot of political talk in terms of things that he was saying and kind of dancing around conversations rather than just talking about the root cause of, hey, this is something that I am going to push forward. I do understand that he is one person and he is not an entire body. It has swayed me in terms of who I'm going to be voting for and specific things that I'm going to be looking for as far as in politicians when I ask them the question.
That is a lot. If it's half your
Do you know who we haven't talked about in forever? Bobo. Lauren Boebert.
Oh, God.
Wait, what the hell
you are
happened with
really annoying, but I want to see what it is that you're talking about.
Lauren Boebert. I feel like she just disappeared.
What the hell happened to
Bobo? And James Tallarico, friend of the show, I think we could say, appeared on Bill Maher's program with Boebert and ran circles around her. It was rough. Okay, so let's check in with this clip first.
Just seemed
and James Talarico is running for Senate in Texas. He's currently a state representative.
like nobody has any integrity anymore. It's only about what team we're on.
And the
And
FCC
then they snap on a dime.
the FCC is weaponizing a technicality. They are going after an exemption that's existed for decades because they don't like some of these late night talk shows. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel made a joke they didn't like, and they went after him. Stephen Colbert called out Paramount's bribe to Donald Trump, and they went after him.
I wonder why.
Pressure from the FCC, from the federal government. I mean, this is government
His
overreach.
network could push back on that, and you know he's back on the air. He's making his crappy jokes.
I have conservatives in my family. I have conservatives who I grew up with. Y'all always warned us about government overreach. You warned us the government would cancel free speech.
Is it
you
that
warned us
simple? Is there nothing more to it, neighbor Ernie?
about the government usurping the role of the church. You warned us about secret pedophile rings. All that is now happening, and your party is enabling it. And I know you've stood up on some of these things, which I appreciate. We need more people in both parties willing to stand up. But I really
bipartisan Boebert at your service.
Well, I just think.
Oh my gosh, I love how not funny she is. Just sort of the way that she says something, you're like, oh my god, that's not funny. I don't know what character that was. Oh, it's funny. What are the shoes?
I really think the Republican Party has to get back to those small C conservative values. And even when their guy's in office, those values shouldn't change.
So, I mean, a brilliant thing to list off. Wait, didn't you warn about government overreach?
Oh,
didn't
like,
you warn?
If there is overspending, like what it really is and why it's happening. Like, is there some sort of school of thought behind it? Is there a reason why we're spending so much on certain things? Like, that is interesting to know.
About threats to free speech and a secret pedophile ring, and now that's kind of your party, huh? You warned about tyranny. Lauren Boebert specifically ran a bar called Shooter's Bar where everyone had guns. Why? Because you gotta have guns to protect against a tyrannical government. I'm pretty sure it was her who was on tours with Matt Gaetz, and they were talking about, the reason you have the Second Amendment is to kill people in response to a tyrannical government. There's Lauren Boebert. Hey, shooters. Wow. Shoo. Right? The whole thing. And now their worst nightmare of masked government agents violating people's rights, mocking the fact that people should have rights, and detaining people without cause.
Too many school districts.
I don't hear Boebert very up in arms. James was trying to do a little bridge building and say, you've stood up on some of these things. He's referencing Boebert voted for the release of the Epstein files because she had to, because otherwise, there's going to be a political shitstorm. But no, she hasn't stood up on that, on defending our rights, opposing tyrannical government, being strong in her advocacy for the First Amendment. So there's that clip. Then you have this one as well. Just the quickest pause to request that you click the subscribe button, the simplest, easiest, freest way, completely free, to support the work that we do. Right below the video, click that subscribe button. Back to the video.
Everyone was wrong about one big thing. They thought Donald Trump was the one to take down this secret pedophile ring, when he is mentioned 38,000 times in the Epstein files. He flew repeatedly on Epstein's private jet and then lied about it. He sent Epstein a happy birthday card with a picture of a naked woman talking about their, quote, wonderful secret. So the fact that QAnon thought that guy was going to take down the secret pedophile ring when he's right in the middle of it, I think was clearly wrong.
I don't think Trump's ever coming back from this, and he shouldn't. But it's really difficult for any of the MAGAs who kind of made this the center of their view to get around what Trump has played. Now, the role he's played. Now, I do want to say, before moving on to the next clip, is I hear some people going, I have to admit QAnon was right. Just so you know, that's not true. I heard this in that thing of or in that show of, QAnon was more right than I thought, but they just got it wrong that Trump was the hero. No, that was the whole thing, was that every Democrat they didn't like was engaged in a pedophilic child sacrifice ring. and Trump was going in to tear it down. Like, you can't just go because there's pedophilia related to this series of bombshells. Now we just say anyone who ever referenced that term is logical, okay? Because they were not logical, and their entire theory actually was disproven. Just so you know, disproven by the Epstein file releases. So none of this, I apologize to QAnon nonsense. The whole theory was built to make Trump seem like a hero. Now, the next thing is about the separation of church and state. And just remember, Lauren Boebert is the person who famously said this.
The reason we had so many overreaching regulations in our nation is because the church complied.
Amen.
The church is supposed to direct the government. The government is not supposed to direct the church. That is not how our founding fathers intended it. And I'm tired of this separation of church and state junk that's not in the Constitution. It was in a stinking letter, and it means nothing like what they say it does.
Imagine if I said, I'm tired of the Second Amendment junk. Now, I had to make it in a voice because otherwise that clip could be out. It's like a whole problem for my PR team. But they would go berserk. Wow, I haven't used that word in a long time. Berserko. They would. And say, you don't care about the Constitution, you hate the Constitution. The words, I have to explain this again, the words separation of church and state are not in the Constitution. That is the summarization of what is in the Constitution. That is exactly what the First Amendment is asserting. And the fact that you either don't know that or are lying about it is sad. So then here's them discussing that on Bill Maher.
Being Christian is an important part of being truly American. You would also disagree.
I do believe that that goes to the roots of our foundation. Absolutely. Our founding fathers were Christians.
You know, my granddad was a Baptist preacher in South Texas.
They keep spreading this lie. Like, half of the founding fathers were not Christian.
My faith is very important to me. He told me when I was real little that as Christians, we're supposed to follow Jesus' 2 commandments, to love God and love neighbor. And there was no exception to that second commandment. Love thy neighbor regardless of race or gender or sexual orientation or immigration status or religious affiliation. And so in Texas, I'm constantly battling Christian nationalism, a bill that forces every public school teacher to put up a poster of the 10 commandments, a bill that replaces school counselors with untrained chaplains, a bill that would have taught Christian Bible stories as historical fact to our youngest students. And I always speak up on behalf of my Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, Sikh, agnostic, atheist neighbors, because I, as a Christian, we as Christians, are called to love them as ourselves. And forcing my religion down their throats is not love. And
yeah.
I love watching this whole thing because you have James Talarico like right, just sort of taking the English language and just like giving a little nice massage, and then Lauren Boebert's sitting there like the hell. That's what I kept picturing in her head. She's like, how did you do that? That was so good, the way that he just put that all in the little circle and then it made a bunch of sense. None of that turn. Shoving one's religion down another's throat is not love. Never mind. You know.
Dude, Luke is so performative, man. Jesus.
Your religion onto somebody is not love. You know a thing or two about that, don't you, Lauren? Beetlejuice much. That's what I was trying to get to. And then she's like, none of that separate church state junk. Oh, sorry, that's funny.
America is not a Christian nation. It is a nation where you are free to be a Christian or any of those other faiths or no faith at all. And the other...
She agrees. She goes, yeah. No. Hey, that sounded good. No. Hey. I'm with him.
And the other... And I recognize that the phrase separation of church and state isn't in the Constitution, but the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause in our First Amendment clearly create a separation between church and state. And many of our founders were deists, which I think a lot of the far right, the religious.
Someone finally says it. Someone finally says it. Nobody ever points that out. A bunch of the founding fathers were deists. They were explicitly not Christians.
Right in this country would probably call them not real Christians, given their beliefs. And yes, they blended Enlightenment thinking with a Christian background into something that I think a lot of far-right Christian leaders would not recognize in this day and age. So I think it's just important that we remember our true history and we try to honor that promise of America, of a melting pot, of e pluribus unum, out of many one. It's a promise we obviously haven't ever fulfilled, but it is one that we're still trying.
Man, I almost feel bad for Bobo there. That you don't want to be caught in between a rock and a Tallarico. Okay, you just don't. You don't want to be caught between Mar. No, yeah, I guess yeah. Huh. Even Mar was quiet there. Wow, that was just a good way to explain it. This is why Tallarico so
you right now
is so exciting to me, because if you, as I did, and as they did, grew up in Texas, you know, a lot of Democratic messaging doesn't hit here. It just doesn't. Trust me. I'm always going around, well, what about, now, trying to explain it to people. And I feel like I'm pretty good at explaining things, but still people don't like it, usually. Whereas I've heard now multiple people in my life who are more conservative be like, that Tallarico guy is kind of good, because it doesn't feel attacking. He is attacking MAGA, but it doesn't feel like he's speaking down to them. And then he's leveraging a Christian undertone to a more progressive message, which, hello, why hasn't this been done way before? Tons of Democratic politicians are Christian and are really really struggle to merge the messaging a little bit. I don't want everyone to make all their political messaging religious, but it's just, in his case, for the voters that he's trying to appeal to, this is a really good way to go. You've heard a lot of things about Democrats just wanting to tear down all of our morality, and there's a bunch of people humping all over the streets and putting drag queens into the thing. And
that makes sense.
Let me tell you what I believe. I want to do what I feel. This is James's message.
That makes
Jesus
sense.
Embodied. So if you believe in that, here's what I see as what he embodied. And then going through how more progressive policies actually are how you support the sick, love the elderly, uplift the low income, and promote a more equal in opportunity society. That is so universal. And if we could fixate on that across religious barriers, all the way from really religious and this religion, that one, to not religious at all, across even political barriers. I think most people hear a message like the one that he'll explain and go, yeah, oh, that's not too bad. Like this one, for example.
The only minority destroying America is the billionaires.
There it is. The billionaires. More general admin staff for more
trans people are 1% of the population. Muslims are 1% of the population. Undocumented people are 1% of the population. We are focused on the wrong 1%.
I'm just going to go ahead and say I said that first. I'm going to go ahead and say he got that from me. Is that fair? I've been saying that before James could ride a bicycle. No, I'm kidding. It's so good. It's so good.
Trans people aren't taking away our health care. Muslims aren't defunding our schools. Immigrants aren't cutting taxes for themselves and their rich friends. It's the billionaires and their puppet politicians. The culture wars are a smokescreen. So many of the divisions in this state and in this country are manufactured by billionaires who want us fighting each other instead of fighting them.
Oh, okay. It's just good. That's just good. Okay? Who after hearing that wants to talk more about, but I heard there's a furry in the thing? Nobody. And if they do, what? I don't know. Then they're Joe Rogan. That's what we're talking about next. No, not really. But yes, we are talking about Joe Rogan next.
Let's see about
You just
this. We'll let this carry us out to the end.
said that the FBI was trying to intervene with Twitter on Biden's behalf in order to kill that story. Donald Trump was the president. You stupid mother.
One and all, to yet another episode of Work TV. It's a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. And gang, have we got a show for you tonight? We're going to be talking about whether or not Trump is the greatest threat to free speech that we've seen in America in a generation. Many on the right were very critical of Biden and his alleged attacks on free speech, though many free speech organizations today are very critical of Trump, even more so. When Stephen Colbert reported that CBS lawyers had called him and told him not to air his interview with Democratic primary candidate for Senate, James Tallarico, I figured it was a good time to talk about this again. The FCC recently changed the rules on equal time and how they interpret those things. And apparently, according to the FCC chairman, they will be going forward not allowing the bona fide news interview exception for late night talk shows. But we got a lot to talk about, a lot to go forward with, a lot to go over, and I'm glad we're all here. I'm going to give the mic first to Destiny, and then we'll just kind of go around the room, and we'll see what we got. Destiny, what are your opening thoughts on this? Go ahead.
I mean, I think Trump is weaponizing different parts of the executive branch in ways that we've never seen before, whether that's with direct requests to FCC commissioners to deplatform, late night hosts that he doesn't like, whether that's the insane weaponization of the DOJ to file ridiculous indictments against political opponents or prior political opponents, whether that's weaponizing the DNI and the FBI to go after Georgia because he wants to prove that he won 2020. I mean, the unlimited number of statements that Trump has made attacking the media, saying he won't take questions from fake news CNN and all these things. It's just, we've never seen a president so brazen, so lawless, and so anti-freedom of speech for people that he has political disagreements as we've seen with Donald Trump.
Okay, thank you for being here. Steelboard, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I think in order to demonstrate that Trump's the greatest threat to free speech we've seen in a generation, we'd have to actually establish a standard of what a threat is to that and then make sure it's consistently held.
Well, what would your idea of a threat be, and what would it take to be consistently held?
Well, so unfortunately, the burden of proof here is actually on Destiny and Dev. They're the ones making the claim.
Oh, here we go.
Dev, what are your thoughts here? Go ahead.
Okay, so I didn't know who the two of you guys were, so I decided to go check out your channel a bit before we started. No offense. And so I decided to kind of figure out who you were a bit and then write down a little bit of maybe how we can build a bridge here. So when we talk about what liberal values are, I generally look at two liberal political theorists like Arendt or Popper. I think we can distill down 4 broad values from their work. So you have freedom of expression, which covers free speech, free press, open inquiry and debate. Freedom of conscience, which covers religious and political affiliation.
That's exactly
freedom
what
of
I was
association,
thinking, Daniel.
which puts the consent of the individual at the center of relationships rather than familial duty or other forms of duty like feudalism. And then you have constitutionalism, which doesn't mean having a constitution. It means limitations on state power. The idea the government should not be able to do some things. The law should apply to all equally, this sort of stuff. These 4 values have a lot of overlap, and I think free speech has a foot in each one of these domains. So when I started doing political content on YouTube, it was during Gamergate, and I was very pro Gamergate.
Just as a heads up, there's probably going to be no conversation of substance on this. The other two guys are going to do the internal critique for the next 2 hours or until I rage quit.
They didn't value freedom of expression. They didn't value freedom of association. They didn't value freedom of conscience. The neo-Sarkeesian feminist types, the Vosh-style bread tuber types in 2019, these guys were all fucking cancerous. They all violated these liberal principles. And so I have a reputation of being anti-SJW or anti-leftist, or I guess anti-woke, we might call it now. And it's for all of those reasons that I completely oppose Trump in every single possible way. Because for as cringe and as nannying as the leftists were, they didn't ever hold any real political power. They weren't in the government. Trump going after late-night TV hosts, going after the seditious 6 for saying, don't follow illegal orders, suing pollsters for polls he doesn't like, going after journalists, all of these things are far worse than what the illiberal left did. Because the illiberal left did not control the state. There were overreaches in universities. I remember fire alarms being pulled on Milo and Sargon and Lawrence Southern and everyone else back in the 2010s. There was censorship on social media. None of this is the same level as Trump directing the government to do it. So I already know where you guys might go with some of this stuff, because I was involved in the anti-SJW stuff. I know the leftist examples you're going to pull out. And Trump is worse than all of them.
Okay, well, thank you for that. We're going to get into it, I'm sure, as we go. We got a last-minute fill-in. I guess Stillborn's buddy is a no-show, so we're going to mark that down for later. Teriak, is that how you say your name, sir?
Yep.
Okay, Scott, what are your thoughts on this? Is Trump the greatest threat to free speech that we've seen in a generation? Why or why not? Go ahead.
No, and because I don't see anything different that he's done from any of the different presidents. From an outsider, to say that Trump is a threat to free speech because he shit talks some TV hosts, I don't see the the rationale here, and then even just like the fact that he's.
Wow. What a brilliantly well thought out deconstruction of their position.
Back and forth with the press, like that's what you want with your president. You want your press to go hard on the president. You want the president to go hard on that. That's how you get to the truth. So the fact that there's like disagreements, I don't see how that's limitations of free speech. And if there's a thing of like, oh, but like he's preventing me from saying like what I want to say, it's like, but if there's certain things that you might want to say that free speech doesn't protect. So we have to make sure that we apply onto that line. So like I said, outrageous claims need outrageous evidence to back them up.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here last minute. I do appreciate that.
I appreciate the feeling, Terry.
Yes. Okay. With that, let's open up the floor and let's see how this shit show goes. It's been a day, gang. So here we are. Go ahead.
I guess my first question would be: can we think of a single example as egregious as Donald Trump suing pollsters for polls that he doesn't like that's happened in the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years, in terms of an attack on our media or press from the president?
Well, how was suing pollsters an attack on free speech?
What do you think?
I don't think that'd be an attack on free speech. You can sue somebody for people file ridiculous lawsuits constantly.
What did that have to do with what
you would agree with that too.
Wait, what did that have to do with what I just said?
Well, the idea that it's supposed to be a threat to free speech because he sues a pollster, I don't see that as a threat to free speech. I mean, maybe you could say it's stupid or he's
Why don't you steelman it? Why don't you steelman it for me?
You want me to ask the question?
I want you to how the president of the United States, who's in control of major mergers, who's in control of who gets indicted, I want you to steelman for me how him suing pollsters that release polls that he doesn't like might be a threat to free speech. I want you to try to steelman that.
Can you just do me a favor? Can you provide anything?
To make your argument for you.
No, because this is not a real question. If we're going to be this stupid right off the bat, then this conversation is pointless. If it's not a threat to free speech, you should be able to give any example of something that's worse for free speech than the president suing a pollster for a poll that he doesn't like.
You do realize you're just saying is like, I want you to make my argument for me.
No, I'm not. My argument is relatively self-evident. I can walk.
He thinks saying, give me the steelman of my position means make my argument for me? Holy fuck.
Do the whole thing if you want. There is a massive chilling effect that's made on the media or people who are doing polls if they feel like the president of the United States, who's also weaponized the investigatory and arrest part of the executive branch towards political enemies, if that guy is filing civil lawsuits against you because he doesn't like a poll that you made, I think that creates a chilling effect on people that work in media, on people that do polls, which is a threat to our freedom of speech because you have the right to poll people and publish the results of those polls.
Yeah, but you also think that people should be afraid.
How is that responsive to what I just said?
Because you're the one that's having to make claims that conservatives have to be afraid. No, because this is your standard.
No, hold on. You told me to walk you through the most self-evident claim in the world, and I've just wasted my time doing it. Now I want you to respond to that without pivoting to some other completely relevant thing.
I'm not pivoting. I'm giving you a standard to compare against.
I don't need a standard to compare against. You asked me to explain things, and whether you agree or disagree, that's a threat to freedom of speech.
Because Trump sued a bunch of pollers. I'm just trying to clarify your position. You're saying that because Trump sued a bunch of pollers, now these pollers are in fear.
Yes, that creates a
free speech, losing free speech. Yeah. So why do you want the same thing for conservatives?
How is that responsive to anything we're talking about?
Because if you're saying that conservatives should be in fear of their life when they go to events, one thing.
This guy's retarded.
Yeah, because you don't have a consistent standard. That's what I'm pointing out.
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with a consistent standard. I'm not the president of the United States.
It is.
I control the DOJ. Do you recognize that?
Yeah, but we're all under the same laws, correct?
No, we don't have the same capabilities. My ability to chill speech by suing somebody is not the same as the president of the United States who's weaponizing a DOJ. Can I weaponize the Department of Justice or a local prosecutor? Do I control any of those things?
Well, yeah, like you
can. Do I control a local? Really? I'm not a collective, am I?
Yes.
I am a collective?
You can be.
Okay.
You can be.
President. Can you think of another president that has weaponized his ability to sue people, that's done something that is as much a threat to freedom of speech as suing pollsters for polls that he doesn't like? Can you think of another example of another president, because that's what we're talking about, a president that's done that?
I'm not sure how that's a threat to free
speech. Okay, so you can't. Can the other guy? I'll take the W on the topic, and then we can talk about other shit if they want.
This is so easy.
So you want to you're asking if I can think of any example of any president doing anything that would be as chilling to the populace, the media? Okay, that's what I want to make sure.
First of all, wait. Do you agree that suing the pollsters, that's creating a chilling effect on free speech for no valid reason, right?
No, I'm not going to grant your psychological report of how it makes you feel when the president sues people. I'm just not going to do that.
Okay, then this conversation is fun. Then nothing can chill free speech, right? You agree with that, right? Give me one example.
Nothing can chill free speech?
Correct. Yeah.
How about people being arrested for saying something? I mean, like, wouldn't that be more free speech?
You can't write letters in jail. So you're wrong there. Can you give me another example of being arrested?
Hold on.
Can you
writing letters? No, can you be?
I don't accept that. I don't accept that.
Be more chilling.
Framing. No. You said it. You said before that suing somebody doesn't keep them from talking, or you're not going to buy the psychological thing, whatever.
Sorry, are you more or less free in jail, Destiny?
You have free speech. You can write letters. Some of the most famous letters of all time.
Are you more or less?
Dallas, have you ever heard of these?
We can lock you up, but you can even talk. It's the free speech.
Okay, just to be clear.
Every debate with
this has been a debacle, okay, so far. But we're going to get into it. We're going to make content anyway because I'm here to do that. So Steelborn, what he's saying is that.
Well, you know what? You don't have to. Why do you have to translate? They know what I'm saying. You just can't defend.
Do they? I don't know.
Yeah, it's indefensible, of course.
Yeah, so from Destiny's standard, because you can write letters from jail, you're just as free to speak in jail as you are outside of jail. That's literally what you just said in response to what I said. Because I asked, don't you think it'd be more chilling if people were like arrested for saying stuff? Like I could think that'd be more chilling than the president suing pollsters.
Okay, can you give an example of the president arresting somebody for arbitrary reasons for speech they don't like?
Well, no, your question was, can I think of anything more chilling to free speech?
For an unjustified
reason. Wouldn't that be more chilling?
There has to be a lack of justification. Executing somebody is the ultimate silencing of speech, but there are reasons why we have capital punishment. So it has to be for an unjustified reason, right?
Yeah, I think it's even great that it could be for an unjustified reason, but Wouldn't it? I'm trying to figure out exactly. I'm trying to figure out exactly.
Because you have the mental gymnastics with the most obvious fucking question in the world. Can you think of a president that's done something more egregious, more chilling to a population than showing that he will sue a pollster for releasing a poll he doesn't like?
Yeah, I actually think that I can. I can think about how about a government entity or official actually cracking down and putting at least not unofficial pressure on social media platforms to get them to increase the type of content that they monitor.
Really? Can you give me an example of
that? Like Mark Zuckerberg's testimony in front of the House committee about the fact that he had officials within the Biden administration who were actually placing, or they were kind of like, not really, I wouldn't say placing, but they were kind of pressuring him into increasing the different restrictions that Meta was applying to content.
And what happened when Facebook didn't do any of that?
Yeah.
Facebook did do that.
They didn't. Suggestion. Same thing with Twitter.
Not every single suggestion, but they did follow through. So,
yeah.
And then after Biden was out of office, guess what? They lifted a bunch of those restrictions. Interesting how it works.
Wait, why would you assume that they lifted restrictions because Biden left, but not because there was new pressure from the Trump administration? The same platforms, by the way, that were being sued by Trump, all of them, because his accounts got banned. Why would you assume more pressure from the? I'm sorry, hold on. Just
yeah, okay. So
no,
I disagree with you.
You don't think that would?
Wait, I want a yes or no to that. Did Biden sue any of the social media companies like Donald Trump sued them for his account being banned?
Yeah, what was the justification for the banning?
Did Biden sue any of the social media platforms the same way?
No, and it doesn't even hurt my position.
Okay,
what was Trump suing them for?
Admitting that because he said it was a violation of his First Amendment rights for his account to be banned.
You don't think that banning, like off the most major platforms that are available to the public and to government officials, that banning the presidential candidate would not be, would not have a massive effect on that?
It can. Remember, the qualifier here is with justification. Do you think that you should?
What was the justification that Meta gave for banning him?
For probably related to the J6 stuff, for inciting violence.
Is that ever demonstrated in a court?
You don't have to demonstrate something in a court to ban somebody from Twitter or from Facebook.
Well, hold on. Was he ever charged with insurrection?
You have to ban somebody for a criminal charge. If you were to spam on Twitter, you'll get banned for it. You don't have to be charged with the crime of spam.
Well, yes, but if that's the justification, that it was because he was talking about January 6th a lot.
No, it's because he incited January 6th. That's why they banned him. It was after he left office, so he wasn't even president when they banned him.
Yes, but he was still. Everybody knew that he was still going. At least it was very likely that he was going to be the.
You're going to be banned from a social media platform if it's likely you're going to run for office.
No, not likely you're going to run for office. Okay, and also, has the former president ever been banned from a social media platform?
No, but the former president has usually incited a riot to try to overturn an election.
Okay, so incited a riot.
Okay,
so insurrection. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, so like this is what I'm saying, the deceptive framing. So Donald Trump is not Donald Trump is not suing protesters because he didn't like what they say. He's suing protesters because they committed fraud.
Where? What?
Oh, sorry, posters, not protesters.
He has no evidence of any of that fraud at all, and fraud would be a criminal charge. So why?
Okay, so how do you? Okay, if there's no evidence, okay, how do you know what's in his head?
Because I listen to the words he says and I watch the way that he acts, and these cases were dismissed and they didn't give any evidence.
How do you know what's in his head?
Yeah, so the whole charge was fraud.
Bro, these
and you're saying they have no evidence.
Wait,
no, because I'm highlighting the fact that you framed this already that Trump's going after free speech. That's why he's going after these posters. But the posters after going after, they were reporting that Kamala was ahead by 3 points when Trump actually won by 13 points. So they were way far, like they were completely off. They were completely off with their yeah. But if you're fraudulently putting these polls out to try and influence the election, that would be fraud. That would be fraud. No, but I just want you to agree with that. That would be fraud, though, Destiny, wouldn't it? That would be fraud.
So they were making shit up, yeah, but there was no evidence of that.
Yeah, okay, that's all. So we'll have to let the courts decide, though.
They already have. The case was dismissed.
Yeah.
Okay, the case was dismissed, then how is it feeling effect on free speech if the court said, no, you're not doing this?
Then how is Facebook being shut by the Biden administration when nobody was even sued or nobody's even criminally pursued?
We're giving you a counterexample of Biden.
Yeah,
you're the one that's making the positive claim. One sec, Destiny. You're the one that's making the positive claim. Trump is the one that's trying to put killing speech on it. And like you said, the courts dismissed the case. So how is it a chilling thing? How are you afraid?
Dev, you got it. Go for it.
Dev.
Okay, here, real quick, guys, real quick. Do you guys think that it was coercive for the government to ask Twitter to censor the Hunter Biden laptop story?
Could you repeat the question? I want to make sure I understand the question.
Sure. Do you think it was coercive for the government to ask Twitter to censor the Hunter Biden laptop story?
Yes.
Okay. So if that's the case, then how is it that all of Trump's moves against journalists and pollsters and a whole bunch of different people, as the head of the government, is not also at least equally coercive, if not more so?
Well, I can grant that it's at least equally coercive.
But not more so, you think?
Well, no, I don't think it's more so coercive, and here's why. Because at least if Trump holds this standard that he's going to pressure people, isn't he very open and explain, and at least gives his reasonings behind this, or at least says what he's doing and admits to doing it? When it comes to pressuring media and stuff like that.
Oh, you're right.
He does.
That's so much better. That makes it all better.
To openly state that he's going to be doing these things, but I mean, the topic of the debate is Trump the greatest threat to free speech that we've seen in a generation? If Trump's just admitting he's going to do these things, it does kind of help our case.
I don't see how it even helps your case, because so let me ask you something real quick. Would you say that if let's say Trump established a part of the federal government that was actually tasked with monitoring dissident information or misinformation, disinformation, malinformation, something like that? Do you think that would be more coercive towards media outlets, people groups, or whatever? That would be incredibly coercive for them to do that, right?
Isn't he already doing that? I mean, he's doing it with the various protesters happening right now in Minnesota.
No. I'm saying creating a government body that is tasked with dealing with these types of things like disinformation and misinformation.
Okay. Well, it depends. Because here's the thing, right? Like, if it's actually real disinformation, it's actually good to censor that, is it not? Like, if someone's actually lying, shouldn't you clamp down on that?
Well, hold on. So let's make sure that we're clear on the terms. What's the distinction between dis and misinformation from your view? I want to make sure we agree on what that means.
From what I understand, God, I forget which one is which, but one of them basically means you're mistaken, and one of them
Misinformation is like you're wrong about things probably to a reckless or careless degree, maybe, and then disinformation is usually referring to foreign actors, but it could be domestic ones who are like lying intentionally.
Yeah, like I would agree. Okay, so I would agree that disinformation would be intentionally lying. Yeah, so how about just for handling misinformation? Should we censor misinformation? And should the president or the government try to censor misinformation?
Depends exactly what it is. There could be some forms of misinformation that, even if it's done in good faith, are highly toxic and destructive. It really just depends.
Like maybe around public health, maybe.
There's also noble lies as well.
Well, real quick, Destiny, do you agree with that standard?
That what? Repeat it again?
Yeah,
that there actually could be certain types of misinformation that might want to be like, at least not, I wouldn't say censored, but at least the government could come out and say publicly like, this is wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
You shouldn't be saying this kind of stuff. Okay. So you agree with me then that trying to put a kibosh on misinformation by publicly stating and declaring that this is false, or this is this information is not true, or this person is intentionally lying.
And I bet the answer is, well, it's obvious.
It's gonna be, that could be good, but how I mean, like, what do you think would be like where do you think that would become an overreach?
I mean, if they were doing it without proper justification, if they were doing it, if they were using an incorrect process to determine what was true or untrue.
Okay, so yeah, so disinformation, false information shared with intent to deceive. Misinformation is false information without the intent to deceive, and then malinformation is true information that is intended to cause harm. Sometimes I don't even know. It's hard.
Malinformation, just to give you an example,
would be like telling somebody how to kill themselves.
That George Bush had a drunk driving incident right before the election.
Oh, just
that was information that is true, but it was meant and released in intent for malicious purposes, to harm.
Yeah. Should we put a kibosh on malinformation, or should we?
No, I don't know why you would ever. That sounds ridiculous.
Okay, so we're in agreement then.
Okay, where are you going with this, buddy?
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out. So who's to determine what misinformation actually is and disinformation?
That's
Should that be
exactly
regulated by
how
a
it
government
went
body?
down.
Depends on the type of misinformation, but for some it might be appropriate. Yeah, like the CDC or whatever would probably be in charge of health-related stuff. The FDA maybe for food and drug stuff. Like it depends on what the piece of information is.
Okay, and then how would you? So should we censor that information that comes out as misinformation?
Depends on what the justification is. If it represents a public health risk, then maybe. If you have, for instance, people who are lying about the dangers of the measles vaccine, and you see that there are measles outbreaks all over the country, maybe that's worth it for the CDC or somebody to publish a statement about, or to require notices to be posted for people that are lying about it. Maybe.
Well, how would you classify the food pyramid, the old food pyramid? Was that malinformation or misinformation?
It's just has no relevance to this topic. What was you can continue with the next?
I'm just testing your definitions.
No, I'm good. What's the next part of the question?
You can't answer because you're giving all these definitions.
No, because you're not. Because this is so boring.
Example,
dude, Andrew Wilson was a curse on the internet. You guys all pay for the course or what? This whole like endless like internally critiquing everything and needlessly nitpick every single question. What are you talking about? Answer question. I don't need to give you answers. You're not going to provide any definitions or anything of your own. You're just here needlessly nitpick every single fucking thing we say to avoid having to argue the substance of the merits of anything you're talking about. I already told you the claim. The claim is that's fine, but this is not just a positive claim. What do you mean? Here we go. What are you exhausted already? You fucking retard. Listen, if you want to have a conversation on the substance of misinformation or disinformation, that's fine. But I'm not going to play Nirvana fallacy with you 7, where you're going to sit here and needlessly. Yeah, of course you can do it all day because you're not actually doing anything. You're just sitting here going what over and over again. So here's the statement. Here's the statement. Here's the statement. Certain federal bodies can probably be tasked with releasing statements or engaging in some level of clamping down on, depending on the serious threat to public health, depending on the level of fraud or disinformation coming from a particular entity or organization. And then you would determine these on a case-by-case basis. That's what we have a whole government apparatus that's capable of doing this. We have a whole court system that's capable of evaluating if they did it legally or not. You would go through that process. That's my answer. So what else of that do you want to endlessly nitpick to avoid having to actually talk about any of the substance at hand? Yeah.
To clarify and to add nuance to discussion, I'm saying in the instance where the government put out information like the food pyramid that was knowingly wrong, that they did not have the correct information for, and that diet is what's led to this obesity epidemic.
Yeah, so the food pyramid did not lead to the obesity epidemic. That's not true. Number one. Number two, what part can you prove that they put it? What is the evidence? The strongest version of evidence that they intentionally put it out to people.
So where is the government's evidence for saying that you need to make sure that the majority of what you're eating are grains and all this kind of shit? This was like that was.
The question was not it was misfounded. My question is
malinformation, disinformation.
Sure, I can answer the question. You're not going to let me ask the question because you know that you're fucking trapped. Yeah. The question is, what is the singular piece of proof that you have that the government was intentionally misleading people with that information? What was the goal? What was the purpose? Why were they intentionally misleading people?
I'm not making any of the claims.
All right, then go to the next.
Malinformation.
I would have to know. Malinformation or disinformation requires them to be doing it with intentionality. So you need to show me some intent.
Yeah. So
Maverick,
yes. So
quick,
it would take time.
I understand that, right? And so I get it. So I do appreciate you for being here. I really do. But we do have to actually kind of like, what point are you trying to make? Is my question.
Okay. Let me cut straight down to the point because I'm using that as an example to say, okay, when you're talking about the case that Trump launched against these posters. Like, how do we know? How does he know his mentality? So in terms of like launching the case,
we can literally start with the court. We can start with the complaint. In the complaint, he doesn't give any evidence of any fraud.
See the way that I was the one that's getting accused of interrupting, and then
because you're just. All right, go ahead, filibuster some more. Filibuster, go.
Finish your point.
Yeah, so like clearly, like at least people like listening into this could be able to see the comparison where it's like, hang on a second, you're saying without shared without, I can't even define whether that's malinformation, disinformation, or misinformation in terms of the food pyramid stuff. But then when Trump put this case against the posters, which again, nothing result off it, justice was done. We can all dance about and all this kind of stuff. Apparently, that's like chilling,
can you not?
Speech.
Yeah, he's a
need to fear for the lives.
You made like 20 different stupid arguments. One thing. Here's the first stupid argument you make. How do you know his state of mind? We can read the initial filing. He doesn't provide any proof of fraud. If you had proof of fraud, you would put it in your initial complaint. He just said that they lied because they were jealous and they hated him and they were wrong, which is not being wrong and lying are not the same thing. So that's how I read his state of mind. I can read the words they put in the public filing. So what is your evidence? You made the claim that the government intentionally lied about the food pyramid. What is your evidence that the government intentionally lied about this? That's what I thought. What's the other guy have to say?
Because there was no base evidence to prove. Like what? Because there was what's the minimum or maximum amount of carbohydrates you eat?
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. We have to go way more fundamental. My bad. What's the difference between lying and being wrong?
No, I'm telling you, and that's
I'm asking you a question.
The logic applied in the situation. There is no maximum, there is no minimum in terms of the carbohydrates you should eat per day.
So them being wrong or misguided about the food pyramid, them being wrong or misguided about the food pyramid, it's the same as them being
macronutrients. There is, there's questions the government can't answer. You know what I mean? And again, to amend it, like I would not necessarily they knowingly lied. I would say that they had no base or justification to push that food pyramid in the first place. There was no scientific evidence for it.
Treyvac.
Okay.
And they pushed it anyway. Is that this or misinformation?
Okay, Terry, because I've heard right-wingers talk about this before, so I quickly dug up my files on this. I know exactly what you're talking about. This comes from 1977, Dietary Goals for the United States, which came out of the Select Committee on Nutrition and Human Needs from the U.S. Senate. I know exactly what you're talking about, okay? It came out like 10 years later that it turns out that some of the evidence in that was wrong, and that's where the food pyramid came from. There is no evidence in any of this story that shows that the senators in question knowingly did this. They were just wrong.
Well, there's no scientific
misinformation, to be clear.
What do you mean by there's no scientific basis?
Okay, thank you, Wick, for answering my question finally. That would be classified as misinformation.
No, it wouldn't be classified as misinformation because they were operating what they knew at the time. What do you think is what do you think is misinformation, or what are you talking about?
That's what I'm asking you.
So as
I said with regards to the food pyramid, what part of this would you mean by is misinformation?
Because there's basically something that is wrong that the government pushed versus the pollsters have pushed something that was wrong.
What part of it is wrong for the food pyramid? What do you mean by wrong?
Yeah, that the majority of what you should be eating is like carbs and fucking like wheat and whole grains and all this kind of shit.
What part of that is wrong or misinformation?
They have redone the food pyramid.
Yeah, they updated it based on more stuff that's come out. Yeah. But it's not like if you follow the first food pyramid, it's not like you're going to die. It's not like it was like destroying your body or making you you blamed it the current obesity person. That doesn't make any sense at all.
How do you define destroying your body? Like have you not seen some of the fat cunts?
Do you think this is because of people
they can't use their legs anymore?
Oh my god, bro. Do you think those people who were like grossly obese like that were following the food pyramid? Do you think some motherfucker who's 600 pounds was like meticulous, like, oh, I really gotta make sure I follow this food pyramid to a T? You can't be that fucking retarded. You can't be that fucking retarded.
These are people. Do you think
destroying your body? You need a scooter and you touch your leg.
Holy shit! Your ancestors must have lived off potatoes. Jesus Christ! Do you think that eating complex carbs or dietary fiber is the same thing as eating ultra processed foods that are available at fast food restaurants today? Do you think this is the same thing?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here. Like I'm waiting for him to answer my question.
Okay.
Okay, still.
Again, you said no. One sec. No, just to clarify, and just to point out that like Destiny's the one that seems to be fucking gone here because you actually answered my question. You said that would be misinformation. Then Destiny disagreed and said that wasn't misinformation, but he didn't give an answer. And then he just said, "Okay, do you think that complex carbs are the same as ultra processed foods?" Do you know what I mean? See the way like he doesn't answer the question, and then he just ends on a question that has nothing got to do with my question. Well,
being wrong about a thing is not necessarily misinformation if you're working with the evidence you had at the time. We copied most of that food pyramid from the Swedes or whatever anyway. Like it's not like they just came out. They're like, we're gonna fuck over America and put out wrong information. They were working with what they had at the time, and you can tell because like a decade or two later they updated it to the food plate. There's no evidence that they were doing anything intentionally wrong or that they were ignoring all the posted scientific evidence. Like, that's just not true. You have no evidence for that. So
okay. So for example, like if there was, let's say, a famous case that was ruled a suicide, right? And there's evidence.
Why did you just jump to a totally different topic?
Yeah,
you're not going to
engage. There's basic scientific evidence or questions they cannot provide, but they still run with it.
Stop.
Because when they're presenting a food pyramid, they're presenting.
Go back to the topic. I want to talk about Trump and free speech. The food pyramid does not interest me. I do not care about the food pyramid.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the.
Wait, you're violating free speech here.
Go ahead, Dad, please.
No, I was just joking around, man. Where are you going with this?
Where am I going with this?
Can I try to bring it back on topic here, Rick?
Yes, go ahead, Steelborn.
Okay, so real quick, so for Destiny and Dev, so which of these would you think is be more of a threat? Like rhetoric, executive action, institutional power, surveillance, infrastructure, criminal prosecution? Like what is like? How do we like? I'm sure we're gonna put these in a hierarchy. So like, what would you say would be like the biggest thing? Like,
the president engaging in rhetoric saying he wants to revoke citizenship from people and talking about executing people.
Okay, that you think that has more of a chilling effect on the mass of on the masses as opposed to like massive surveillance?
I don't know how to quantify massive surveillance because some surveillance is justified. I mean, like if you have like an intelligence operation thing, so I don't even know how I would compare such a broad category of things to another category of things that should never be happening.
Well, like do you think that people felt like they actually had more free speech and were able to actually have more conversations like or conversations I guess that like wouldn't necessarily be the best politically before or after, let's say, like I don't know, the Patriot Act?
Honestly, I don't think that meaningfully impacted much Americans' free speech. I don't think people think about it much because it's internet shit and surveillance or whatever. But I don't think people think
about it. People are aware of the fact and worried about the fact that they don't even know. You've seen the people when they're sitting there and they're like, dude, the phones are listening. Like that's a regular thing that I've seen people do. Like the phones are listening.
Your circles, it wouldn't surprise me. But can you give me an example of behavior that changed as a result of the Patriot Act?
Behavior that changed?
That's what I mean. So nobody really acted any differently as a result of.
I have to take my shoes off when I go to the airport.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. That happened. That was true. He got you.
Listen, my mom took Tylenol, okay? So you got to be
Yeah,
patient.
Okay. I guess to steelman the point a little bit.
Why?
Hey, so we can have an interesting.
Yeah, but it's not. They don't even believe this shit. This is like an unlimited amount of mental gymnastics to avoid the substance of anything they're talking about. Like,
Well,
this
let me
is
ask
all
you,
a joke.
what do you
Like,
think
they
is
know
more of a threat to free speech? Hold on, what do you think is more of a threat to free speech? Rhetoric from the president, or like actually expanding government power?
Like what? Like, do you hear that? Like, this is like it's like retarded statement after retarded statement. He's like, try eating this food, and then he wrote like some diarrhea.
The same point that I
Well,
was.
think about it. Like, because you're even to mention like the rhetoric that Trump is using, and use the one that are painting the corner that you're in the like listening to your like what is it like? My tea's gone cold. I'm wondering why. As like you're like crying because you're like losing your free speech because Trump lost a lawsuit.
Maybe he's not even Irish. Maybe he's just drunk. I actually can't tell.
Can't it be both? Come on.
Okay. So
those aren't
like,
mutually
think
exclusive.
like,
It's
like what
actually
you're saying in terms of the rhetoric.
Just to be clear, do you think that was the only bit of evidence that Dev and Destiny have for Trump being the greatest threat to free speech?
I'm still waiting for other examples.
Like, this has been the main case. Like what I'm saying so far is their argument to me has been Trump has lost a lawsuit equals this is the greatest threat to our free speech.
Okay, here, I just pulled one up, okay? Twitter kept entire database of Republican requests to censor posts. Elon Musk's Twitter files revealed this, that even though everyone talked about the Hunter Biden laptop, it was the Republicans who wanted more shit censored off of Twitter, not the Democrats.
That's a material, factual thing. These guys don't want to engage with that. So I'm going to perform an internal critique here and call you retarded.
I've never read this article, so isn't it fair for me to at least look at it?
Oh, I didn't see that. That's the first time I'm hearing of it.
Here's a study I'm going to present mid-debate. If you don't accept this without grace, you're an idiot or a retard. I mean, give him a bit of grace, gentlemen.
I can DM it to you if you want to read it.
I would appreciate that, yeah.
Sure.
Look, I'm willing to change my mind based on new incoming evidence. Doesn't that seem like the most rational position?
If you actually held it, it would be.
And I've already, I don't.
If you can't see how the president of the United States suing people for stuff that he doesn't like is a huge threat, is probably one of the largest
is he
things I've ever in my entire lifetime. Okay, then you're not capable. First of all, yes, he is, number one. But number two, you're not.
Which one's he filing a criminal lawsuit against?
The ones against Bolton, the ones against Letitia James, and the one against Comey were against political opponents, adversaries that he didn't like for political reasons. That would be three.
Okay,
Not even relevant to the other thing I'm talking about.
You mean the people that went after him?
Yeah, the people that didn't like him politically. Thank you for making my point, you potato fucker. Good job.
And filed lawsuits against him. You didn't have any of that.
Thank you for making my point, potato fucker.
I'm just saying, we're not so different, you and I.
Right, okay. The British were a mistake, okay?
Okay, real quick here. Since this is what we're talking about, I'll pull this up real quick here. Grand jury declines to charge Democrats in illegal orders video. This is when Trump tried to go after the seditious six for their speech, and the lawsuit that his administration brought was so shitty it didn't even get past the grand jury phase.
So all you're saying is the thing that didn't get past the grand jury? How's that a threat to freedom of speech, Dev? That's not ironic the way both of them were about to say, by the way. I'm not even joking.
I know. I mean, the answer to that is the fact that he would attempt it is actually terrible.
Yeah.
Because like, he's going after people for their speech. That's bad. Can you agree that's bad?
Yeah, but doesn't the fact that he failed, doesn't that show the system's working?
It would depend on justifications. So like,
he literally truthed them out. He literally posted on Truth, you need to indict these 3 people. I hate them. Here's the prosecutor I want you to use. And then they did that.
Okay. And nothing came of it?
He said it.
I'll just grant it. That's my okay. Nothing came of it. I don't know the case.
You're a king. You're a king.
Speak on something that I don't know.
You're a king.
Like I don't know this case.
I know. Of course not.
But like, still, like, this is what they're not getting. This is why I keep pointing out. It's like, why is Trump doing this? Like, what happened when Trump wasn't president? Like, the exact same shit. And they all said nothing, and this was Joseph Zon's kind of shit.
What was one illegitimate charge against Trump?
Isn't this bad? Trump is able to do this.
What was one illegitimate charge against Trump?
Isn't this system that Trump is using? Isn't this system that Trump is using? I'm talking to Steelborn. I'm talking just having a little sidebar here. One second. Isn't this like so insane? Like, this system that Trump is using, isn't this system so corrupt? And then as soon as they get their guy in office, like literally weekend at Biden's, like, oh no, it's everyone's cleaned up. It's all angels and all this kind of shit. When Trump is doing it, it's all demons and all this kind of shit. Do you not see how like the hypocrisy?
Okay, I have a question
in terms of like why Trump do all this kind of shit.
More chilling effect for like the masses, because you would agree that Trump did win the popular vote as well. So the majority of the country did vote for Trump, as far as those who did vote. So which one do you think would be more of a chilling effect? The masses seeing what appears to be a bunch of bullshit lawsuits being filed against the person who's running for president, and trying to put him in prison for 700 years for crimes that they extended the statute of limitations for.
They did. That's not true.
Trump being mean to
that's
media personalities.
So I mean, when you lie about everything and make it sound spookier than it actually is, then I can understand why people would be scared about it. But that's why Trump and you guys are kind of part of the problem there. So.
Oh, okay. So let's just I'll whatever part of that you disagree with. I'll just okay. Let's like the extension of the statute.
So the charges against him were legitimate. I don't know why people seem to think or buy into this idea that they were false charges. I mean, he was literally convicted in New York State. I've never heard anybody contest the Mar-a-Lago document stuff or the Jan 6 one. People will fight on the edges of that. But I mean, it's like, even if you don't like these, they're way more solid than trying to dig up old mortgage documents of everybody and alleging fucking mortgage fraud, which all of these will fucking fall apart.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, which do you think would have more of an effect on the masses? You agree that Trump is popular with the masses, right?
One of the things that I said, when I say chilling effect, I mean chilling effect without a good reason. So, for instance, there's probably a huge chilling effect on people killing people because you go to jail for murder. But that's an okay chilling effect. So some people might be chilled because their president committed a crime and then he was convicted of that crime. That's an okay chilling effect. Not all chilling effects are bad.
Okay, that's an okay chilling effect. Okay, so
if the president has committed a crime and he's convicted of the crime, yes, we want to chill people on committing crimes.
Yeah, I'll even just grant that we want to chill people on committing crimes.
Well, thank you for granting that.
Yeah, as in like, yeah, sir. I'll just go ahead and grant that. Like I just did, anyways. I'm sorry. Could you just remind me real quick? How many left-wing media personalities have recently been assassinated? Just curious.
Left-wing media personalities. I'm not sure. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Can't think of any.
Left-wing?
Attacked in public?
Attacked in public? I don't know. I'm sure there have been some. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Oh, Savannah Guthrie's bomb was abducted. There was that. Oh wait, actually, hold on. What was the guy's mansion that got firebombed? Was that the Josh Shapiro? That happened. There was a whole plot.
Yeah, isn't Josh Shapiro like a public figure?
No, he's a Democratic.
Oh, sorry. Okay, we're exclusively doing media personalities. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I can think of one that had a pretty chilling effect for at least I would say half the country.
Really? Who?
I would say Charlie Kirk's assassination. And then watching the left
disabled
absolutely
for
just
profit.
the pool of blood that was left.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me make sure that I understand this. Let me make sure I understand this. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. You're saying that the Charlie Kirk assassination, which was followed up by the largest public funeral in basically all of U.S. history, that more people attended than almost anything else, including the President of the United States, that was a chill effect? That was a chilling effect.
No.
Oh, so everything you just said was no. What is the chilling effect? Which speech do you think who felt chilled? Was it Matt Walsh and Tim Pool? Yes. Who was chilled? Because it seems like everybody was emboldened and got to Twitter and went even crazier on that. Was anybody chilled? Did anybody cancel a public appearance? Did anybody feel like they were going to be next publicly, or did anybody call for?
Yes, you can actually. Yeah, multiple media personalities. They increased their security teams.
Who? I don't even know if I necessarily believe this, but everybody increased their security teams in this case. I needed more security to go to college campuses. So I mean, like that's the thing that happens anytime there's violence. Guess who never says that we should all be less violent? Donald Trump. Isn't that kind of crazy? Are you upset about Donald Trump for never saying all of us need to be less violent?
What left-wingers are being attacked for it?
Are you upset that Donald Trump doesn't say all of us need to be? Are you upset that that's why I say it doesn't matter? None of this actually matters to you. Conservatives love violence. They do. That's why I stand by everything I said in the past as well. Like you guys love it. You love it.
I don't think it's a problem.
Actually, you don't think so. Yeah, you love it.
Can you demonstrate any left-wing?
Please, Steelborn, please. Melissa Hortman was a senator, a Democratic senator who was assassinated by.
Look at the recent trans shooter who was a fucking neo-Nazi or whatever, right? At the snow rink or whatever.
None of these people actually know about.
No, the one that just did the shooting in.
In Canada, you're right. That was the last one, I think.
Was it North Carolina?
Yeah, maybe that sounds. But they have a.
I can't remember which state it was.
Rhode Island.
Sure, anything happened in Rhode Island. So okay, what? So you found one. Hold on a sec.
You found
think that
one.
Somebody who's a neo-Nazi transgender isn't like confused in their mental state at all? Because I'm pretty sure most Nazis tend to just entirely reject gender ideology as
fucking anything,
pretty sure the consumption of
dude.
pretty sure the consumption of boy adjacent related pornography is probably the highest in neo-Nazi circles, but that's you can pretend or disagree that you want. I'm pretty sure this person had a fucking SS tattoo on them. Their Twitter's still up. You can go through all their fucking tweets. This person is clearly like a fucking far right, like white identitarian Jews are behind everything type. What about the guy who ran his truck into the Mormon church with the two giant American flags on the back?
I got accused of derailing this motherfucker, this bitch, and then like Jesse not bringing up we had like swastika.
What you were asking for examples. Because the reason why we're here is because you guys have to endlessly pivot away from the behavior of the President of the United States. That's why. That's the only reason. That's all these conversations go. But you know that it's by design. I understand.
No, all we have to do is simply make the case that he's acting in no different to the same way that the quote unquote Biden moved.
I agree. That's why I asked for an example of Biden doing anything equivalent, but you weren't able to provide one.
What?
I know.
Okay, here. I'll bring this up.
Like this whole thing, like Trump, like launched that were launched against Trump.
Just wait. So Trump's FCC has gone after late night TV several times recently over the past year. Did Biden's administration do anything like that? Any late night TV?
Yes.
FCC bullshit.
Suppressing the Biden laptop story.
How is that the same?
Hold on, wait. Biden's admin had nothing to do with that, though, right? The Twitter files were released. That story had no FBI, no federal government intervention whatsoever.
Yeah, FBI was like, fuck, we don't like Trump.
Okay, good one.
Okay, Steelborn, how about you? How are you jumping on this one?
I was still
like, this is the game that the Democrats play, where they're kind of like
we have the facts. I know it sucks. It's so annoying.
They never hold each other accountable on this kind of shit because they need disposable things like you gotta take the blame for this, you gotta take the blame for this, all this kind of shit, and then that's how they move as a unit.
Well, hold on, wait,
for no reason whatsoever. They declared that story.
What do you mean for no reason?
Biden's admin had nothing got to do with it.
Oh wait, no, just
I wouldn't the FBI.
Yeah, you want
to do a favor for Biden, but Biden had nothing got to do with it. You're crazy. You're a conspiracy theorist. You think Biden had anything got to do with it?
You're talking about them censoring which story? Wait. You're talking about the. Stop trying to. You're saying that the Biden admin censored the laptop story? Is that what you're saying? They were doing it to help him? Are you saying that they did that to help him win the election? That's your assertion?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay, well, let's assume that. So you think that... Okay, that's fine.
What I'm saying is potentiality.
So why do you think... Let's say that the FBI was even doing that. You think that means that the order would have came from Biden? Or do you think it would have had a lot of influence there, if I'm being good faith?
I would say that, like, in terms of the dynamic you see at play, like, why would the FBI do such a heinous thing?
Okay, so... Because that story was censored...
When you're talking about actually censoring free speech, all that stuff was truth.
Okay.
It means in terms of malinformation,
we're
disinformation,
only going to go for another half hour
goes above that, which means that there's no reason to suppress truth.
I was just going to write this out.
Okay, sure. Okay, so that's an argument. Okay, do you think that... And you think that... So despite not... Why can't I finish? Why can't I... Let me know. I have to explain. I'm just asking this question. Do you think that... So why was the Hunter Biden laptop story... Why was that story trying to be pushed in the media so much?
I don't know.
Because they were trying to make it so that Biden would lose the election, right? Do you understand yet the point that I'm getting at? You just said that the FBI was trying to intervene with Twitter on Biden's behalf in order to kill that story. Donald Trump was the president, you stupid motherfucker. Now I want you to re-explain that whole story, because now you have to change every single thing you just said. Well, the FBI obviously was taking orders from the president. Well, of course, why else would they do blah, blah. So now I want you to explain, why did Trump's FBI kill the Hunter Biden laptop story? Explain that to me, please.
Yeah, so like that's what I'm saying. I'm pointing out that it's a system. Like you keep trying to phrase it as though like we're trying to like defend Donald Trump and all this kind of shit. And
Oh
we're like, and the whole,
my God, bro! Holy shit, dude! Oh my God! I really can't. These people are so fucking.
Bender? Yeah,
that's what I'm doing.
I'm
I'm
so
yeah,
fucking
I'm
retarded.
I'm happy there.
Yeah, but like
it was the deep state.
Did you not? Okay, do you not understand like what I'm trying to point towards?
No, I don't fucking get it, man. What are you trying to say?
Yeah, so what I'm pointing towards is like it's the system. Use the one in terms of the prompt. It's like Donald Trump is the greatest threat to free speech. No, it's the system.
It's the system. Okay, so like, is this Metal Gear Solid 2? Is the fucking Patriots like who? Name the person, not just the system. Who is it?
Yeah, what you are complaining about Donald Trump is how Donald Trump can actually just use the government. So you're not really pissed off at Donald Trump. You're pissed off at the government.
No, because Donald Trump is breaking laws and he's doing things in the government that have traditionally never been done. That's why for the prompt we said that he's done historically larger attacks against freedom of speech than any president in U.S. history. That's the point.
Okay, you're not mad at Donald Trump, okay? You're mad at the government. It's his government, but it's the government. Don't be mad at him. My God, dude, if you will do anything to defend him, anything.
Yeah, and Biden fell up a flight of stairs. Like there's things that like people haven't done before, but like that's not an argument.
That is an argument, because we're not arguing about whether or not we think the president has fallen down the stairs historically more than any other president. If we were having that argument, then that might be a good point to bring up.
The whole lefty thing is like move fast, break things. Like that's the whole progressive mindset. And then you're saying it's like, oh, like how dare you do things that have never been done before in government?
Move fast, break
How's
things.
that an argument? You're saying it's like it's different.
If you were on the fucking Mars rover and you had a whole process to launch your thing to the surface and some guy just smashed the button, he's like, move fast, break things. Does that sound like a very intelligent thing to do? If your wife was giving birth at home and you just like punched her stomach to eject the baby out as quickly as possible because you want to move fast and break it, does that sound like a very intelligent thing to do? Are we speaking in slogans here? Or are we
that's technology. Yeah, you develop technology.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, I want to give it back to Steelborn. If you have any examples of things that Biden administration did, or Obama administration, or the Clinton administration, or even Bush administration, that you think is more egregious than Trump using the FCC in order to attack his late-night critics, than Trump weaponizing the DOJ to go after Comey, Letitia James, and others who have wronged him. Do you have any examples that we can go over?
Yeah, so I was actually looking into, because I remember reading about this and I wanted to make sure I had the details of this correct. So what about when Obama had his DOJ weaponize the Espionage Act against whistleblowers?
Give me an example. What are you referring to in particular?
Okay, so let's go with the Thomas Drake case. He was an official who exposed waste and surveillance concerns. He was charged under the Espionage Act by the Obama Department of Justice, and the case collapsed before it went to trial. But he was charged, so he was doing frivolous lawsuits according to by your guys' standards. Chelsea Manning.
Hold on, wait. I'm sorry. Wait. I just said just as a real quick. This is a real quick thing. Hold on. Do you know the difference between a civil case and a criminal case?
Yes, I do know the difference between a civil and a criminal case.
Okay, so when you say Obama sued him or charged him or whatever, it's not Obama. It was the Department of Justice, right, that decided that they wanted to prosecute this person for a criminal case. I don't think there's any evidence of Obama directing them to do it. And I don't know, do you think that, was this done because Obama or Obama's DOJ was trying to get back at these people politically, or because the DOJ thought there was a legitimate case there?
I can tell you whether or not the Department of Justice thought there was a legitimate case, or they were just doing this to try and suppress the story or suppress a narrative, what was going on. Because these were whistleblowers that were coming out.
Well, don't you think it's important? Isn't that kind of central to our thing? Like, there's probably a way that you could leak classified material in a way that would legitimately be illegal, right?
Sure, I can just grant that, but...
So then isn't it important to ask the question about that? Do we think these cases were frivolous or they were done in bad faith?
Well, no, I think that if you're going to be trying to put people or charge people criminally for whistleblowing, then wouldn't you agree that that's a threat to fucking free speech?
It can be, but when we talk about like whistleblowing, like so I think that some degree of whistleblowing should be protected for sure, but that doesn't give you just like a blank check to just start leaking a bunch of classified material, like for Chelsea Manning, right? Chelsea Manning, right?
I think Chelsea Manning was one of them, but I think that sentence was later commuted.
Sure, or for Edward Snowden, right? So like
I think Snowden's supposed to, yeah.
So like. Yeah, I think there should be protection for whistleblowers, but I mean, like, you agree that we can't just have people like leaking a bunch of classified material willy-nilly? So you have to balance these two. I don't know what the correct balance is or how the courts or whatever normally determine what is protected or what isn't protected, but I'm pretty certain you can't just leak a ton of stuff. But I'm also pretty certain I've never heard of, I don't even know if Republicans make the claim that Obama wanted to go after these people personally because they made him look bad, the same way that Donald Trump would, and has.
Okay, even if Trump does say, let's say a whistleblower came out and was like, Trump's eating baby giraffes and it's really sad, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to sue that person for defamation.
As the president of the United States, we're not talking about.
Is the president of the United States
the worst
part of the Constitution if he engages in a civil lawsuit with anybody?
It's not about violating parts. You can chill free speech without necessarily violating the Constitution,
right?
Okay, real quick. You keep using the term. I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. What do you mean by chill free speech?
I'll say it again. When you're taking actions, okay, that are baseless without good reason, right, and you are doing things that's going to cause a whole bunch of people to think, well, I don't know if I should say something that we would want to be said otherwise. This is like a chilling effect. So, for instance, if you make a law that says you can't send spam mail to people, that might cause a chilling effect around people sending spam mail. But if you think about it, well, spam mail isn't really a thing that we want, so that chilling effect is okay. But if you start suing pollsters or people that say mean things about you just because you're upset, well, now we're thinking, well, fuck, if I say something that upsets this guy, the president, he might sue me. There might be speech that we want to protect there. Maybe the president is going to be upset when people publish things. We don't want to cause that speech to be chilled.
Okay. What are the lawsuits that Trump was filing against the pollsters? Was he trying to charge them criminally or civilly for like?
They were civil suits. They were civil suits.
They were civil suits. Okay, so he wasn't. So what's the worst case scenario here? If somebody gets charged with a civil suit of defamation, they have to pay a fine.
So first of all, the court costs and the fining can literally be business breaking. So you could be destroying somebody's livelihood and potentially putting this person into debt forever. Number one. But number two, and the reason why it's extra scary when the president is doing it, is because the president could also come after you in other ways. So he might say prevent the merger of your parent companies, or give you disfavorable protections when it comes to tariffs, or he could send the DOJ after you to go for something criminal afterwards. These are all concerns when the president is engaged in this behavior because he's the head executive. Why the president of the United States doesn't sue people civilly unless it's Donald Trump.
I think there's been multiple presidents in the last 40 years who engaged in civil suits.
Name one while they were president.
While they were president, I don't know I don't know that. I will grant that I don't know that.
Okay.
But I do believe there were other presidents who have engaged in civil suits. So if it's a question of while they're in office, I mean, like.
Hold on, I just want to be clear real quick. Hold on, before you ask this next question, are you seriously about to suggest that you don't think there's much of a difference between the president being in office versus out of office? Is that
no?
That's
not what I was about to say.
Okay, thank you. Just checking.
No, but I don't exactly see how, if there's no violation of the Constitution for them engaging in a civil suit, if they actually think they have a case, or maybe they're just doing it frivolously, just like any other citizen is entitled to do. Yes, they potentially could do that, but it's like so could anybody.
Is it in the Constitution for the president to go on to TV and say, man, if this guy fucking says mean shit about me, I'm gonna rape his wife and send a patriot missile to his house? LOL. Is that against the Constitution?
Say no, it's not against the Constitution.
Okay, so should the president?
You say that's against?
Probably not. Probably not. If people think he's joking.
It's the law.
Really? To say, I want to rape this guy, or whatever. I don't think it's against the Constitution. You can say shit like that.
That's a threat.
Not really. Say you want to. You can say you want to do something.
Going to. I said going.
Oh, sorry. Maybe I said going to. Maybe I wasn't clear. So he said, I want to rape this guy if he says mean shit about me, and I'm gonna send a patriot missile to his house because fuck this guy, or whatever. Do you think that's like? It's probably not against the Constitution, but I'm sure that like an enforcer saying something like this would create a huge chilling effect because you don't know if he's actually gonna follow through on it. Because he's the executive. He's the police.
Okay, yeah. So essentially, you're saying that because he's the highest enforcer in the land, that he has the backing of force behind him. That let's just grant that nobody else in the world has. I would say that nobody else in the world would have the backing of the United States military, other than the president in that scenario. So
Correct.
He's the chief executive, great. But is the president just allowed to? Or is the president? There's no really just because your psychological analysis of President Trump says mean stuff. And
why are you saying why are you using this term psychological? What do you mean by psychological?
You're giving a psychological state about how it makes you feel when Trump launches.
What do you think a chilling effect is?
Yeah, I reject that bullshit. I don't think that shit exists.
You don't think people?
You don't think that someone saying something can make you scared?
Wait, what do you think a chilling effect is?
I don't give a fuck. I don't value how you fucking feel.
I don't care if you value it. Okay, so you don't think chilling effects are real? They don't exist?
No, I'm not going to make that claim.
I'm saying, what's your proof? Like, what's our measurement for this?
The measurement might be.
This is one thing you should make like bunch of fucking basis.
This is literally like cope, super hard cope all the time. Try to back up more. Find any possible direction and way to defend Trump. It doesn't matter what you're proved wrong on. The goal is defend Trump, not follow any logic, and it's so obvious.
Claims like, oh, we're solving hunger, we're fucking cool down the planet, or some shit like this, and it's like, how are we going to do it? You're like,
well, I don't know what the fuck that pivot was.
The measurement?
But the measurement might be. I'm trying to explain. You keep filibustering. You know, if I give an example, you're kind of fucking destroyed. But the measurement would be corporations that are instantly settling these $10 million lawsuits with Donald Trump because they're too afraid to fight them in court because they're worried that it's going to threaten their businesses down the line. I think NBC made this statement with regards to them. Donald Trump suing them over the Kamala clip, and they had like a merger that their parent company was facing, and they were.
Oh, I know this one.
Only count to 4. I can only count to 4. I can only count
How is it muted? Wait.
Worried that if they fought this in
why is this so much quieter? That's really weird. Mika. Oh, Mika. Go.
1, 2, 5, 4.
It's like the bass is not going through. But when I play this,
Or that all of a sudden the
it's fine.
I can only count to 4.
Okay.
I can only count to 4.
Now it's working.
Only count to 4. I can only count to.
No. That's so weird. Wait. One, 2, 3.
One, 2, 5, 4. I can count to 1, 2. I can count to 2, 3. I can count to 3, 4. I can't count no more. What comes after 1, 2? What comes after 2, 3? What comes after 3?
Did I get it?
I can only count to 4. I can only count to 4. I can only
Did I?
count to 4.
What the hell? Did it on the Twitter video too? Is it maybe because I have... What the hell? Well, here, let me turn off YouTube.